My disciples all knew of my peculiar custom. Life-saving medicinal pills were stored within a verdant box, while deadly, harmful elixirs resided in a crimson one. Thus, upon learning that Yi Chushu was gravely injured, my senior disciple, Bai Yang, without a moment's hesitation, stealthily infiltrated my chambers, purloining my most precious, heavenly origin heart-nourishing pill. Yet, what they remained oblivious to was my possession of the three-life mirror, an artifact capable of resurrection and privy to the secrets of both past and present lives. I, a soul reborn and returned, had long since clandestinely exchanged the elixirs. As the female protagonist, Yi Chushu consumed the elixir, her grievous wounds appeared to mend. Her fiancé and my disciples alike were consumed by a wave of triumphant elation. Yet in the very next breath, Yi Chushu suddenly convulsed, expelling a copious gush of fresh blood. All those present were struck with profound terror. Her fiancé, Gu Qingyan, instantly extended his divine sense into Yi Chushu's form, only to discover her dantian brimming with an insidious black venom, and her meridians coursing with myriad poisons. Her already grievous wounds had now been exacerbated tenfold, her very life force showing ominous signs of dissipation. How could this be? I distinctly saw the elixir master placed there. How could it have come to this? Bai Yang, whose well-meaning intentions had wrought such calamity, stood utterly dumbfounded. Furthermore, everyone had scrutinized the elixir just moments ago. It bore no discernible flaw. Gu Qingyan's eyes flickered with ruthless killing intent. In a mere instant, he had vanished from his former position. This bodes ill. Follow him swiftly. We must not allow Junior Brother Gu to act rashly. The sect master, alarmed, hastily led his cultivators in pursuit. Song Wanning, halt at once. A blinding streak of sword light, descending from the heavens, tore through the clouds and slashed directly toward me. I raised my gaze, my eyes flashing with chilling indifference. With a mere flick of my wrist, a colossal palm print surged forth against the rushing wind, meeting the blade's ethereal manifestation head-on. A thunderous detonation reverberated through the heavens, causing the very cloud layers to tremble and ancient formations to flicker erratically, as if threatening to rip a gaping chasm in the very firmament. A lone figure then tore through the very fabric of space, stepping forth, an oppressive aura of killing intent radiating from above as the smoke and fiery dust of the explosion began to clear. Gu Qingyan and I stood resolute amidst the lingering tempest of energy, our robes billowing, our eyes brimming with an icy, unforgiving glint. Two souls who once loved, understood, and stood by each other for over a century had now arrived at this desolate precipice. Song Wanning, where is the antidote? Gu Qingyan extended a hand, his gaze sharp as daggers threatened to rend my very being. I calmly raised a hand to smooth my hair, a mocking sneer gracing my lips. What antidote are you speaking of? Cease your feigned ignorance. Gu Qingyan's voice dropped to a perilous whisper. The spiritual energy surrounding him, stirred by his surging aura, trembled and swirled with escalating fury, threatening to erupt at any moment. Never before had he harbored such a potent, murderous intent towards another. Gu Qingyan, you truly are a comical sight. To storm over so wantonly, demanding an antidote from me, as if I would possess any such remedy. I folded my arms across my chest, a derisive smirk playing upon my lips. What now? Is your cherished disciple not merely afflicted by a dantian injury? Could it be that she has perchance also been afflicted by poison? I allowed a subtle knowing smirk to grace my features. My alluring gaze remained fixed upon Gu Qingyan, as I struggled to contain the burgeoning malice deep within my own spirit. His hands, meanwhile, trembled uncontrollably. You did this intentionally. Had you not been my junior sister, I would have ended your life right here. At his words, I erupted into a peal of uncontrollable laughter, so profound that I could barely maintain my posture. Gu Qingyan, you remain utterly laughable. Are you so certain you could still prevail against me now? The sect master and his retinue hastened to the scene. Many disciples throughout the sect had also detected the immense commotion caused by the explosion, and had begun to gather from afar. Has martial ancestor Song grown envious once more? It appears this time the matter is quite grave. Only days prior, martial Uncle Yi had sustained grave injuries within the sect. Because of this, martial Uncle Gu had remained disheveled and distraught, constantly at martial Uncle Yi's side. How could martial ancestor Song possibly endure such a sight? This martial ancestor Song is far too petty and narrow-minded. Martial Uncle Yi is merely martial Uncle Gu's disciple. Why would she be jealous over such a trivial matter? This time, with such a commotion, could Ancestor Song truly be turning hostile? How could that be? When has Ancestor Song not caused a commotion? Uncle Master Gu simply coaxes her and it's over. Is she truly that obedient? Or perhaps, let us make a wager. This time, how many words will Uncle Master Gu need to appease Ancestor Song? I wager 2 sentences. I wager 3. From the sect master and elders of Wentian sect down to its outer disciples, everyone knew of my profound devotion to Gu Qingyan. Gu Qingyan's word was absolute. I had always yielded to him. This time naturally was no different. Everyone simply awaited the moment I would concede. Junior Sister Song, you are being foolish. Quickly hand over the antidote. Save Ye Qingxue first, then we shall discuss. The Wentian sect master gazed at me with an utterly serious expression, his tone laced with command. If something were to befall Yi Qingxue this time, your reputation for harming a fellow disciple would spread, which would not be favorable. That's right, Senior Sister Song. Martial Brother Gu and Yi Qingxue share merely a master-disciple relationship. Senior Sister, do not overthink things. If you hand over the antidote now, no one will blame you. Are you all finished speaking? I remained silent. After everyone had finished their accusations, word by word I tilted my head, and innocently stated, "You all rush in a whole crowd to denounce me. Yet I don't even know what has truly transpired, how unjustly I am being treated." My voice couldn't help but rise. "I consumed the heaven origin soul nurturing pill long ago. Why do you still come to bother me?" Bai Yong rushed forward. "Master, you are truly heartless. Did you intentionally use up the medicinal pill? You clearly knew junior sister Yi was awaiting that life-saving elixir. How could you do such a thing?" I curled my lips into a sneer. "Bai Yong, do you still recall your place? Disrespectful to your elders, a junior offending a senior. Tell me who among us is truly not human. Furthermore, I told you all long ago that the elixir had already been consumed by me, yet you refused to believe it. Now that a problem has arisen, you heap all the blame upon my head." My voice abruptly shifted and the corners of my mouth dropped. "Do you truly find Song Wanning so easy to bully?" The immense pressure of my nascent soul stage cultivation surged forward towards Bai Yang, completely unreserved. Bai Yang, who had just been yelling, suddenly crumpled to his knees. His bones creaked throughout his body, unable to lift his head. "A mere trash dares to shout before me? It seems I have shown you far too much deference." The oppressive aura pressed down once more. Bai Yang was forced to cough up a mouthful of blood, his face turning pale in an instant. His hands pressed firmly against the ground, veins bulging, and killing intent seemed to physically seep from his eyes. If looks could kill, I would already have been torn into 100 pieces by him. "Oh? Still unconvinced?" I raised an eyebrow. Just as I was about to raise my hand, the sect master hastily intervened. "Junior Sister Song, you cannot. Ye is currently on the brink of death. We cannot allow Bai Yang to also be imperiled. I am disciplining my disciple, and you dare to interfere, publicly humiliating me?" The sect master grew even angrier within and spoke in a deep voice. Bai Yang had merely spoken rashly in the heat of the moment. As a revered nascent soul true monarch, why would she stoop to bickering with a mere disciple? Merely a mistaken word? I gave a cold laugh and waved my hand. A screen of water appeared before everyone's eyes. Upon the shimmering screen, the truth was laid bare. Bai Yang's clandestine entry into the pill repository, her audacious theft of the medicinal pills, all unfolded before the stunned assembly. The expressions of all present shifted instantly. While Bai Yang's countenance grew so dark, it seemed to drip with ominous intent. Heavens, Junior Marshal Uncle Bai has stolen Ancestor Song's medicinal pills. No wonder Ancestor Song is enraged. Indeed, who among us doesn't know that Ancestor Song is notoriously doting, showing extreme favoritism towards her disciples, never speaking a harsh word. This time she must truly be furious. The disciples within the sect shook their heads. Bai Yang's actions were intolerable to anyone. Bai Yang truly reaped what she sowed. "Do you see now, sect master? Bai Yang, he stole the medicinal pills of this true monarch. Does this true monarch not even possess the right to chastise him? Even if I were to beat him to death, it would be his rightful consequence." Having declared this, I unleashed a palm strike towards Bai Yang. Bai Yang fell to the ground like a kite with a broken string, fresh blood splattered vividly, and several of his bones were broken. Bai Yang squeezed his eyes shut, painfully clutching his arm. He couldn't believe his master had truly acted so cruelly towards him. After the initial shock came an endless wellspring of hatred. His master, for mere medicinal pill, wanted to destroy him. This woman had no heart. Bai Yang's hatred was so intense it bled in his heart. He raised his head, his eyes bloodthirsty, staring at me. I curled my lip and slapped him again. Bai Yang was sent sprawling to the ground, incapable of rising, trying several times but failing to stand. Enough. Gu Qingyang could not bear to watch any longer. He looked at me with reproachful eyes and coldly, without a trace of emotion, declared, "When did you become like this? Merely out of your jealousy, you could watch a fellow disciple die without saving them, even resorting to poisoning others. Now you can even act so cruelly towards your own disciple. Song Wanning, you have become truly terrifying." I couldn't help but laugh again. "I am terrifying? Gu Qingyang, you are merely a hypocritical, righteous-looking gentleman. What are you pretending here for? It's clear your heart has long since strayed. You already possess a fiancé, yet you cultivate illicit affections with a disciple you personally raised. You are the one who committed such depraved acts, yet you dare to slander me. You are truly skilled. In my past life, I suffered because I lacked the wit to retort, only knowing how to rage and cause a scene. What good did that ever do? It couldn't harm them in the slightest. Impossible." Junior Marshal Uncle Gu. Everyone around was stunned into silence. A master fostering romantic affections for a disciple, that was an act of incestuous depravity. Everyone stared at Gu Qingyang with astonished eyes, unable to believe this was true. "Senior Marshal Sister Song, do not speak nonsense. Do you wish to ruin Junior Marshal Brother Gu?" The sect master was horrified, wishing only to sew my mouth shut. "I speak nonsense?" I let out a soft laugh, the corners of my eyes curving upwards as I looked towards the silent Gu Qingyang. "Then ask him if he dares to swear to it. If he dares to lie, the price will be a Qingshui never waking again. See if he dares to make that vow." My imposing attitude caused Gu Qingyang to clutch the longsword in his hand, killing intent spreading wildly like rampant weeds. Yet, in the end, he still did not dare to act. The surroundings immediately fell silent, so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Bai Yang was even more astonished. Gazing at Gu Qingyang in disbelief, the sect master and a host of elders turned even paler, shocked into speechlessness. Everyone gazed towards Gu Qingyang, their eyes filled with astonishment, disappointment, and even judgment. Gu Qingyang closed his eyes. This secret had tormented him to the brink of madness. Sooner or later, it would be exposed. He had considered this situation many times, but he never expected it to unfold as Qingshui lay dying. Have you said enough? Now return with me to save her. His shameless impudence amused me. Gu Qingyan, who exactly granted you such audacity? Do you still delude yourself that I would save her? Upon what do you base such a fantasy? To ask me to save a vile wretch who interfered with my affections? Silence. Gu Qingyan gripped the longsword in his hand tightly. His hand, striving for restraint, had begun to tremble uncontrollably. Qing Shui is the kindest, purest girl in this world. She is not like you, selfish, vicious, and envious. She would absolutely never harm a fellow disciple, nor has she ever interfered with our affections. If you dare to insult her further, do not blame me for my lack of courtesy. With a gaze full of mockery, I stepped forward, my eyes fixed directly on Gu Qingyan. You painstakingly orchestrated, tempted me to fall for you, even actively proposing engagement to me. Was it not all for the Song clan's influence which lay behind me? I did not. Gu Qingyan furrowed his brow, unable to resist defending himself. Before I did not understand love. I mistook the familial bond with you for love. That is why I sincerely proposed. Oh, so upon meeting Ye Chuxue you suddenly understood what love was? This only made me laugh even harder. Ye Chuxue was only 5 years old when she first entered the sect. To Gu Qingyan, she was like a daughter he had watched grow up. To develop feelings for his own disciple was truly both terrifying and repulsive. Sect master, esteemed elders, have you all heard? I, Song Wanning, have never once betrayed Gu Qingyan. It is Gu Qingyan who has been faithless. It is Gu Qingyan who has betrayed me. Today, I ask you all to bear witness. Song Wanning and Gu Qingyan shall officially annul their engagement. With that, I drew my longsword, aimed it at the end of my hair, and severed it. Today, by cutting my hair, I renounce this love. I proactively annul this engagement with Gu Qingyan. The sect master was alarmed, hastily trying to dissuade me. Junior sister Song, do not be so impulsive. All the disciples were also wide-eyed with astonishment. At this moment, Gu Qingyan's eyes suddenly constricted. His fingers, gripping the hilt of his sword, turned stark white. Have you truly considered this? If you regret it now, it is not too late. As long as you bow your head, admit your fault, and heal Qing Shui, I can still accept this engagement, and we can be married. He straightened his posture as if making an immense sacrifice. My face twisted in disgust. I have thought it through. Gu Qingyan, our engagement is truly over. So-called love is nothing but a sham. I no longer desire it. Gu Qingyan was stunned that I genuinely desired to annul the engagement. Those around were also surprised. It seemed I was truly enraged this time. Ah, junior sister Song, this matter, we can discuss it slowly. The two of you have been together for so many years. There's no need to go to such extremes. Indeed, it was junior brother Gu who first made a fuss. Moreover, he and Ye Chuxue can absolutely never be together. It is simply unnecessary. Hearing this, I couldn't help but let out a disdainful laugh, my gaze filled with scorn. Very well then, I retorted, may your descendants for 18 generations also be blessed with such unnecessary matters. Junior sister Song, they pleaded, we only have your best interests at heart. Why must you be so unreasonable? You quarrel now to annul this engagement, but later, will you not quarrel again to reconcile? How could you utter such curses upon us? The assembled elders were utterly enraged, convinced I was merely unleashing my fury upon them. I merely cast them a withering glance. Then silence yourselves, I commanded. My affairs are not for others to dictate. The elders were seething with rage, but ultimately they dared not interfere further. This was not a decision for them to make, not now. Song Wanning, they warned, do not live to regret this. Gu Qingyan, having witnessed the entire spectacle, secretly swore to himself. Know what schemes I might be plotting, he would never again grant me an opportunity for reconciliation. Only a spineless fool would harbor regrets. I let out a cold, dismissive laugh and prepared to depart. But Gu Qingyan, in a sudden burst, swung his sword, aiming to strike me down and seize the antidote. I merely raised my head, my cold eyes flashing with murderous intent. My long sword was drawn, ready to meet his challenge. The two cultivators, blades drawn, met in the skies above. Killing intent sword reaching to the very heavens as fierce gales roared around them as if sensing the impending eruption of battle. This is grave. The sect master, aghast, hastily commanded his disciples to retreat. Junior sister Song, junior brother Gu, the sect master cried, cease this madness at once and descend. What in the heavens are you two doing? A host of other elders were fraught with endless worry. Was this to be an internal conflict, a battle within their own sect? The sect master gazed at the duo, their postures screaming of a fight to the death, his mind in utter turmoil, his hair disheveled from distress. Had junior sister Song truly lost her senses today? How could she bring herself to raise her blade against Gu Qingyan? The second elder, standing nearby, let out a quiet chuckle. She has been utterly humiliated, her face slapped clean, he mused. If our junior sister could still endure such an affront, he continued, then she would truly be a 1,000-year coward. Junior brother Gu, with his duplicitous heart, was long overdue for a severe lesson. Others might have found such pronouncements inconvenient to utter, yet the second elder held no such compunctions, for even his own disciples were not immune to the folly of romantic entanglements. That Gu Qingyan is truly a deviant. The sect master, hearing this, shot him a furious glare. Is this truly the moment to discuss such trivialities? Our true priority is to command them to cease. Then you go, the sect master retorted. The second elder merely scoffed, his words laced with sarcasm. Gu Qingyan's battle prowess far exceeds my own, and is partly consumed by rage. Any who approach him now would surely be struck down. He had no intention of going. The expressions of the elders varied wildly, while on the ground, Bai Yang lay with a gloomy countenance, awaiting the slow, painstaking healing of the medicinal pills within his body. Martial Uncle Gu must surely prevail, otherwise junior sister Yi will be in grave peril. But alas, heaven often opposes the desires of mortals. In less than the span of a single incense stick, Gu Qingyan already showed signs of faltering, his arm wounded by my strike. A murmur rippled through the gathered disciples. Even the elders watched on in profound astonishment. Gu Qingyan's face darkened, filled with both disbelief and a profound sense of grievance. From childhood, he had always surpassed me. No matter what endeavor we pursued, I was invariably the one who fell short. Even though our master always praised my innate talent, he had never once concurred. Yet now, reality delivered a brutal slap to his face. Now, seeing him so beleaguered, unable to reverse the tide amidst his panic and shock, I made my move. My long sword swept forth, tearing a vast rift in the heavens. A colossal blade, piercing the void, descended directly, bearing with it a bitter, unyielding hatred. A murderous intent so profound it struck terror into all who perceived it. The sword art I cultivated fundamentally centered upon murderous intent. Yet, for years, because Gu Qingyan repeatedly praised and admired the innocent kindness of Yi Chushui, I had perpetually restrained myself, causing my sword art to stagnate for years. Now my boundless murderous aura, alongside the deep malice festering within my heart, had been fully awakened. Without the slightest reservation, all of it converged into this one devastating sword strike. The ferocious collision forced everyone to avert their gaze. The very fabric of space twisted and tore apart without cessation. Crackling sounds, filled with an ominous power, caused hearts to tremble in fear. A dazzling light erupted, obscuring the vision of all present. When their sight returned, Gu Qingyan was plummeting straight down from the heavens. Gu Qingyan's chest was pierced, soaked in fresh blood. The wound was so deep it exposed bone, barely missing his vital heart. I then stomped down hard on Gu Qingyan's face. Gu Qingyan coughed up another mouthful of blood, his once cold eyes now brimming with raw hatred. He was indignant, utterly unwilling to accept being trampled underfoot by me. But he was severely wounded, and under the oppressive weight of my aura, he found himself utterly immobile. Rage surged within Gu Qingyan, and he coughed violently. "What is wrong? Are you still unwilling to submit?" Gu Qingyan gritted his teeth, lifting his gaze, his eyes burning with resentment. The person who had once endlessly pursued him, eager to win his favor, had utterly vanished. I now stood before him, a stranger and a figure he vehemently despised. I applied more force with my foot. Gu Qingyan's face immediately contorted, a truly hideous sight. "Even if you are unwilling, you will endure it for me. Were it not for our shared lineage as fellow disciples, you would not even have the chance to utter a single word right now." As I spoke, I delivered a swift kick to Gu Qingyan's face, sending him flying several meters away. Am I blind, or has my mind gone astray? Why do I see Ancestor Song kicking Martial Uncle Gu flying? Heavens, how utterly magnificent Ancestor Song is. Gu Qingyan suppressed his agonizing pain, slowly rising, his fists clenched, his eyes burning with profound humiliation. He had originally intended to capture me alive, to compel me to heal Yu Chushe, but now all those plans had vanished into thin air. Yet Qingshue's life, he knew, could not be left unsaved. Gu Qingyan took hesitant steps towards me, his eyes bloodshot, still unable to conceal the boundless hatred surging within him. With a dull thud, Gu Qingyan's knees buckled, and he knelt before me. "Save Qingshue," he pleaded. "I beg you." In his eyes welled tears, mingled with the crushing fear of losing Yi Chushui. The exalted martial Uncle Gu, who had always held himself in such high regard, now knelt before his junior sister for the sake of a mere disciple. This spectacle astonished everyone. My heart was once again wounded, yet it no longer stung. Instead, a profound sense of irony washed over me. If Gu Qingyan had dared to express his true feelings in such a manner from the very beginning, I might not have devolved into such a state of extreme jealousy. Perhaps I would have released my grip and given up long ago. I too possessed my own pride, yet he had repeatedly hidden his intentions. His constant pretense caused me to endlessly doubt, to harbor envy and hatred, and to perpetually deceive myself. Gazing upon his pleading eyes, I slowly lowered my head. I reached out, my hand caressing Gu Qingyan's face. In truth, I yearned to utterly mar that visage. My sharpened nails instantly raked a deep, vicious line across his cheek. A crimson wound now marred his pale, cold skin, stark and blindingly vivid. Gu Qingyan looked up, only to be met with a pair of eyes that seemed to have returned from the very depths of hell. My hand halted, poised at his throat. Gu Qingyan stiffened, utterly motionless, not daring to stir a single inch. Those observing drew in a collective, sharp breath, their hair standing on end. Not a single soul dared to utter a sound. Just as everyone feared I would unleash a merciless strike upon Gu Qingyan, I abruptly rose. "Very well, I shall save him. But once he is saved, you must not harbor a single regret." "Truly?" Gu Qingyan was momentarily stunned, then, with a surge of joy, he rose to his feet. "I can only attempt this. Whatever the specific outcome, you cannot lay blame upon me." "Understood." Gu Qingyan did not ponder the implications deeply. As long as I agreed to save the person, he deemed every sacrifice worthwhile. I turned and walked, swiftly gliding past the stunned gazes of the onlookers. Gu Qingyan, suppressing his pain, cast a quick glance at the elders before promptly following suit. Bai Yang gazed blankly in my direction as I vanished from sight, an inexplicable unease stirring within his heart. My revered master actually disregarded me. Why does master seem like two entirely different people today compared to yesterday? Her demeanor towards me is utterly transformed, yet he knows he has committed no wrong. I, the protagonist, could clearly have saved the person, yet I forced junior martial Uncle Gu to beg me in such a humiliating manner. Truly, my actions were malevolent. Lu Nanfeng and both approached Bai Yang, attempting to dissuade him. Senior brother, you must go and kneel before our revered master, pleading for her mercy. Our revered master is soft-hearted. A few sincere words from you should suffice. Yang, still writhing in agony, struggled to his feet, wiping the traces of blood from the corner of his mouth and then limped after me. I proceeded to conduct a swift perfunctory examination of Ye Chu Shui. A chilling glint flickered in the depths of my eyes. The person upon the bed had a countenance akin to aged tree bark, deeply furrowed with wrinkles. Their vitality, like that of a withered ancient tree, was slowly, inexorably draining away. This, of course, was the very poison I had personally administered. I then produced a single medicinal pill and bade her consume it. This medicinal pill can expel the toxins from her body. However, due to her pre-existing severe injuries, the poisons have already permeated her meridians. Thus, irreversible sequelae are inevitable. Whether she can ever fully recover depends solely on her future karma and fortune. Upon hearing this, Gu Qingyan's brow furrowed. Is there truly no method to achieve a complete resolution? Your medical prowess is unmatched, and you are a revered pill-refining grandmaster. Could it be that even this minor toxin is beyond your capabilities? If you possess a superior method, then by all means, invite another to undertake this task. With those words, I flung the medicinal pill I held towards Gu Qingyan, then turned and strode away, my steps resolute. Gu Qingyan began to cough uncontrollably, yet I never once looked back. Junior Marshal Brother Gu prioritized detoxifying her first. We can address the sequelae at a later juncture. The sect master stepped forward to intercede, preventing Gu Qingyan from seeking further confrontation with me. For should I truly become enraged, none would find peace. Indeed, merely preserving her life is sufficient. There is nothing truly compelling within these sect walls anyway. Following this, I immediately returned to my family home. Father, mother, your child has returned. I hastened into the courtyard. Upon seeing the two familiar figures of my parents, my eyes unexpectedly welled with unshed tears. Thankfully, these events have yet to transpire. Wanning, my child, why have you returned so suddenly? Her father, overjoyed, grasped her mother's hand and hastened forth to greet her. Wanning, if you were returning home, why did you not inform your parents beforehand? We would have come forth to welcome you. My eyes burned, and I desperately held back my tears. With a forced smile, I stepped forward to embrace my parents, remaining silent for a long moment. It was only when I informed them that my engagement with Gu Qingyan had been annulled that both their expressions instantly changed drastically. Wanning, what is the meaning of this? It wasn't me. I shook my head, retrieving the Three Lives mirror, and recounted everything I had endured to them. This is preposterous, utterly preposterous. Father's face darkened with rage, his entire body trembling, while mother's eyes turned red from fury. With a pained heart, she hugged me tightly. Wanning, my sweet daughter, how could they treat you like this? Father, mother, your daughter is no longer saddened. I comforted my parents, leading them inside to sit down. With a flick of my hand, I set up a barrier. Father, mother, though those individuals are protected by the heavenly Tao, I know the path ahead. There are countless ways to utterly destroy them. From now on, they are merely mobile treasures for your daughter who foresees the future. It will be akin to a wolf entering a flock of sheep. Wanning, father interjected, child, do not walk down a path of no return. Fearing I was being consumed by inner demons, father calmed himself, his eyes filled with worry. Rest assured, father, mother, I know my limits. Now they are all within the palm of my hand. As long as I remain their master for even one day, I can scold, punish, and torment them as I please, leaving them to suffer in silence. I smiled faintly. My inner demon is the true demon. In my past life, our Song clan was besieged and annihilated by those very individuals, under the pretense that I had succumbed to demonic cultivation. In this life, I will absolutely not allow anyone to have an excuse to act against the Song clan. I not only wish to punish them but also to withdraw cleanly. I know of a place with a supreme-grade spirit vein, father, mother. Both of you heed my arrangements. The Song clan is my foundation and it is also my home. I will lead the Song clan to its zenith and then with my own eyes watch those individuals be ground into dust and mud. Yang had knelt for 7 days and nights. On the evening of the 7th day, I finally returned, accompanied by a timid young girl. The 3 disciples stared in astonishment. Master, you have finally returned. Lun Fefeng rejoiced. I gently pushed the girl beside me forward and introduced her. This is my personal disciple, Li Ruo. Li Ruo? What did you say, master? A personal disciple. Lu Nanfeng immediately froze. And Zhe and Vaiyang's eyes widened in even greater astonishment. Master, did you not say you would not accept any more disciples? And Zhe approached us, scrutinizing Li Ruo from head to toe, his gaze growing increasingly displeased. She is merely a triple spirit root cultivator. Is she truly worthy of becoming a core disciple of my Yunxiao peak? Master, perhaps you should reconsider. The ceremony for accepting a disciple cannot be taken lightly. Lu Nanfeng also chimed in with advice, while Baiyang's expression had also soured. When I, this sovereign, accept a disciple, do I require your approval? I scoffed lightly, reaching out to grasp Li Ruo's small hand. From today forward, she is your junior sister. Do not concern yourselves with her talent. It is enough that I favor her. With that, I led Li Ruo by the hand into the main hall, not sparing Baiyang a single glance from beginning to end. Senior brother, what has gotten into master? Why would she suddenly wish to accept a disciple? Lu Nanfeng felt a hint of confusion in his heart. What else could it be for? And Z let out a cold snort. It must be because we have recently displeased her. You deliberately accepted a disciple just to spite us. Hearing this, Baiyang's brow furrowed. It must be so. Honored master is surely angry with me. That's why he intentionally accepted a new disciple, to provoke my ire. Yet he still refused to acknowledge any fault. If Honored Master ignored him, then he too would choose to ignore Honored Master. Let us see who could endure longer. Within the Grand Hall, I meticulously observed the young girl before me. When I first discovered her, she was being cruelly beaten, yet her eyes remained remarkably clear. In my past life, I fell into the demonic path, was besieged by powerful foes, and plunged into a desolate valley. It was this very child who rescued me. She not only refrained from exposing my demonic cultivation, but even offered me her sole precious medicinal pill. This profound kindness I have never forgotten. Grandmaster Song, ought I return? Li Ruo, somewhat constrained, clutched at the hem of her robes, her eyes reflecting a profound self-doubt. This sovereign accepted you precisely because of your inherent excellence. There is no need for self-abasement. Even those with peerless talent, if they lack proper conduct, their ultimate fate may still be far from desirable. Li Ruo, from this day forward, you are a disciple of I Song Wanning. You need not feel inferior, for you are second to none. Is that truly so? The young girl looked up, her large grape-like eyes shining with joy as they met my gaze. I offered a faint smile and nodded in affirmation. Bai Yang finally received the command, no longer required to kneel. He slowly rose, gently rubbing his aching knees. Senior brother, are you well? I am well. Bai Yang subtly pushed away Lu Nanfeng's hand, which had reached out to assist him. Senior brother, your injuries are yet to heal, and you have knelt for days on end. Perhaps you should withdraw and rest first. I shall seek Honored Master for some medicinal pills. Consuming them will swiftly mend your injuries. Lu Nanfeng gestured to Anze to escort Bai Yang away, while he himself proceeded towards the pill repository. He let out a weary sigh, for he had always felt a subtle fatigue in recent days. Upon entering the hall, I was in the midst of imparting some crucial instructions to Li Ruo. Lu Nanfeng's footsteps abruptly faltered. Honored Master, this disciple came to the pill repository to acquire some medicinal pills for senior brother. Each month, this disciple provides them with a set quantity of pills, all of them of top grade or even supreme grade, and almost entirely devoid of toxins. I paused, casting a frigid, indifferent glance at him. Bai Yang stole medicinal pills and moreover poisoned his own subordinates. Yet you still dare to seek medicinal pills from me? With a casual wave of my hand, Lu Nanfeng was sent hurtling backward, crashing out through the hall's entrance. From this moment forward, this sovereign shall grant none of you even a single medicinal pill. Should any dare to trespass into the pill repository without my decree, do not fault this sovereign for being merciless. Be expelled from the sect. With that, the Grand Hall's doors slammed shut with abrupt finality. Honored Master. Lu Nanfeng's voice was laced with utter bewilderment. And Zhe, his fury like a roaring thunder, exclaimed, are they not merely a few paltry medicinal pills? If he refuses to give, then so be it. Senior brother, we shall procure them ourselves. He then aided Bai Yang in his departure. Bai Yang, however, remained utterly silent, his gaze darkly fixed upon the closed hall doors. Before the entrance to Forging Void Peak, Wen Mingyu stepped forth, blocking their path. Oh well, isn't this the renowned genius of our sect? What brings such a distinguished figure to our humble peak today? Wen Mingyu, what insolent words are those? And Z retorted, his voice seething with indignation, we are here to purchase medicinal pills, stand aside. Didn't Marshal Uncle Song already monopolize all your medicinal pills? Why aren't you giving them out now? Wen Mingyu suddenly realized. Ah, that's because some ungrateful wretch arbitrarily stole the medicinal pills, almost causing someone's death. If I were Marshal Uncle Song, I wouldn't give a single medicinal pill to such a white-eyed wolf either. Wen Mingyu. And Zhe immediately made his move, and the two lunged at each other, clashing in fury. Third junior brother, stop! Lu Nanfeng anxiously stomped his foot. Eldest senior brother, quickly tell them to cease. Bai Yang's brows furrowed. He flew forward, pushing Nzi aside, and faced Wen Mingyu himself. Bullying someone with weaker cultivation, what heroism is there in such an act? His long sword was unsheathed, radiating surging, killing intent as the anger he had accumulated over the past few days erupted from him at this very moment. Lu Nanfeng's face turned pale. What's wrong with eldest senior brother? He never used to even acknowledge Wen Mingyu before. Huh? He always had to beat that scoundrel himself. And Zi's shouts were abruptly silenced. Lu Nanfeng was a whirlwind of anger and worry until Lan Yue's timely appearance finally halted the escalating confrontation. He led the group directly to the Sect Master's Hall. Within the Sect Master's Hall, Bai Yang stood there coldly, his arrogance as sharp as a sword's edge. As I Mohongi stepped inside, he immediately turned his face away. And Z also regarded me with a hostile gaze. I sneered, unripened genius is merely one destined for an early demise. Sect Master, what is it that you require of me? I asked, sitting upright. Across from me was Lan Yue, my old adversary. He recounted the entire incident once more, particularly emphasizing the aggression of Bai Yang and Anzi. Martial Sister Song has indulged her disciples all year round, leading them to disrespect everyone and arbitrarily injure others. The Sect Master must mete out severe punishment. The Sect Master, looking exasperated, turned to me. Martial Sister Song, what is your stance on this matter? All eyes in the hall fixed upon me. Bai Yang's face was expressionless, yet I could sense the hidden tension emanating from him. He was waiting, expecting me to defend him as I always had, to argue with Lan Yue on his behalf and to lead him away. I leisurely rose to my feet and looked toward him. The moment our gazes met, a flicker of joy flashed in the depths of his eyes. As long as I bow my head, Master will surely forgive me. Bai Yang thought silently to himself. I slowly raised my hand, then swung it with potent force, delivering a palm strike through the air directly to his face. The entire hall fell into dead silence as he was sent flying backward. His teeth scattered and his cheek instantly swelled. Lan Yue was astonished, and Wen Mingyu's eyes widened in utter shock. Senior brother Lan, are you satisfied now? I tilted my head, a faint smile playing on my lips, and raised my hand once more. 4 consecutive slaps followed, sending Bai Yong flying like a tattered puppet. He crashed heavily to the ground, his arrogant heart plunging into an abyss alongside him. He finally realized that he was no longer my most treasured disciple. Master, why do you help outsiders? And Z burst forward. Eldest senior brother's injuries have not even healed. How could you bear to strike him like that? In response, NZ received an even heavier palm strike. Isn't this all because of your useless meddling? Another resounding slap. His unhealed injuries flared and he immediately lost consciousness. A deathly silence fell over the great hall. Lan Yu stared at me as if I were a lunatic. Senior brother Lan, has your anger subsided now? I smiled sweetly. If not, then there's no need for it to. Lan Yu hastily cut me off. I am truly satisfied. I felt a slight pang of disappointment, but then I remembered, why should an antagonist concern herself with reason? If I liked it, I would do it. I raised my hand and delivered a few more slaps. The unconscious Anzi received 2 more blows while Bai Yang was sent flying. Even Lu Nanfeng, who stood there in a daze, received a swift slap. A madwoman. Lan Yue, startled, flicked his sleeves and departed. Wen Mingyu scrambled on his hands and knees, desperately following after him. The sect master rubbed his forehead in exasperation. The Grand Genius Assembly is in just a few days, and look at you, junior sister. Then sect master, tell me, what should I do? I raised an eyebrow, my gaze sweeping coldly over the 3 figures sprawled on the ground. Bai Yang stole medicinal pills. I was merely disciplining my disciples. Before I paid no mind to your slanders, but now I do. And yet, the sect master still finds fault? Ah, what a difficult predicament. I smoothed my robes and calmly departed. My crimson robes, like a small vessel, gradually drifted further away. Bai Yang raised a hand as if to seize that fading glimmer of light, but his arm fell back, utterly powerless. He watched unblinking as I walked away without a single glance back. A profound ache gripped his chest. My past words of unwavering support echoed in Bai Yang's mind, now leaving behind only a chilling void. He clutched his chest, his gaze fixed, staring at my retreating figure. The sect master looked at the 3 figures on the ground and sighed helplessly. Bai Yang, this time you children truly erred. Go apologize to junior sister Song, perhaps there is still a chance. Seeing that Bai Yang remained unrepentant, the sect master's expression grew stern. If any disciple of this sect dares to betray me for outsiders, their fate will surely be far more tragic than yours. Junior sister Song has already shown immense mercy. As the news spread, everyone spoke of it with praise. On the snowy peaks of Lai Peak, Guqingyan was aiding Yi Chushu in dispelling a potent poison. Xiahou Shang arrived to deliver this news. Upon hearing this, Ye Chushu tensed. Martial Uncle Xiahou, is Bai Yang alright? Behind her, Guqingyan's aura was chaotic, and he coughed weakly. Xiahou Shang acted as if he hadn't noticed. Xiahou Shang spoke with cold indifference. He's fine. He won't die. Hearing this, Ye Chushu said, it's all my fault. If not for me, what does that have to do with you? Your medicinal pills are from Xiahou Shang. Guqingyan interrupted him. Xiahou Shang, infuriated by Guqingyan's perceived lack of ambition, flicked his sleeves and stormed off. Guqingyan pursued him. What exactly is it about her that you like? Xiahou Shang retorted. Chushi is truly kind-hearted, unlike others. Guqingyan scoffed. She even believes that all living beings under heaven are equal. Xiahou Shang was furious. Then what about Song Wanning? Do you truly intend to break off your engagement with her? She and I have already annulled the engagement. From now on, there is no longer any connection between us. Guqingyan's expression was resolute. You will certainly regret letting go of Song Wanning. Xiahou Shang stared intently at him. If your engagement has already been annulled, then if I pursue Song Wanning, you wouldn't object, would you? Guqingyan was stunned. What did you say? The atmosphere froze. Guqingyan clenched his fists and after a long moment finally spoke. The matters concerning Song Wanning will no longer have anything to do with me. Is that so? Xiahou Shang curled his lips. Then do not regret it in the future. Atop Yunxiao Peak, Bai Yang struggled for a long while, finally rising to his feet and heading towards my grand hall, ascending the mountain peak. His steps faltered. A brand new 3-story courtyard stood majestically nearby, surrounded by lush flora. I was gently stroking Li Ro's head, my expression tender. Within Bai Yang's heart, an extreme sense of loss and fury welled up. With a stiffened face, he stepped inside. What are you doing here? I didn't even spare him a glance. Bai Yang suppressed his unspoken questions and lowered his head. Master, I apologize. My past actions were my fault. I should not have stolen the medicinal pills. Hearing this, I was taken aback, then burst into laughter, my eyes filled with derision. This person is truly despicable. If it's merely for medicinal pills, you needn't act in such a manner. This venerable one can simply bestow them upon you. I threw a bottle of medicinal pills at his feet. The bottle rolled, bumping against his shoe. Bai Yang suddenly raised his head, astonished, bewildered, and filled with indignation. What? Is that not enough? I threw yet another bottle of pills. Surely that should suffice. Bai Yang lowered his head, and in the depths of his eyes, hatred and dreadful resentment welled up. Yet in his heart, a greater terror surged. The panic of losing my favor, he gazed deeply at me, then stumbled away. Master, senior brother, Li Ruo asked softly, do you feel Master is very wicked? I inquired. Li Ruo shook her head. No. Master is the best person in this entire world. But I had injured him and even humiliated him. Master is good to me, so for Li Ro, Master truly is the best person in this world. Her words were like a shower of sweet dew, permeating my heart. The heaven's chosen grand assembly was fast approaching, and Wentian's sect grew bustling with activity. Yi Chushe intercepted me on the mountainside. Marshal Uncle Song, she rushed over, please wait a moment. What is it? My face revealed a hint of killing intent. Marshal Uncle Song, I am sorry. Senior Brother Bai's actions were all my fault. Could you please not be angry with him anymore? So you were the one who instigated him to do it. I coldly interrupted. No, I did not. She hurriedly shook her head. If that is the case, then what does Bai Yang's affair have to do with you? I merely glanced at her, then walked straight past. Had it not been for the fated opportunities that lay behind them, I would have long since struck them down. Sometimes living can be a torment far greater than death itself. Yi Chushu stared at my receding back, biting her lower lip as she silently vowed, sooner or later a day will come when I shall surpass you. Composing her expression, she headed towards Bai Yang's courtyard. Bai Yang was standing at the entrance. Senior Brother Bai, have your injuries recovered much? She stepped forward, offering a bottle of medicinal pills with a show of concern. I heard that Marshal Uncle Song has cut off your supply of medicinal pills. Please take these. This time it was all my fault. But even if she was angry, Marshal Uncle Song should not have acted so harshly towards you. Does she not feel any heartache? She looked up only to find Bai Yang lost in thought. Senior Brother Bai? She gently reached out to rouse him. Bai Yang came back to his senses and looked towards her. What did you just say to Master? Ye Chushe was stunned. She pursed her lips and replied, I apologized to Marshal Uncle Song and asked her not to vent her anger on you, but she seemed very displeased. I told her that your affairs had nothing to do with me. She felt a deep sense of injustice. She and Bai Yang have an ambiguous relationship, yet she is left unchecked, while I, merely a disciple, am treated as if my master were my own mother seeking to control my every move. She wants to control everything. Bai Yang's gaze intensified. Are the words you just spoke truly honest? Bai Yang stared intently at Ye Chushe. It is true. Yi Chushe nodded, finding his demeanor somewhat peculiar. Bai Yang pursed his lips, a slight sense of relief blossoming within him. His master still cared for him. That was why she had warned Yi Chushe. He led Yi Chushe into the courtyard, yet refused to accept her medicinal pills. The heavenly chosen grand competition is just days away. If your injuries persist, how will you compete? Yi Chushe inquired anxiously. Bai Yang coldly shook his head. Perhaps if I were injured, Master would feel sorrow. Even if I am wounded, I will not be inferior to others. He would show his master just how outstanding he truly was, for only he could ever truly become her pride. Li Ruo was nothing. On the day of the heavenly chosen grand competition, the prodigies from all the various sects gathered. Gu Qingyan and I stood far apart like strangers to one another. Envoys from the outer sects, inquiring about the marriage contract, had been dismissed by the sect master himself. Ye Chushui stood behind Gu Qingyan, basking in the admiring glances from below the arena. She radiated confidence, oblivious to the fervent whispers and gossip among the disciples below. Marshal Uncle Gu's taste is truly atrocious. How could he have fallen for Ye Chushui? They say that untasted fruits always seem the sweetest, no matter how rotten within. Gu Qingyan furrowed his brow, concerned that Yi Chushui might uncover the truth of their disparaging remarks. He knew he could not silence the entire world. I sat to the side, my expression unreadable. The three disciples behind me were unusually silent today, and Z no longer dared to look around carelessly. Having been beaten twice in quick succession, he had finally realized the true might of a Nascent Soul true monarch. He glanced towards Bai Yang. The senior grand brother's expression was cold, his gaze perpetually fixed upon Li Ro, who stood beside me. The peculiar atmosphere within the Wutian sect did not escape the notice of the various sect masters present. The competition began. After the sect master had announced the rules, he entrusted the hosting duties to an elder. Each sect sent forth several foundation establishment disciples to engage in a chaotic battle for advancement. Yi Chue, Bai Yang, and Lu Nanfeng were all present, but Ons was unable to participate. Master, this disciple shall depart with senior brother, Lu Nanfeng reported respectfully. With our former closeness now gone, I offered no reaction. Bai Yang cast a silent gaze my way a few times before leaping down. Yi Chushe followed closely behind, while Gu Qingyan's worried eyes remained fixed upon her. If not for my interference, her injuries would have long since healed. He looked towards me with a reproachful gaze, yet I merely returned his look with a smile. The profound implication caused Gu Qingyan's heart to tighten, and he quickly averted his gaze. My smile only deepened. Before the trials had even begun, such heartache already permeated the air. When they witness Yi Chushu's future suffering, will their hearts not ache to the point of breaking? I leaned back lazily in my seat, accepting a grape from Li Ru. Fellow Taoist Song shows no trace of worry at all. You must have great faith in your disciples. The Wangshan sect master quipped, and everyone turned to look. I languidly spat out the grape seeds. Victory or defeat matters not. As long as they do not perish, it is sufficient. As for whether Bai Yang and Lu Nanfeng could triumph, I no longer cared. The Wangshan sect master forced a smile. Fellow Taoist Song truly enjoys a jest. As everyone shifted the topic and the first round of chaotic battles commenced, I paid them little mind, instead picking up a storybook to read. The Wenian sect master's eyelids twitched, but he found it inconvenient to scold me. On the battle stage, Bai Yang, Ye Chushu, and Lu Nanfeng coordinated seamlessly, repelling their opponents, yet their continuous victories could not bring Bai Yang even a flicker of joy. That figure upon the high platform had, from beginning to end, not cast a single glance his way. The chaotic battle concluded, leaving only 20 cultivators. Of the Wentian sect, only 3 remained, including Bai Yang. The sect master was both joyous and concerned, for Yi Chushu and Bai Yang had both sustained injuries. The second round began with a drawing of lots for opponents. Bai Yang and Ye Chushui both advanced to the next round. Lu Nanfeng, however, was eliminated. Upon the high platform, my expression remained cold. Thus far, everything unfolded precisely as it had in the Three Lives Mirror. As the male and female protagonists, they would never be the ones to lose. The final competition would be their stage. The two would tie, jointly claiming the championship. From that moment, their fame would spread far and wide. I gently stroked the end of my hair, a cold glint flashing in my eyes. If they wished to step upon my shoulders to rise, they would first have to see if I consented. The trials entered their final decisive stage. 5 individuals remained, contending for the top 3. Bai Yang and Ye Chushui both had their names called. Ye Chushui of the Wentian sect drew Shi Wenjin of the Wanjian sect. Lu Shan of the Qixing faction drew Bai Yang of the Wentian sect. The Wangshan sect received a bye. The two stepped onto the battle platform, their gazes meeting and encouraging each other. They had promised to advance to the finals together. The competition commenced. Yi Chushui's outstanding cultivation technique and agile movement rendered her a marvel, prompting continuous praise from the elders. Her comprehension was indeed profound. Once she fully matured, her future would be limitless. The Wentian sect master's face beamed with pride. On the other side, Bai Yang's combat situation was not optimistic. His injuries had not fully healed, and his condition was clearly poor. The sect master frowned. You had clearly given him medicinal pills, so why is Bai Yang's condition so dire? You do not know. Bai Yang had not consumed that medicinal pill at all. Bai Yang attacked fiercely, his sword intent like a raging flood, but exhaustion slowly began to show. Lu Shan's long spear thrust forward. Just as Bai Yang was about to counterattack, his dantian suddenly stagnated, his spiritual energy interrupted. The long spear pierced his body. Bai Yang fell to his knees, spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood, startling Lu Shan. You were already injured? Could it be that Wentian sect was unaware? Lu Shan was utterly astonished. The sect master of Wentian sect gave a bitter smile. I offered him the medicinal pill, but Bai Yang refused to take it. Bai Yang spat out another mouthful of blood, wiping away the crimson stain. His gaze inadvertently turned towards me. If Master sees me injured like this, she will surely be heartbroken. Countless memories flashed through his mind. At 7, he was bitten by a demonic beast, and I grieved until my eyes reddened. At 15, he was hunted, and I crippled his pursuer's elder, boldly proclaiming I would protect him. At 20, he suddenly realized that throughout his journey, my shadow had always been behind him. He looked up at the high platform, but no longer saw my concerned gaze. Only half of my face turned away. His master wouldn't even spare him a single glance. A sharp pain stabbed Bai Yang's chest, but he struggled to his feet, charging towards Lu Shan once more. Master must be heartbroken, merely trying to appear strong. She must care about me the most. Bai Yang launched a series of frenzied attacks, as if utterly disregarding his own life, forcing Lu Shan into a ferocious counterattack. Within just a few moves, he sustained new injuries. What was Bai Yang doing? Did he no longer care for his own life? He was intentionally provoking his opponent. The surrounding disciples watched with grave expressions. The elders on the platform also turned their gazes towards me, but what of my own demeanor at that moment? From somewhere, I had inexplicably pulled out a book, engrossed in its tale. A faint smile played at the corners of my lips, betraying not a hint of worry. The elders felt a heavy weight in their hearts. They wished I were still the same fiercely protective, partial individual of the past, rather than the inscrutable figure I had become. On the battle stage, Bai Yang accumulated a dozen more wounds. Song Wanning, are you truly so cold-blooded? Bai Yang is so severely injured, yet you won't even spare him a glance. Guqing Yuan, publicly criticizing your disciple for being gravely injured, while you sit here reading a story. Who could ever be a master like you? My hand turning the page paused. Slowly I lifted my head. You just said it yourself. He is my disciple. What concern is it of an outsider such as you? I raised an eyebrow, an oppressive aura radiating from me. Besides, shouldn't you wish for Bai Yang to die? If he perishes, then no one will contend for your precious treasure anymore. A mocking smile spread across my face. The sheer sarcasm in my words silenced the entire hall, instantly sobering the sect masters. Song Wanning, Guqing Yuan's face turned as black as soot. He is your disciple, but also my grandnephew. How could I ever wish for his death? Do not spout such malicious slander. Hearing this, I let out a peal of laughter. Haha, I gazed intently into his eyes, my meaning profound. I hope you can maintain that sentiment in the future. Guqing Yuan's heart was stunned. He angrily turned his head away, no longer looking at me. The situation on the stage grew increasingly dire. Bai Yang's robes were torn and tattered, soaked in blood. Liu Shan pressured him to admit defeat, but he refused. He met the challenge by practically inflicting wounds upon himself. The long spear pierced through his thigh. Bai Yang suddenly collapsed, his vision blurring. He struggled to raise his head towards the high platform, a seed of fear beginning to bloom in his heart. Did his master worry for him? If only his master still cared for him, all his previous wounds could be forgotten. Yet upon the high platform, that crimson-robed figure swiftly blurred his vision. I was laughing, gently stroking Li Ruo's head, whispering something, still not sparing a single glance in his direction. Not even a fleeting glance. Bai Yang stood stunned, clutching his chest. as jealousy, resentment, and anguish crashed down upon him like the heavens falling and the earth rending. He had lost utterly. Second bout, Lushan is victorious. The elder regretfully announced the outcome. Baiyang, you were the most hopeful candidate for the championship. Yet you didn't even make it into the top 3. The elder wished to console him, but he was rebuffed. He remained stubbornly rooted there, his gaze fixed on the high platform. Lushan had won the match, but there was no joy in his expression. Senior disciple brother has lost. And Z clenched his fists, his eyes bloodshot. He no longer dared to shout at me, nor did he dare to charge down without permission. Only then did I casually glance towards the battle stage, my gaze cold. It met those eyes overflowing with expectation. I could even sense a glimmer of hope flash within Baiyang's eyes. I merely gave a cold fleeting glance, then spoke in an icy tone. Why have you not yet removed him from the stage? A disgraceful embarrassment. As soon as my words fell, the entire hall plunged into silence. Junior disciple Sister Song. The sect master's face darkened, and he glared at me. In that moment, Baiyang felt as though his heart had shattered into countless pieces. Senior disciple brother is merely gravely injured and has not yet recovered. Otherwise, he would most certainly have claimed the championship. And Z craned his neck, attempting to defend him, hating his own weak strength that prevented him from standing up for Baiyang. I cast a cold glance at him, then raised a hand to smooth a stray lock of hair near my ear, causing Anze to flinch back in fear, subconsciously covering his face. I could not help but chuckle. In the past, he would raise a ruckus at the slightest provocation. I thought him a stubborn fool, but who knew he was merely a coward? I leaned lazily against the back of my chair, accepting the elixir Li Ruo offered, and casually took a sip. The atmosphere remained solemnly silent, until a cry of alarm from the adjacent battle stage cut through the stillness. Turning my head, I saw Yi Chushu had been sent flying to the ground, vomiting a pool of black blood as she gasped for breath. Shi Wenjun's broadsword was pressed firmly against her throat. Shushu. Gu Qingyan rose in astonishment, flashing onto the stage. With a single palm strike, he sent the broadsword flying, then tenderly embraced the fallen woman. The young woman in his arms had purplish-black lips, resembling a tattered rag doll. He carried Yi Chushu and rushed before me. Song Wanning. Save her. His entire body was tense, the corners of his eyes flushed crimson. His usual composure shattered. This commanding tone left everyone present dumbfounded. Baiyang also struggled to rise, stumbling towards the spectator's stand, his eyes filled with anxiety. Lu Nanfeng and Zhe also rushed over, filled with concern. What happened to senior disciple Sister Yi? Everyone could see that she had been poisoned. The sect master of Wentianzong let out a bitter laugh, feeling as though he was about to sprout white hairs from sheer exasperation. Junior disciple Sister Song Yi Chushu has been afflicted by poison. Please treat her. As he made this request, there was not a shred of confidence in his heart. And indeed, I merely leaned languidly against my chair, as if the matter held no concern for me. The expressions of the various sect masters became subtly complex. Song Wanning, Gu Qingyan gritted his teeth. What exactly do you want? I knew him all too well. I still remember the time he challenged Lu Xingyao to a duel. Both were grievously wounded. Grieving over his injuries, I slipped Lu Xingyao a potent poison pill, condemning him to 7 days of incessant itching, forcing him to tear his own flesh apart. I have always been this way. Anyone who displeases me faces 100 methods of my vengeful wrath. Only for him did I offer protection, respect, and gentle persuasion. Yet now, these very tactics were being turned against him. Gu Qingyan, I declared, I am the one who wishes to ask you what it is you desire. I crossed my legs, a single eyebrow arching subtly. A mighty Nascent Soul true monarch had dared to strike out against a mere foundation establishment disciple. It was fortunate that the sect master of the Wanjian sect was magnanimous and did not hold this transgression against you. Shi Wenjun, merely engaged in a normal spar, now lay wounded at your hand. Gu Qingyan's lips pressed into a tight line as he retorted stiffly, I will atone for this matter later. It is not for you to concern yourself with. You save him first. I refuse to save him? The corner of my lips curled into a faint smile. With my hand propping my chin, I tilted my head to gaze at him. Do you mean to kill me again? The disciples from the outer sects gasped in horror, while Gu Qingyan's body stiffened perceptibly. I have never once contemplated taking your life. Do not speak such baseless words. Oh? Is that truly so? My smile vanished, replaced by a downturned sneer. I still vividly recalled the countless times I had pleaded with him, begging him not to harm the Song family, begging him to save me. I was his junior sister, the woman he once claimed to love, yet he merely gazed upon me with chilling indifference, uttering cruel words. This venerable one's junior sister died long ago. They had clearly driven me to utter despair, yet still from their lofty perch they condemned me for harming others. Gu Qingyan himself used the immortal binding rope to shackle me. My most cherished disciple, Baiyang, plunged a sword into my chest, shattering my heart, destroying my nascent soul, and scattering my very bones and flesh to the winds. Mei Miao declared that this was to ensure I would never have a chance at revival. A sharp pang of agony shot through my chest. My hands clenched tightly, nails digging into my palms, as I struggled to suppress the surging hatred. That immortal binding rope, it was a gift from me to him, and yes, I truly possessed the means to save her. But what then? My gaze bored deep into his eyes. I simply do not wish to save her. The one you love is on the verge of death. He. I covered my mouth, a chilling laugh echoing forth, a sound that sent icy shivers down the spines of all who heard it. A cold dread began to rise from the soles of their feet, and only then did the outer sect disciples finally comprehend the true depths of the situation. their pupils constricted in shock. His beloved, Gu Qingyan and his disciple. A wave of murmurs swept through the crowd, though the disciples of the Wentian sect remained impassive, long accustomed to such theatrics. On the high platform, an invisible scent of gunpowder permeated the air, and the killing intent emanating from Gu Qingyan was almost impossible to suppress. Baiyang stumbled, barely managing to clamber onto the elevated platform. "Master, please, I beg you, save junior sister Yi." He staggered to my side, his body riddled with horrifying wounds, barely able to stand, yet his gaze held an obstinate plea. At first he harbored a deep hatred for me, consumed by jealousy over Ye Chushu. Then that hatred morphed into resentment for my refusal to save her from death. But now within his heart fear predominated, a terror of losing my affection. He harbored a faint, desperate hope that I would intervene out of some lingering care for him. I turned my head, fixing him with a grave stare. All three of my disciples held only Yu Chushu in their hearts. Even now, riddled with injuries himself, his sole concern remained her. I slowly raised my hand, gently brushing away a blood-matted lock of hair from his forehead. My icy fingertips ghosted over his skin. Baiyang instantly stiffened, a flicker of bewildered joy sparking within him. But in the very next instant, my hand halted on his left shoulder, pressing down with brutal force. The wound caved inward, and the distinct crunch of splintering bone echoed in the silence. Baiyang gasped, sucking in a sharp, painful breath. As his body was yanked closer to mine, I whispered, "So, you are that worried about her?" My gaze lingered on his face, a faint cold smile playing on my lips. "So will you go and become Gu Qingyan's disciple?" Having spoken, I forcefully pushed him away. "Senior brother." And Zhe and Lu Nanfing, aghast, rushed to help him to his feet. "Senior brother, are you all right?" Baiyang, his face deathly pale, lowered his head. His feet stirred subtly, yet he ultimately chose to compromise, not daring to voice another demand. He finally understood that he had long forfeited the right to indulge in whims. "Junior sister Song, if there are grievances, let us settle them elsewhere. We shall take our leave for now." The Wentian sect master's face darkened considerably. He rose, intending to move to another location, yet I remained calmly seated. "Sect master, what's the rush? It is merely a matter of falling for your own disciple. Is there a need to be so secretive? Even your Gu Qingyan shows no concern, so what cause do you have to be so bothered? Junior sister Song, mind your words." The sect master's face darkened further, a mask of rising fury. How could he with such brazen audacity expect his former fiancé, myself, to rescue the one he now holds dear? Am I not even allowed to speak? Nay, I wish to invite the esteemed sect masters to pass judgment. Is it wrong for me not to cure Yu Chushu? Countless times I have yearned to ask, where exactly did I err? I am envious, filled with loathing, and even harbor hatred for Ye Chushu. I have never once concealed my ill will, yet these very people demand I save her, and if I refuse I am instantly branded a wicked villain, guilty of monstrous evil. My former fiancé and companion condemn me, my disciples cause me turmoil, my fellow sect members decry me as absurd. Even now I ask, where exactly did I go wrong? I have never once felt remorse. Suddenly Lu Xiao, the esteemed sect master of the Heihuan sect, spoke out. "Indeed. Taoist friend Song's actions are entirely reasonable and just. Who among you dares to claim she is in the wrong?" She looked at me with eyes of profound sincerity. "It was your own Gu Qingyan who betrayed her first, yet you still demand Taoist friend Song rescue the other woman. This act is truly preposterous. Men are truly like this. They fall for one then another and always seek to shift the blame onto women. To witness a true monarch Gu of such brazenness, this sect master truly sees it for the first time." Gu Qingyan's face, meanwhile, had turned deathly pale. "This matter has nothing to do with sect master Lu. Please mind your words. This poison was originally inflicted by Song Wanning. Naturally, she alone should be the one to dispel it." I burst into raucous laughter. Only when my mirth had subsided did I raise my head. "Gu Qingyan, you are truly laughable. I inflicted the poison? It was clearly your dutiful disciple who instigated that dolt Baiyang to pilfer my medicinal elixirs. Failing in that endeavor, he instead stole potent poison. Had even one person among you present understood benevolence, righteousness, and morality, your Ye Chushu would not have been poisoned. I curse every single one of you." The sect master's face burned with indignation, and the other elders dared not utter a single word. The various sect masters now regarded Gu Qingyan with strange questioning eyes. Gu Qingyan retorted, "Chushu never instigated Baiyang. Do not constantly attempt to tarnish her name." Gu Qingyan's face was cold. "Not everyone has schemes as deep as yours, insidious and malicious. Chushu is an untainted, pure white snowflake. As for your hands, what remains on them besides fresh blood? What else could there possibly be?" Hearing this, I felt no anger. I merely rose, calmly brushed the dust from my sleeves, and took Li Ruo's hand. "If I am truly insidious and malicious, then this poison I absolutely cannot cure. Henceforth, do not ever grovel before me again." With those words, I swept out grandly, taking Li Ruo with me. Baiyang hesitated, his feet stirring as if to move, but in the end he did not follow. Yi Chushu lay unconscious, and all present were consumed by profound worry. Yet, they understood with chilling clarity that no matter how fervently they pleaded, I would absolutely not save her. "Martial Uncle Lan, since Master refuses to save her, could you perhaps try?" And Z pleaded with Lan Yue. Lan Yue frowned, rising to inspect the situation, yet remained silent in deep contemplation. Gu Qingyan's heart clenched with anxiety. "Senior brother Lan," he pressed, "Chushue's Dantian has recovered, with only a trace of the toxin remaining. Can it truly not be resolved?" "This poison is indeed peculiar," Lan Yue admitted. "I have yet to discover an antidote." Lan Yue couldn't help but concede that the disparity between his medical skills and Master's was vast. For now, I can only allow her to awaken first. But as for the antidote itself, he handed Gu Qingyan a medicinal pill, a fleeting expression of helplessness crossing his face. Gu Qingyan's heart sank. He accepted the pill and strode away, cradling Yi Chuxue. The three, including Bai Yang, followed close behind, their hearts heavy with worry. Marshal Uncle Gu and Zay's voice was filled with anguish. Senior Sister Yi's prolonged suffering cannot stand. Is there truly no other path for us? And Z clenched his fists in seething anger. Yet, I was not there at that moment, and he had once more resorted to his stubborn ways. Master is such a petty individual, and Z seethed, he would absolutely never treat Senior Sister Yi. On the contrary, he would only seek to harm her. If not for Master, Senior Sister Yi would never have been poisoned in the first place. His face contorted with such resentment when he spoke of me, as if I were not his master, but a sworn enemy. Bai Yang and Lu Nanfeng both remained silent, clearly sharing the belief that I only sought to inflict harm upon Yi Chuxue. Gu Qingyan's expression was grim as he sorrowfully gazed at his young disciple on the bed. And Zi's unspoken accusation was evident. Indeed, I was no longer the person I once was. They could no longer place their hopes in me. Upon Li Ro sat beside me, her wide eyes fixed on my profile. Just moments ago, I had appeared calm and untroubled, yet my hand gripped the child's hand with a profound tightness. Master, she uttered softly, you still have Ruo. The child proactively took my hand, her large, round eyes brimming with adoration. She could not comprehend why her senior brothers would defend an outsider against me. I lowered my head and gently stroked her hair. Originally, taking Li Ro in had merely been to pay a debt of gratitude. I never imagined that in a vast sect like Wentian, the only one who would stand by me was this child. In a few days, this master will enter seclusion. Starting tomorrow, you shall come to my abode every single day. On that fateful day, I uttered those very words. Firstly, I refused to suffer a loss and allow the world to glorify Gu Qingyan's fervent, earth-shattering love story. Secondly, it was to provoke those individuals, compelling them to hasten to the ruins of the Yaowang sect. When I first glimpsed the threads of the future, I had only wished to eradicate them all. Yet, I chose a path of patience and forbearance. For I knew their destinies were far from ordinary, perhaps even shielded by the heavenly Tao. To forcibly annihilate them would only lead to my own demise and the extinguishing of my Tao. Thus, I could only proceed with meticulous, step-by-step calculations. Did they not desire to climb over me, step by calculated step, to achieve their own ascension? Then I would do the exact opposite. Let them also taste the bitter essence of suffering, allowing me to both exact my revenge and safeguard myself and the Song clan. I smiled, for surely they would not be able to remain still much longer. After Gu Qingyan had settled his disciples, he prepared to journey to the Kangjing repository, determined to find a way to resolve the poison. Midway, he spotted his close friend, Xia Hoshang, hurrying towards Yunxiao Peak. For reasons he could not fathom, Gu Qingyan's steps faltered, and he changed his direction to follow. He pressed his lips tightly together, reiterating to himself again and again that his actions were solely for the sake of Chushue's poison and had nothing to do with any other matters. Upon Yunxiao Peak, I had just finished instructing Li Ruo when a figure appeared at the entrance. The newcomer wore neat attire, possessing broad shoulders, a slender waist, and a distinguished physique. He bore sharp sword-like brows, bright eyes, and a gaze that held profound depth. It was Xia Hoshang, Gu Qingyan's close friend and a person I knew all too well. His temperament was a complete antithesis to Gu Qingyan's. He was talkative, sharp-tongued, and always enjoyed bickering with me. Now that he had suddenly appeared, what was his purpose? My expression remained unchanged as I strode towards him. What is it? Have you come to witness my misfortune? A faint smile played upon my lips. As Xia Hoshang watched me approach, his lips pressed tightly together, an unconscious tension seizing him. By the time I stood before him, his face was flushed crimson. Could it be that you too have been afflicted by poison? I spoke, my tone laced with mockery. I have not. Xia Hoshang retorted. I merely came to visit you. Shh! Truly came to visit me? I recall you wished to see me weep in despair, or perhaps witness my pathetic descent into madness. Neither was the case. Xia Hoshang furrowed his brow. He felt as though I harbored a profound misunderstanding towards him. The jade box behind his back was clutched tightly. Just as he intended to retrieve it, a voice suddenly echoed from behind him. Xia Hoshang, why are you here? Gu Qingyan, who clearly knew the answer, stood beside me and cast a glance at the jade box in Xia Hoshang's hand. Xia Hoshang's eyes darkened. I merely came to visit Wanning. Wanning? As these two words escaped his lips, both Gu Qingyan and I were stunned. Since when had our relationship become so intimate as to use such a familiar address? Gu Qingyan's expression turned grim. Xia Hoshang was clearly not jesting. Then why have you come here? Are you not supposed to be with your cherished disciple? Xia Hoshang retorted, matching his sarcasm. I came to find Song Wanning for the antidote. Gu Qingyan cast a cold glance my way. I scoffed, a laugh escaping my lips. To still have the audacity to seek an antidote after all that has been said. I had truly underestimated his affection for Yi Chuxue. All of you begun. You wish for me to grant him the antidote? Only over my dead body. My figure flickered, reappearing at the grand hall's entrance. The massive doors slammed shut. You did this intentionally, did you not? Xia Hoshang had seen through Gu Qingyan's true intentions. Gu Qingyan, as always, maintained an icy demeanor. I do not comprehend what you are speaking of. He glanced at the firmly shut doors, then turned and departed. Xia Hoshang, overcome with rage, pursued and intercepted him at the foot of the mountain. Gu Qingyan, you are truly despicable. Because of your pathetic possessiveness, you seek to prevent me from approaching Song Wanning. Gu Qingyan struck where it hurt most, his eyes flickered subtly. I may not love her, but she cannot be with anyone else. She will not favor you, cease your futile efforts. Gu Qingyan spoke, his tone frigid. Xiahou Sheng unleashed a punch, and the two immediately engaged in battle at the entrance. The following day, to procure an antidote for Yi Chushe, they resolved to journey to the Medicine King Duke's ruins. Bai Yong hesitated for a long time, but ultimately decided to inform me. Yet, upon reaching the Grand Hall, he found a notice pasted upon the door, in seclusion, disturb not. 4 large characters declared, Master is in seclusion. A profound sense of loss welled within his heart. Turning to depart, he then saw Li Ruo emerge, carrying a small basket. Senior brother. Li Ruo ran over joyfully. Senior brother, you've come at just the right time. I collected some flower nectar. Our honored master said it's good for cultivation. These are gifts for the 3 senior brothers. The young girl held up her small basket, her face beaming with joy. Baiyong, however, recalled the time he was gravely injured, yet in their master's eyes there was only this junior sister. But by what wicked impulse? He raised his hand and struck the basket, sending it flying. The jar of nectar tumbled and rolled across the ground. Li Ruo stood frozen, Baiyong too was stunned, staring blankly at his own hand. When had he become the very image he so despised? In a panic, he blurted out an apology, then fled in disarray. Li Ruo pressed her lips together. Her eyes filled with disappointment as she picked up the jar. If they did not want it, then she would simply consume it herself, saving a little extra for their master. Marshal Uncle Gu, let us depart. And Z urged him on. Gu Qingyan gazed at the grand entrance of the Wentian sect, his heart fraught with worry that Xiahou Shang would come seeking him after his departure. Yi Chushu observed his distracted state, a flicker of concern passing through her eyes. Senior brother, do we truly not need to inform our master? He will certainly be furious. Lu Nanfeng said with some agitation, our master is already in closed-door cultivation. By the time we return, he might not have even emerged yet. Bai Yong's gaze was cold, therefore whether we tell him or not holds little significance. He is in closed-door cultivation? Gu Qingyan immediately grasped the crucial detail. Seeing Bai Yong nod, a sense of relief inexplicably washed over him. Let's go. We depart now. He immediately summoned his spirit ship, bringing the others along without pause, heading towards the Medicine King sect ruins. Aboard the spirit ship, Yi Chusho huddled within her cloak, her tiny palm-sized face appearing even more fragile. What truly concerned her, however, was the sensitivity shown by Gu Qingyan and Bai Yong in their dealings with me. Her eyes filled with revulsion, she bit her lip. Once this poison is resolved, I shall surely return all of this tenfold. No sooner had the spirit ship departed, than a dark shadow flickered from behind the sect gates and vanished. Half a month later, the spirit ship came to a halt before the Medicine King sect ruins. The group swiftly entered the restrictive formation. A short while later, a dark shadow appeared at the entrance of the ruins. Clad in a long robe with a golden mask obscuring my face, it was I who was supposedly in closed-door cultivation. It turned out my early seclusion was merely a pretense, all to secretly follow them, and seize the inheritance of the Medicine King sect. In my past life, Yi Chushu obtained the inheritance here, transforming from one who knew nothing of medicinal pills into a grand alchemist. Those who had once begged me for medicinal pills now immediately showed a different demeanor, mocking me with cold disdain. Unable to bear the insult, I challenged Yi Chushui to an alchemy competition, hoping to prove myself. But I lost, and from that day forward, became nothing but a laughingstock. Yi Chushu smoothly ascended by trampling over me, taking her seat as the alchemy grandmaster revered by countless individuals. Each time she was praised, people would inevitably drag me into it, inadvertently trampling upon my dignity. Now that I had been granted a chance at rebirth, I naturally could not allow history to repeat itself. Yet, such opportunities are often determined by the heavens, and in truth, I held no great certainty in my heart. What did the favor of the heavenly Tao matter? For what I desired, even if a heavenly tribulation stood directly before me, I would risk everything to seize it. I had never believed in destiny, nor did I fear death. My only fear was to die a useless death, just as I had in my previous life. My heart surged with determination. Concealing my aura, I slipped into the ancient ruins. Along the way, I encountered several cultivators, all wary of one another. With my mysterious attire and extraordinary demeanor, it was clear I was not to be trifled with. Cough, cough, cough. Yu Chushu clutched her chest in discomfort, coughing incessantly. After entering the grand hall, she lost track of the others. Her chest felt as if it would burst from the coughing. My arrogant visage flashed through her mind, intensifying her resentment. If not for me poisoning the medicinal pills, she would not be in such a state. She vowed to find the inheritance of the Yawang sect and trample me underfoot. Ye Chushu's battle will surged. She could vaguely sense a guiding thread leading her step by step to this very hall. She hastened her steps into the nearest room as the grand door slowly closed behind her. In that instant, she seemed to glimpse someone else entering. No, this won't do, she thought. She had to quickly find the inheritance. Guided by the residual poison, I followed Yi Chushui to the grand hall. Just as I saw that closed door and Yi Chushu obscured behind it, the corners of my mouth curled into a slight smirk, a glint flashing in my eyes. If Gu Qingyan were to discover that the medicinal pills he had begged for on his knees had become the very instrument to bury his disciple's future, he would surely be so enraged as to spit blood. I quickly located a hidden restriction. Reaching out and pushing it, a grand door materialized. Yichusha could see the grand door upon her arrival, yet I had to search for it myself. The heavenly Tao truly is biased. Beyond the door lay an empty chamber, save for an alchemy cauldron. Light gathered at its base, converging in the center, where a perfectly transparent orb lay, faintly emitting dark, demonic energy. This is a demonic artifact. My heart pounded, my expression drastically changed, and my aura fluctuated wildly. My eye sockets were stained a vivid red. The maddening memories of my previous life shattered their suppression, surging overwhelmingly into my mind. I suddenly spat out a mouthful of black blood, my body swaying as I leaned against the wall, hands clinging tightly to its pristine white surface, leaving behind streaks of crimson. In my previous life, they had driven me to madness, forcing me to descend into the demonic path. Everyone clamored to strike me down, falsely accusing my clan of colluding with the demonic race. 10,000 cultivators gathered to besiege us. I cried and begged Gu Qingyan to intervene, yet he remained utterly unmoved. I then pleaded with Bai Yang, my most beloved disciple, the child I had personally raised, but under my astonished gaze, he plunged a sword into my chest. From the moment you targeted Chu Shui, you ceased to be my master. And Z clapped in praise, calling me a demonic creature. Even Lu Nanfeng, flustered, merely clutched his robe and murmured, "Master, junior sister Chusho is truly kind-hearted. You should not harm her." In that instant, I was utterly consumed by a maddening hatred. I spat blood once more. The demonic energy deep within my soul surged back, enveloping me. Reborn into this life, did the heavenly Tao still wish for me to fall into demonism? By what right? My destiny shall be forged by my own hands. With a sharp gaze, I acted decisively, pulling the orb through the air and into my palm. Dense demonic energy surged wildly towards me, yet I did not retreat. Instead, I advanced. A glint of madness flashed in my eyes, and I directly placed the orb into my mouth. The orb immediately erupted with a blinding light, invading my dantian. Boundless demonic energy completely consumed me. In the immortal realm, Muzhuzi of the Wuji clan and his close friend Wang Yang were playing chess. Muzhuzi's hand holding a chess piece suddenly paused. Someone has entered the inheritance hall of the Yawang sect once more, he mused. With a wave of his hand, a scrying mirror appeared, revealing two figures. Tens of thousands of years have passed, Muzhuzi murmured, and we have finally awaited a fated individual. Muzhuzi stroked his beard, greatly comforted. To think that after so many years we could still find an inheritor in the lower realm, truly interesting. Wang Yang placed a chess piece. Muzhuzi observed the two figures in the scrying mirror. Why does that person seem to be falling into demonism? Wang Yang questioned. Wang Yang frowned. Disbelief flashed Muzhuzi's eyes. Such petty inner demons cannot even be controlled, yet they wish to obtain my Yawang sect's inheritance, truly a foolish dreamer. He then turned his gaze towards Yi Chushe. Before her, spiritual herbs and a pill formula were spread out, which she was diligently studying. Though she occasionally coughed, it did not seem to affect her much. Mu Shuzi stroked his beard contentedly. This lass is not bad, though afflicted with an ailment, she remains devoted to the Tao of alchemy and is quite perceptive. I feel an immediate affinity for her. On the other hand, the one enveloped in demonic energy I disliked upon first sight. Inner demons possess his body, and bloodlust entwines his very being. He cannot bear such a heavy responsibility. Both of their gazes were now fixed entirely upon Ye Chushe. Seeing her meticulously handle the spiritual herbs, their eyes shone with admiration. This young woman possesses exceptional talent in the path of medicinal alchemy. It seems she truly is the fated one for our Medicine King sect. Within the Grand Hall, demonic energy surged wildly through my body. It assailed my acupoints and meridians, while black demonic energy swirled in my eyes, making it seem as though I had deeply fallen to the demonic path. Yet, in truth, I remained perfectly clear-headed. I did not reject entering the demonic path, but both the method and consequences of its cultivation must be under my own control. Under the suppression of the heavenly Tao, I chose to walk a defiant path, striving to merge demonic and spiritual energies, carving out a path that was uniquely my own. One who has already faced death once fears no challenge. Within my dantian, demonic and spiritual energies fiercely clashed, vying for dominance. My eyes shone with resolve as I slowly opened my meridians, attempting to pacify the two energies. Yet these two opposing forces were as stubborn as children, colliding wildly within my dantian. I coughed violently, blood trickling from the corner of my mouth. My entire body leaned against the wall, swaying as if I might collapse, yet the eyes beneath my mask gleamed with a terrifying light. In the Grand Hall, I had pushed open the second great door, a testament to my skill as a Grandmaster alchemist in the lower realm. These trials were not difficult for me. Even though the Medicine King sect's alchemy system differed from that of the current realm, I swiftly grasped its essence. Within moments, I had successfully passed the trial. This young lass actually possesses such comprehension in the path of pill refining. Zixu, look. Wang Yang's eyes lit up. This maiden was originally a sword cultivator, yet she also knew how to refine pills. Zixu's expression darkened. This maiden already knew how to refine pills, she's merely clever. If we speak of true talent, that white-clothed girl is still a cut above. Wang Yang was speechless. He was too lazy to bother with Mu Zixu, and secretly, a glimmer of expectation arose within him towards me. Originally lagging behind, I caught up step by step. In less than an hour, I had surpassed Yi Chushe, reaching the ultimate trial door. Initially, Mu Zixu had scoffed with a few sarcastic remarks, but soon he could only stare wide-eyed. I smoothly passed the ultimate trial door, reaching the final inheritance grand hall. It arrived so swiftly. Mu Zixu glanced at Yi Chushe, then sneered coldly, "Let me go meet this young lass." Within the inheritance hall, rows of wooden shelves were filled with countless spirit tablets. My expression froze in surprise. I had initially expected inheritance texts or magic treasures and spiritual medicines, Who would have thought it would be filled entirely with spirit tablets? Each tier, each neatly arranged row exuded a solemn and tragic aura. How many had perished here? The top row of spirit tablets belonged entirely to the Nascent Soul cultivators of the Medicine King sect, surrounding a mighty soul transformation stage expert in the very center. After the Great Ancient War, the Medicine Void Realm was split in two. The highest cultivation level achievable in the lower realm was restricted to the soul transformation stage. My revered master had ascended to the spirit realm over 50 years ago. My gaze hardened, my Tao heart becoming even more resolute. I not only wished to ascend to the upper realm, but also to bring my entire Song family with me. Bai Yang and Yi Chushui would be our stepping stones to ascension. No sooner had the thought solidified than an ethereal figure appeared within the grand hall. It was Muzishu. Who enters? State your name. Muzishu stared at me coldly, yet his concern was clearly for Yi Chushui. Before I could reply, Yi Chushui indeed pushed open the door and entered. The excitement on her face froze the moment she saw me. Someone had arrived a step before her. Her heart sank, but upon seeing Muzishu by her side, she hastily forced a smile. Senior, she greeted. Muzishu's heart immediately felt at ease. He nodded. His judgment of people had always been accurate. I, however, had been staring intently into Muzishu's eyes, not missing the subtle shifts in his gaze and attitude. I narrowed my own eyes slightly. It seemed the true object of this man's affection was still Yi Chushui. Even though I had passed the trial a step ahead, I coldly glanced at Yi Chushui, the corner of my mouth under the mask curling slightly. This time, I wanted to see with my own eyes how Yi Chushui would receive his inheritance. This is the inheritance hall of my Medicine King sect. Congratulations on overcoming countless trials to reach this place. Muzishu hovered in midair, looking down at the two of us. It truly is the inheritance hall. Yi Chushui's eyes shone brightly and she clenched her fists. The illustrious reputation of the Medicine King sect, this junior has heard of it for a long time. To see it, Teddy, it truly lives up to its name. To meet senior, this junior is truly blessed with 3 lifetimes of good fortune. She could only resort to flattery, trying to compensate for the disadvantage of being a step behind. This young lass is quite well behaved. Muzishu's mood lightened considerably. In contrast, that black-clothed girl was filled with killing intent, her expression arrogant and defiant. She hardly looked like someone here to receive an inheritance, but rather someone here to cause trouble. His heart grew even more displeased. And you, he asked, do you have nothing to say? He involuntarily looked towards me, speaking aloud to ask. Upon hearing this, I slightly tilted my head, looking up at him, and with a changed tone, I said, I originally came here for the inheritance of the Yao Wang sect, but I never expected its most gifted disciples had long since vanished, and more than half its cultivators had fallen. In my previous life, before Gu Qingyan, I was already humiliated enough. In this life, no one shall ever force me to bow my head, regardless of their standing. Moreover, with such blatant malice from my opponent, I, Song Wanning, am no fool. My words struck at the deepest wound within Muzishu's heart. His expression immediately darkened. Do not speak such nonsense. The inheritance of my Hawang sect stands eternally in the spirit realm, unyielding and unbroken. It is not something an ignorant junior like you could ever comprehend. I see you have deliberately come here to stir up trouble. Muzishu made no attempt to conceal the loathing in his heart which secretly delighted Yi Chushui. Her adversary was proving too misguided, and had of her own accord offended a revered elder. Senior, please do not be angry. This fellow cultivator must have little understanding of the Yao Wang sect, which is why she uttered such ignorant words. If only she could witness the former glory of the Yao Wang sect, she would immediately realize the depth of her error. She smiled, appearing reasonable and understanding, yet her words, both overt and subtle, were clearly swaying the narrative. Yi Chushui's feigned expression of self-satisfaction made me narrow my eyes. She was always like this, clearly harboring extreme disdain for me in her heart, yet still feigning righteousness and showcasing her magnanimity. Such hypocrisy was nauseating. You yourselves said it, that was its former glory. But now, times have changed. The Yao Wang sect has long since been struck from the records of the lower realms, and this is an undeniable truth. This fellow cultivator understands the Yao Wang sect so well. Surely she wouldn't be ignorant of such matters, would she? I find that. It is you who has little understanding of the Yao Wang sect. Ye Chushui's complexion instantly grew several shades uglier. You speak with such insolence. The Yao Wang sect was originally a great inheritance sect, and its inheritance was merely interrupted due to an unforeseen catastrophe. Otherwise, how could other sects now have the chance to rise to the ranks of top-tier sects? As she rebutted, she subtly glanced at Muzishu's expression from the corner of her eye, and seeing his face as black as ink, she knew she had won. Ha, when it comes to fawning, you are truly peerless. I only wonder if you possess any other abilities. Just now, I noticed you were a step slower than me. I let out a cold chuckle, completely disregarding Muzishu's expression, which was as if he wanted to devour me whole. If you are truly the one chosen by the Yao Wang sect to inherit its legacy, then the Yao Wang sect is surely doomed. It will never hope to rise again, not in this lifetime. Blasphemy. Before Yi Chushui could even react, Muzishu could no longer contain his fury, raising his hand to strike at me. You dare to curse my Yao Wang sect? You are truly courting death. A formidable palm strike imbued with spiritual ki was unleashed. My figure flickered, appearing behind Yi Chushui, my long sword pressed against her neck. The icy chill instantly sent shivers down Yi Chushui's spine, causing her to gasp violently. Muzishu hastily retracted his immense palm strike, the shock reverberating through his own soul. Release her. Release her at once. I merely smiled, pressing the longsword in my hand just a fraction closer. The blade's tip sliced through her pale skin and a bead of blood welled forth. Yichushi choked violently, her heart filled with both shock and terror. I leaned down, whispering into her ear, "You must be a little more careful. If I were to accidentally sever your throat, I wouldn't be responsible, would I?" Yichusho's scalp went numb upon hearing this, and she cast a desperate pleading look towards Muzishu. "Do you truly believe that by killing her, you can obtain the inheritance of my Yawang sect? How utterly laughable." Muzishu gazed at me with contempt. "As long as this old man does not nod his head, even if you slaughter everyone here, you shall not obtain a single thing from my Yawang sect. I warn you, release her now, otherwise this old man vows you will never leave this place alive." The inheritance of the Yawang sect. Fury swelled within my heart as my smile vanished. "Do you truly believe I came here for your Yawang sect's inheritance? And is it not so? Your intentions?" Before Muzishu could even finish his words, speaking of what lay within her body, I abruptly struck, knocking Yichushu unconscious on the spot. She still held value, and I could not allow her to discern my true identity. I sealed her 5 senses, then unceremoniously cast her aside. Yichushu fell heavily to the ground, utterly losing consciousness. With a disdainful wipe of my hands, I tilted my head towards Muzishu, my provocative demeanor utterly unchanged. "What is this incessant you keep repeating? Do you truly believe your Yawang sect's inheritance is some peerless treasure, worthy of such incessant strife? In my eyes it is naught but an utterly worthless pile of canine droppings." I let out a scornful scoff, my gaze sweeping dismissively over the row of spirit tablets. Yawang sect. Yavyafang. Ha, if such treasures are not willingly offered, then let them be utterly destroyed. No one shall be permitted to trample upon my dignity to ascend. The young Muzishu was so enraged by my arrogance that his hair bristled and his chest heaved with fury. The grand palm strike descended once more, a blazing golden wire for lotus, seeming to pierce through flesh and directly threaten my dantian. My expression turned grave. With a casual flick of my wrist, my true fate longsword materialized in my grasp. My feet tracing the 7 stars, my form akin to a phantom, I advanced without retreat. Wielding my blade, I struck forth, its sword intent tearing through all. The very air shrieked in protest as it plunged directly into the blazing firelight. Firelight erupted in all directions, dazzling as if it were midday. The immense impact force caused the surrounding space to ripple and distort violently. Even Yichushu, still lying nearby, was caught in the aftermath, thrown violently by the surging energy wave. Muzishu, astonished, swiftly reached out across the distance to seize her, intent on bringing her to safety. Yet in that very instant I retracted my sword and spun my form. A thick, oppressive aura of killing intent enveloped the entire inheritance hall. My true fate longsword hummed intensely, quivering with a maddened excitement, mirroring its master's fervor. Muzishu let out a chilling snort, and freed a hand to unleash another formidable palm strike. My expression remained frigid, my killing sword intent descending with overwhelming force like splitting bamboo. It slammed directly into his grand palm strike. Yet, in the very moment of impact, my sword intent splintered into 10 distinct strands, swirling and rapidly dispersing, then surged directly towards Yushue, who lay behind him, while I head-on bore down upon the grand palm strike itself. Audacious! Muzishu had been outmaneuvered once more. In a surge of explosive fury, he swiftly turned to shield Yichue. He gathered his spiritual energy to bat away my sword intent, but in doing so, his grand palm strike was effortlessly shattered by my attack, dissolving like fireworks into mere smoke and mist. Despicable wretch, you dare use her to restrain me? If you possess true capability, then face me in a forthright and honorable battle. Muzishu shielded Yichushu behind him, glaring at me with utter revulsion. I, however, could not suppress a burst of laughter, my peculiar gaze sizing him up from head to toe. I, a despicable wretch? And you, a venerable expert of the spirit transformation stage, making a move against a mere junior such as myself, is that not equally, if not more contemptible? To be frank, your arrogance is truly boundless, a mere wisp of divine sense, and you truly believe yourself to be so formidable? My previous display was but a trifling demonstration. Did you truly mistake it for my full power? My words, laced with venom, pierced directly into Muzishu's heart, each one fueling his rage until his face flushed crimson. He pointed at me, his finger trembling uncontrollably. Never before had anyone dared to insult him in such a manner. Even as a mere wisp of divine sense, this old man possesses the power to obliterate you. He gnashed his teeth, his desire to kill never more intense than in that moment. Is that so? The smile on my lips deepened further, my gaze now tinged with a faint chilling trace of killing intent. Then by all means attempt it, for today I shall demonstrate to you whose rules truly govern our lower realm, whose will ultimately prevails. My obsidian pupils swiftly began to churn, forming miniature whirlpools within their depths. I raised my longsword. With a single swing high above the mountain peaks, at the very edge of the horizon, a brilliant star suddenly blazed forth. Before Muzishu's astonished eyes, an unforeseen phenomenon manifested. A profound sense of unease gripped his heart, and he immediately gathered all his spiritual energy, launching himself towards the longsword. But as I had previously stated, this mere wisp of divine sense, though ancient, having persisted for hundreds of thousands of years, was simply no longer what it once was. In the very next instant, the surrounding space swiftly locked down, and a profoundly terrifying sensation of danger surged over him. In his panic, Muzishu felt as though he had plunged into an endless abyss, boundless seawater crashing down upon him. No matter how desperately he struggled, escape remained an impossibility. She actually cultivated a sword Dao intent realm. Within the Wuji sect, Wang Yong's face etched with profound astonishment, his gaze fixed upon me, a mixture of shock and elation warring within his eyes. With such innate comprehension, her future was truly limitless. What in the heavens was Muzishu truly doing? He rose abruptly, seething with incandescent rage. Ordinarily, a sword cultivator capable of grasping sword intent was considered an unparalleled talent. Yet, to comprehend the full sword Dao concept was a feat beyond even that, a difficulty compounded upon difficulty. This young woman, merely at the Nascent Soul stage, whence did such formidable spiritual power originate? Muzishu, is that you? Muzishu, do you truly intend to extinguish a genuine prodigy? Wang Yang yearned to rush forth and deliver 2 resounding slaps to Muzishu's face. Muzishu may not favor me, but he does. He is prepared to bestow his entire legacy upon me. The treasured sword of Moyang Immortal Lord vibrated with frenzied intensity, its blade resonating with a fierce clashing symphony. Moyang Immortal Lord no longer restrained it, allowing it to soar freely. The treasured sword surged into the sky, spinning and exhilarated echoed forth. Moyang, Moyang, your kin! I sense the presence of your kin. It flew to Shuijing's side, its gaze fixed upon that shadowy dark figure. The path of slaughter. The path of slaughter. This is truly a foreign seed for the path of slaughter. Receive it. Receive it. The treasured sword pulsed with an urge to descend into the lower realms on its own. Wang Yang cast a glance at Moyang Immortal Lord, and in that instant a profound realization dawned upon him. Small wonder that Moyang Immortal Lord, a being known for his solitary path, had chosen to halt his journey. It seemed he had taken an interest in that young girl. Muzishu, you fool, you have mistaken a common block of wood for a true pearl. Shameless child, release me at once. Having been imprisoned for so long, Muzishu finally grew restless. His dwindling spiritual power was on the verge of complete exhaustion, and his ethereal form threatened to vanish into transparency. He could scarcely believe that he, a dignified true immortal, found himself trapped within the grasp of a mere young girl's palm. No sooner had the voice faded than the surrounding sea fell into an unnatural stillness. Every trace of the previous concept vanished without a trace. Within the vast inheritance hall, a profound silence returned. Muzishu stood upon the ground, his form ethereal and fading, on the verge of complete dissolution. Another sword strike, and he might well have dissolved into nothingness. Insolent child, you shall regret this day. His eyes, brimming with chilling malice, were fixed upon me. This mere wisp of my divine consciousness has lingered in this lower realm until now, its energy all but depleted, which is why you were able to seize this fleeting opportunity. But my true body resides within the immortal realm. Do you truly believe you have emerged victorious? As long as this old one draws breath, you shall never know peace within the spirit realm or the immortal realm. This is the true consequence of obstructing this old one. Given this immediate predicament, I absolutely cannot allow him to bestow his legacy upon that white-robed girl. This would mean that, within the lower realms, the lineage of their Medicine King sect would be utterly severed. That is utterly unacceptable. Muzishu roared aloud, if you can awaken to reason in time, this old one might still grant you an opportunity. Though his heart seethed with a deathly hatred, for the moment, he could only choose to negotiate with me. He had erred once. This time he absolutely could not allow the legacy in the lower realm to be severed. Employing both harsh words and soft persuasion, this young woman would surely waver. Should you agree to allow this old one to leave the legacy to that girl, then this old one can also bestow a portion upon you. If no other choice remains, then let it all be bestowed. As long as the white-robed girl receives the legacy, that is what truly matters. As for this young woman, her heart demons entwine her very being. Her future is without hope. Sooner or later, she shall perish in the lower realms. But you must agree to this old one's terms. You are forbidden from employing medicinal pills to inflict harm upon others, nor shall you ever walk the Zhonghu under the guise of an inheritor of my Medicine King sect. Your very act of poisoning the white-robed girl reveals your malicious heart. You are unworthy to become an inheritor of the Medicine King sect. Only if you agree to these conditions will this old one bestow the legacy upon you. Muzishu once again assumed his lofty, condescending demeanor. That air of magnanimity, that bestowal of grace, only provoked my scornful laughter. Who truly granted you such audacity? And now you still dare to negotiate terms with me? My lips curled into a sneer, my dark gaze sweeping over him. Then with a menacing smile I asked, are you truly so certain that I will suffer defeat? I believe you should be more concerned for your own factions within the spirit realm and the immortal realm. Do not wait until the day the Yaowang sect truly vanishes, only then to weep and express your regret. You speak of cruel words, but who truly knows what the future holds? Do not even dream of coercing me into making a decision right now. Muzishu had not expected such a resolute response from me. You must consider this carefully, he urged. This is the very legacy of the Yaowang sect. And what of the Yaowang sect? My gaze sharpened. I detested that condescending tone of charity more than anything. Without your Yaowang sect, I would still be a pill-refining grandmaster. What do you truly think you are? Haha, Muzishu laughed, seething with rage. You will regret this. His gaze darkened, his heart filled with extreme hatred. But the situation was urgent, and his eyes flickered to Ye Chushui, who lay unconscious on the ground behind him. He secretly steeled his resolve, yet I had long since seen through his every intention. I burst into laughter. As I silently watched him, an unprecedented dread welled up within his heart. His eyes widened in terror. The very next second, he saw me swing my sword, striking directly at the neatly arranged spirit tablets. No, Muzishu roared, frantically soaring towards them. A loud explosion rang out as the defensive array beside the spirit tablets was activated, trembling ceaselessly. My lips curled upwards, and I continuously struck out with several more sword slashes. Muzishu no longer cared about any legacy. He desperately protected the defensive array, his eyes bloodshot as he glared at me, hating me so much he wished he could drink my blood, or devour my flesh. How dare you? Hearing him, I turned to face him, and as before, I tilted my head. Then allow me to show you whether I dare or not. I gave him a chilling blink, then swung my sword once more, without the slightest mercy. In that instant, boundless killing intent engulfed the entire Hall of Inheritance. With one devastating swing, the defensive array shattered and Muzishu's very figure seemed to crumble. All that remained was his furious roar. "Madman, insane, I will kill you, kill you, kill you." His roar still echoed, yet the only reply was my scornful laugh. The sword descended, the wind stilled, and countless spirit tablets turned to dust and ashes. I slowly raised my head, gazing at the sky with a smile full of hidden meaning. I had said it long ago, Yaowang sect, demon demise sect. Such a name was never truly fortunate. Muzishu's consciousness snapped back, and he immediately spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Wang Yang's heart faltered as he hastily stepped forward to support Muzishu, only to be forcefully pushed away. Through the scrying mirror, my provocative words echoed, further enraging Muzishu. His blood chi surged, and he spat out yet another mouthful of stale blood. "You vile wretch, vile wretch." His hand slammed down on the stone table, his fingers gripping its edge as he stared at the spirit tablets, now reduced to fragments. Within his eye sockets, blood vessels began to visibly engorge. "Zishu, calm yourself." Wang Yang gripped his arm. "Calm yourself, she has utterly destroyed the spirit tablets of our Yaowang sect." "How can you expect me to calm myself?" Muzishu roared, venting his fury upon Wang Yang. "Even now, do you still wish to speak on her behalf? Whose side are you truly on?" After being fiercely reprimanded, a surge of anger also flared within Wang Yang's heart. "If you had simply expelled her then, would any of this tragedy have unfolded? It was clearly you who struck first." Muzishu, still reeling, found himself choking with rage at Wang Yang. "Look at his arrogant demeanor. If you were in my shoes, could you possibly tolerate it? Such a person deserves to have their bones ground to dust and scattered, never to reincarnate." No sooner had the words left his lips than a wave of formidable intent suddenly spread forth, pressing down upon Muzishu. All remaining curses died in his throat. Muzishu, startled, gazed towards Mo Yang Immortal Lord, a chill running down his spine. With an indifferent expression, Mo Yang Immortal Lord merely glanced at them, then abruptly raised a hand and pressed it down upon Muzishu's head. Muzishu's eyes widened in horror as he suddenly realized he was utterly unable to move. Wang Yang, standing nearby, also felt his pupils constrict. Only his eyes could move ever so slightly. Both were filled with a mix of shock and fear, able only to watch helplessly as that hand descended. Mo Yang Immortal Lord's face remained cold. Beneath his palm, a mysterious pattern emerged, extending from its center directly into Muzishu's sea of chi. There the Immortal Lord forged a bridge, once again connecting to the Inheritance Hall. Under this control, Muzishu's eyes had long grown vacant and soulless. Within the Inheritance Hall, I completely pulverized the remnants of the spirit tablets, then incinerated them with alchemical fire. From then on, no spirit tablets remained in the hall, only bare walls and Yichushuo lying unconscious on the ground. The might of the recent explosion had not spared her. Her face and body were covered in blood, and her clothes were tattered. I slowly walked to her side, a cold glint flashing in my eyes. If there was no longer any benefit to be gained, then death was the only answer. A swift and clean end would spare me from further annoyance. Yisho had repeatedly stood upon the high ground of morality, condemning my arrogance and ruthlessness, deeming me one who regarded human lives as mere weeds. She had also, on numerous occasions, attempted to drive a wedge between Gu Qingyan and me. A sneer curled upon my lips. In the world of cultivation, strength reigns supreme. Morality and worldly doctrines are but illusions before absolute power. Now it was time to resolve this matter. After I dispatch Yi Chusho, I would then deal with Gu Qingyan and her 3 disciples. With a wave of my hand, a sword rose, its radiant light splitting into 2, aiming directly for Ye Chushui's throat and heart. But in that instant, a surge of sword light flashed, directly extinguishing my attack. My expression tightened. I immediately retreated backward. Right after, I saw a blurred, shadowy figure, its aura vast as a flood, standing as tall and unyielding as a pine, radiating an overwhelming sense of oppression. My face darkened, and a wave of maddened killing intent enveloped me. Indeed, a favored child of the heavenly Tao. Even at such a critical juncture, someone had still intervened to save her. If gods block my path, I shall slay gods. If Buddhas obstruct me, I shall slay Buddhas. I would not allow the heavenly Tao its way. My sword, held firm in my hand, thrust forward. I lunged directly at that shadowy figure, boundless killing intent surging forth. Mo Yang Immortal Lord's lips curved into a barely perceptible smile. He easily suppressed me with a raised hand. Immediately after, my vision blurred, and I suddenly found myself in an unfamiliar place. Desolate and devoid of human presence, only layers of sand danced in the swirling vortex of the wind. Before me, a figure like a divine immortal descended from the heavens. A single sword strike cleaved down, shattering the azure sky itself, its dense killing intent seemingly bent on annihilating all creation. I transformed into a mere grain of sand within it, rising and falling with the impact's force. In that state of terror, I forgot where I came from and where I was going. Only the terror of that single sword strike remained in my heart. When I opened my eyes once more, the surroundings were still familiar, yet I felt as though I had endured an entire lifetime. Deep within my sea of chi, an unnamed book floated, radiating killing intent. I regained my senses, understanding that the person before me was the one who had bestowed upon me the inheritance. Though astonished, a profound suspicion lingered, and I had not yet lowered my guard. Mojang Immortal Lord subtly furrowed his brow, observing the young woman before him, his eyes filled with appreciation. The two of us exchanged gazes. The atmosphere was both strange and harmonious. Finally, I took the initiative to ask, "Are you and that Medicine King sect of the same faction? Have you come to avenge the Medicine King sect's people, or to protect Yi Chushe?" With an indifferent expression, Mojang Immortal Lord's cold voice resonated. "He and I are merely fellow disciples. Not close, not at all. So you have come for her then?" I narrowed my eyes, pointing at Yi Chushu on the ground. Within my heart, I began to calculate my chances if I were to go all out. Mojang Immortal Monarch didn't even spare Yi Chushu a glance. "No, if not for her, then why have you come?" My lips curled slightly. I do not believe it. Mojang Immortal Monarch gazed at me profoundly. "Because of you I have smiled. I am one abandoned by the heavenly Tao. Could someone truly come for me? You need not doubt. This monarch hails from the immortal realm, unbound by the heavenly Tao of this world." Mojang Immortal Monarch recounted the entire tale clearly, his gaze fixed intently upon me. "This monarch cultivates the emotionless killing Tao. Within your sea of consciousness lies a legacy crafted by this very monarch. Now, are you willing to pledge yourself to this monarch's tutelage and cultivate the emotionless killing Tao?" "Emotionless killing Tao? I refuse." The atmosphere suddenly fell silent. Mojang Immortal Monarch's expression froze. Perhaps it had been an eternity since anyone had dared to refuse him thus. "Why?" I raised an eyebrow slightly. "I am already treading the path of the killing Tao. Why should I then embark on the emotionless Tao? The emotionless Tao demands the abandonment of joy, anger, sorrow, and all desires. It dictates that all things in this world become utterly irrelevant to oneself." My countenance remained frigid. A flicker of doubt shone within Mojang Immortal Monarch's eyes. "Your inner demons, which plagued you just now, nearly caused you to suffer chi deviation. Cultivating the emotionless Tao can help you swiftly see through these inner demons." So he had seen everything. My expression darkened, my discerning gaze sweeping over him. Clearly those individuals were in the wrong. Why then should I be forced to enter the emotionless Tao? I still have those whom I cherish. Because of a few insignificant scoundrels, should I enter the motionless Tao and sever myself from all emotion? The one who will be truly harmed is myself. Just for a few vile creatures, what twisted emotionless Tao should I cultivate? So what if inner demons plague me? I do not care. The killing Tao, by its very nature, should press ever forward, never retreating. In my previous life, I merely trod the wrong path. Within my sea of consciousness, demonic chi surged tumultuously, but in the very next moment, it was forcefully suppressed by a small golden sword. I furrowed my brow slightly. One day I shall fully conquer these inner demons. Clang, clang, clang. My treasured sword vibrated with eager anticipation within its sheath. Mojang Immortal Monarch's eyes brightened. The young woman's answer showed signs of loosening his own cultivation, which had long since stagnated. He gazed at me profoundly. Then, without forcing me to accept his legacy, Mojang Immortal Monarch's form slowly dissipated. His admonishing voice, however, echoed in my ears. "Those blessed with great providence are chosen by the heavenly Tao. To forcibly eliminate them would only bring harm upon oneself. Providence is not immutable, however. You may slowly scheme to gradually weaken your opponent's destiny, and then, in a single stroke, eradicate them completely. What is too rigid easily breaks. This is not the true essence of the killing Tao legacy I bestowed upon you. Perhaps from this, you may comprehend a killing Tao of your very own." A long moment later, his voice resonated once more. "I hope we shall meet again in the immortal realm." His abrupt arrival and equally sudden departure left me furrowing my brow. What precisely is this individual's true origin? Mojang Immortal Monarch calmly released his hand and the spatial confinement was lifted. Musishu immediately gasped, then spat out a mouthful of fresh blood, splattering it all over Wang Yang. The former sank weakly to the ground, staring at Mojang Immortal Monarch with a mix of astonishment and profound fear. Wang Yang too turned deathly pale with terror. Musishu took a long moment to recover and calm his surging chi and blood. Both furious and fearful, he finally asked, "Mojang Immortal Lord, what was the meaning of that? Just because you are an immortal lord, does that mean you can arbitrarily attack us? Though I, Musishu, may be of humble talent and shallow learning, I am still a disciple of the Wuji sect. Mojang Immortal Lord, if you mean to harm a fellow disciple, you must at least provide a reason." He stared fixedly at Mojang Immortal Lord, struggling to maintain his composure. Mojang Immortal Lord's voice was firm. "She is the disciple I, Mojang, have chosen. Yet you seek to hunt her down and eradicate her. This lord naturally cannot stand by and watch her perish." Mojang Immortal Lord swept his gaze coldly across him. Musishu was utterly stunned, repeating, How could this be? Just moments ago he had used his status to threaten Song Wanning, even invoking the spirit and immortal worlds. Now, looking back, it all seemed utterly absurd and ridiculous. We did not know. Musishu's demeanor softened, though inwardly he was still furious and regretful. She destroyed the legacy of the Medicine King sect in the lower realm and burned countless ancestral tablets. Such a great enmity remains unavenged. And just like that, she has become his disciple? Everything she did was truly excessive. It would be only reasonable to teach her a lesson. Musishu argued defiantly. Mojang Immortal Lord's gaze remained cold throughout. Whether her actions were excessive is not for you to decide. Furthermore, it was you who actively sought to make trouble for her. His voice deepened as he once more unleashed his formidable Immortal Lord's aura, pressing down upon them like collapsing mountains and roaring seas. Muzishu immediately felt as if his throat had been clutched. A chilling shadow of death enveloped him, and his face instantly turned ghastly pale. Wang Yang hurriedly reached out to restrain him. That young woman has caught the eye of Mo Yang Immortal Lord. She is certainly a talented individual far from ordinary. Zixu was merely blinded by his rage, and not intentionally targeting her. We implore great Mo Yang Immortal Lord not to stoop to the level of such a trivial person, and to not take it to heart. He forced a smile. Henceforth, Zixu will certainly not dare to take any further action against that young woman. Hearing his friend speak on his behalf, Mu Zixu clenched his fists tightly, then slowly released them. Indeed, Immortal Lord, please rest assured, I, Mu Zixu, will absolutely not target her again. Let us consider this matter as if it never occurred. In the end, he still chose to prioritize peace, blaming only that wretched girl for her incredibly fortunate fate. Mo Yang Immortal Lord responded with an indifferent hum, and his figure instantly vanished, the atmosphere returning to its former silence. Excessive bullying, truly excessive bullying. Mu Zixu was enraged beyond measure, but only dared to complain in a low voice. Wang Yang helplessly glanced at him, then turned his gaze back towards the crystal mirror. Within the mirror, our protagonist stood with a cold expression, gazing at Ye Chusho, who lay unconscious on the ground. The words of Mo Yang Immortal Lord still echoed in their ears. The protagonists narrowed their eyes slightly. After a few moments of contemplation, they thought, I have chosen to trust him. If I do not kill her now, it will only harm me in the future. The gains would not outweigh the losses. I can only proceed one step at a time. After all, I possess ample patience. The protagonist took a step forward, approaching Yi Chushui, and raised their hand. A stream of light flowed from their fingertips, entering her sea of consciousness. The protagonist's voice rang out, Do you not desire an inheritance? I shall give you all of it. A slight smirk curved the protagonist's lips. They smiled gently, thinking, indeed a dark-hearted individual, exactly like that other one. Mu Zixu furiously slammed the table. Still haven't learned your lesson? Be careful that King Yama might just return later, Wang Yang said with a laugh. Mu Zixu immediately looked around guiltily, and after confirming that Mo Yang Immortal Lord had not returned, he huffed twice, but no longer dared to utter any curses. Wang Yang suddenly sighed. I, on the other hand, find this young woman quite intelligent. It is truly a pity that we will not witness what becomes of her in the future. Mu Zixu turned his head away. Who would want to see her future? If she can truly ascend, then I shall call her my father. Junior sister Yi Chuxio, wake up. Amidst everyone's concern, Yi Chuxio slowly opened her eyes. Her face was pale and her entire body was covered in blood. Shushui, how are you? Are you all right? Gu Qingyan embraced his disciple, his eyes reddened with anguish. Senior sister Yi, why are you unconscious here? What has happened? And Zi's face flushed with concern. Though Bai Yang and Lu Nanfeng remained silent, their worried gazes could not be hidden. Yi Chushu slowly awoke from her daze, the scene before her unconsciousness flashing in her mind. Panic-stricken, she sat up, quickly inspecting her spiritual sea. Within her spiritual sea, a tome of the Medicine King's secrets lay quietly. Joy surged within her. Master, I have received the inheritance of the Medicine King sect. Yi Chushu exclaimed excitedly to Gu Qingyan, gripping his hand in her fervor. Is that true? Are the alchemical recipes for the myriad poisons pill also within? Upon hearing this, Gu Qingyan's eyes lit up, and he immediately grasped her hand tightly. Yes, they are all there, all there. Yi Chushu was so overjoyed, she was on the verge of tears. With the Medicine King sect's inheritance, she was certain she could surpass Song Wanning. The master and disciple reveled in their boundless joy, while the three senior brothers beside them wore somewhat peculiar expressions. Suddenly, Ye Chushue brought up the matter of the inheritance struggle once more. When I entered the inheritance hall, I discovered someone had already arrived a step before me. That person even tried to kill me, forcing the senior predecessor to hand over the inheritance to them. Thinking of that person, she grew furious. Fortunately, the senior predecessor had dealt with them in the end. Otherwise, an unusual flush rose on Yi Chushu's pale face. Moreover, I feel that person strongly resembled martial Uncle Song. It's a kind of intuition. Junior sister Yi, our master is currently in secluded cultivation. It's impossible for him to appear here. Bai Yang replied with a solemn expression. Although master's actions can sometimes be a little impetuous, he has always been upright. You cannot speak so carelessly. He was subconsciously protecting his master. Indeed, junior sister Yi, do not speak such reckless words. Should master hear of this, he will surely seek trouble with you. Lu Nanfeng's eyes held a trace of worry yet, but it truly resembled that person. Ye Chushe bit her lip, feeling a surge of injustice. Enough. Gu Qingyan furrowed his brow, releasing the hand that had embraced Yi Chushue. Though Song Wanning can be overbearing, he is not that kind of person. You must surely be mistaken. Moreover, he began his secluded cultivation long ago. It's impossible for him to appear here. Repeatedly refuted, Yi Chushu felt a loss of face. Suppressing her anger, she stood up, her expression growing even fouler. Relying on men is truly unreliable. I will quietly return to the sect without drawing any attention. Returning to my secluded cultivation chamber, I began to comprehend the inheritance within my mind. The path of ruthlessness was not what I truly desired, yet the inheritance of a revered elder held extraordinary significance for reference. Within my spiritual sea, the nameless tome gently opened, directly drawing my divine soul into its depths. In the next instant, I arrived in a strange place. Around me lay a dark field, and in the distance a row of houses flickered with dim lights. I furrowed my brow and stepped forward. Upon reaching the village entrance, a child spotted me. "Beautiful big sister, who are you looking for?" The little girl, with a foxtail grass blade in her mouth, had hair that looked as if a dog had gnawed it. As I passed by, I subtly observed the village before me. "Big sister, do you want to play? Come inside with me. I'll go tell the village chief." The innocent young girl looked at me, then pulled my hand, leading me into the village. Filled with doubt, I followed the child into the village. Under the village chief's arrangement, I stayed at a villager's home that evening. The mistress of the house was a widow, living a life of great hardship. Though the entire family wore tattered clothes, their spirits seemed untouched. "Young lady," she said, "forgive my rudeness. Our humble abode is simple, but please make yourself comfortable for now. This is already the best room in our home." The woman nervously rubbed her hands. I surveyed the room, its walls plastered with mud and dried straw. The furnishings were exceedingly sparse. "Young lady, are you hungry? Perhaps I could prepare a bowl of noodles for you?" "Mama, I want noodles too." The 7-year-old child sniffled, a hopeful light shining in their eyes. "Be good, my little one. Once the wheat harvest is complete in a few days, Mama will make noodles for you all." The woman gently stroked the child's head, saying, "Wonderful, we'll have noodles in just a few days." The child joyfully leaped with excitement. I subtly furrowed my brow, unable to fully grasp the profound meaning of the scene before me. "There's no need," I said. "I won't impose. Please continue with your tasks. I can rest by myself." I chose to remain unchanging amidst the myriad changes around me. The woman then led her child away. I retrieved a straw mat from my spatial ring and sat down in the center of the room. Outside the window, utter silence reigned. "Junior Sister Yi, you truly didn't need to escort us all the way here." Lu Nanfeng smirked, speaking to Yi Chushuo as they walked. They had just returned from the ruins of the Medicine King sect. Yi Chushui held a box of pastries in her hand. Hearing his words, she smiled. "Ever since Junior Sister Li joined Yunqiao Peak, I, as her senior sister, haven't had the chance to visit her. It is my fault. Now that Martial Uncle Song is in secluded cultivation, I naturally feel I must care for her more." And Z found her gentle demeanor tiresome. A mere 3-spirit root trickster, he thought, what is there to even look at? And Z said contemptuously, "Our master only took her in to provoke us senior brothers. Senior sister, you needn't pay her any mind." The moment these words left his lips, Ye Chushui's expression instantly shifted. She forced a smile. "Junior brother An, I too once possessed a 5-spirit root aptitude. Senior sister Yi, how could you ever be compared to her?" And Z realized his slip of the tongue and hastily sought to retreat. "Junior brother An, beneath these heavens all people are equal. You must never look down on others merely because of their spirit root aptitude." Yi Chushu immediately corrected Nze, delivering a lengthy lecture on principles. Upon hearing this, both Nze and Lu Nanfeng displayed expressions of respect. Meanwhile, Gu Qingyan and Bai Yang, standing nearby, seemed somewhat distracted. Ye Chushui's true purpose in coming here was not for Li Ruo. It was clearly to confirm whether Song Wanning was truly in secluded cultivation. The group swiftly arrived before the main hall's entrance. Li Ruo had just returned from the back mountain, still bearing traces of blood on her person, and happened to catch sight of them. "Senior brother, you've all returned." She rushed forward, her face beaming with joy. Bai Yang nodded, his expression cold. "Where is Master?" "Master is still in secluded cultivation." Li Ruo's eyes, however, brightened even further. "Li Shimei, has Martial Uncle Song truly remained in secluded cultivation, never once emerging?" Yi Chushu could no longer wait, voicing the doubts within her heart. "Never," Li Ruo replied, shaking her head with a serious expression. "My master said this secluded cultivation would last at least half a year. Does it truly require another half year?" Bai Yang's brows furrowed, a flicker of worry crossing his face. He pressed his lips together, deep thought appearing in his eyes. Perhaps it was for the best that she was in secluded cultivation. He could use this time to devise a way to mend their relationship. If she is indeed in secluded cultivation, then let us depart. Gu Qingyan, who had remained silent until now, finally spoke. "You still carry poison within you. We cannot afford any delay." "But, Shushe," Ye Chusho pursed her lips, saying, "Let's go." Gu Qingyan spoke firmly, grasping Ye Chusho's arm with one hand. "If she said she is in secluded cultivation, then she is undoubtedly in secluded cultivation. Song Wanning does not possess such cunning. Come with me for now." His voice carried a certain heaviness. Can our master truly trust her so implicitly? Ye Chushu lifted her head, a stubborn red glint flickering in the depths of her eyes. "That is not the case. We cannot force our way in to confirm it now." Gu Qingyan's brows furrowed even tighter. "Martial Uncle Gu, if you were to seek out Master, she would surely open her doors for you at once." And Z, seeing Yi Chushui's grievance, immediately stepped forward. "Master has always been obedient to you. It would merely be disturbing her secluded cultivation. She would not be angered. If what Senior Sister Yi says is true, then Master's actions are truly detestable. Senior Sister Yi, rest assured, with Martial Uncle Gu stepping forward, there will surely be no issues." And Z confidently declared. Gu Qingyan didn't even bother to glance at him, but Ye Chushui's eyes lit up, looking towards Qingyan with anticipation. "Absolutely not." Gu Qingyan flatly refused. "Disturbing another secluded cultivation is a despicable act. It cannot be done." He coldly glared at Nze. "Let us depart." Disregarding Ye Chushui's resentful expression, Gu Qingyan forcibly led her away. Within the Grand Inheritance dungeon, a sword pierced deeply into my chest. I spat out a mouthful of blood, then coldly extracted the longsword from my body, brandishing it to rejoin the battle. Mother, save me. Father, I'm scared. Please, spare them. All manner of desperate screams echoed in my ears, and the killing intent within my heart intensified severalfold. In this village, I had lived with these villagers for over 10 years. Just last night, everyone gathered, singing in celebration of a bountiful harvest. Tonight, they were slaughtered by a band of vagrants. I tried desperately to save those who cried out, yet one by one they fell. Every scene before my eyes dragged me back to the moment the Song clan was massacred in my previous life. A bloody light slowly spread within my eyes. The killing intent in my heart was fully unleashed, even though I knew this was merely an illusion. A long sword descended from above, cleaving my body into two halves. Opening my eyes once more, everything had returned to the previous night. I felt a slight bewilderment, as if I had finally understood the purpose of the first trial within this inheritance. The resolve to save the villagers became even more steadfast. Thus I began the loop again and again. I was killed and reborn repeatedly. Half a year passed in a flash. Recently, a major event had occurred within the Wentian sect. Have you heard? Yesterday, Senior Sister Yi successfully refined a 5th-grade medicinal pill. Can that truly be so? She is a direct descendant of the Pill King sect, after all. The disciples buzzed with excited chatter. Furthermore, Senior Sister Yi, with beauty and kind heart, voluntarily offered these medicinal pills to ordinary disciples like us. Senior Sister Yi is truly magnanimous, unlike some others. To ask for a single pill, one must still kneel. Let us go take a look. A crowd of disciples quickly gathered around the outside of Ye Chushui's pill-refining chamber. In short order, Ye Chushui walked out, carrying a tray. A spring breeze caressed her, and a self-satisfied thought bloomed. I am indeed a genius. A smile bloomed on Ye Chushui's face. My apologies, this time I only managed to refine 3 medicinal pills. However, all 3 are mid-grade pills. Senior Sister Yi, you are truly too formidable. Even more formidable than Grand Ancestor Song was in his prime. Senior Sister Yi, you are destined to be the next pill-refining Grandmaster. The disciples were overjoyed. Ye Chushui felt a surge of elation from the praise. She smiled, waved her hand dismissively, and began drawing lots on the spot. Soon, 3 fortunate individuals emerged. This is excellent. I've been stuck at the 9th level of Qi refinement for several years. With this medicinal pill, I can definitely achieve a breakthrough. One of them, a female disciple, excitedly swallowed the medicinal pill at once. Look quickly. It seems she is truly about to achieve a breakthrough. Wu Dan's aura began to surge. Ye Chushui slightly raised her brow, a faint smile playing at the corner of her lips. She glanced towards Yunxiao Peak. Song Wanning, do you see this? But before the smile on her lips could fully recede, Wu Dan on the other side suddenly suffered a mishap. She vomited a mouthful of black blood and collapsed. Wu Dan, what happened to her? Ye Chushui's heart sank. She hastily told the disciples to step back. She approached to examine, only to see black patterns spreading along Wu Dan's meridians. Everyone was shocked and immediately looked towards the 2 remaining disciples who had received the pills. Senior Sister Yi, Wu Dan has been poisoned. Could it be due to the medicinal pill she just took? A disciple voiced their suspicion. Upon hearing this, Ye Chushui's expression darkened. Impossible. My medicinal pills are absolutely free of any issues. She embraced Wu Dan. I will take her to find Senior Uncle Lan. A group of people hurriedly went to find Lan Luo. The commotion quickly alerted the sect master and the elders. Reporting to the sect master, this disciple has been poisoned. Furthermore, the poison has already infiltrated her heart, lungs, and dantian. Within 3 days, if the poison cannot be neutralized, her cultivation will certainly regress. After this, she will no longer have any hope of achieving further breakthroughs. Lan Luo stood up, his brows deeply furrowed. Currently, I still haven't figured out what poison she has been afflicted with. How could it be that even Grand Ancestor Lan cannot identify the poison? Yet, just a moment ago, Wu Dan was clearly in good health. It was only after consuming Senior Uncle Yi's medicinal pill that the disciples' gazes unconsciously converged on Ye Chushui. Ye Chushui's body stiffened. She hastily explained, this disciple did consume my medicinal pill, but my medicinal pills absolutely do not contain poison. She must have been poisoned for some other reason entirely. If you do not believe me, you may inspect the 2 remaining medicinal pills. She hurriedly and secretly crushed the transmission talisman her master had given her. Bring forth the 2 remaining medicinal pills. Lan Luo swept his hand, drawing the 2 medicinal pills from the disciple's grasp towards himself. After crushing and inspecting them, he summoned a small bird and fed it the medicinal powder. All eyes were fixed on the bird. After consuming the medicinal powder, the small creature flapped its wings, soaring higher and higher, seemingly without any abnormality. Ye Chushui's lips curved into a subtle smile of relief and triumph. Had I not stated that the poison was unrelated to my pills? These are 5th-grade spirit-gathering pills. Before her words had fully left her lips, the bird in the air suddenly began to thrash wildly, its piercing shrieks threatening to tear eardrums. The very next second, the bird plummeted straight down, landing precisely before Ye Chushui's exquisite white jade spirit shoes. It convulsed a few times before falling completely still. Her face instantly turned ashen. How could this be? It truly is Senior Sister Yi's medicinal pills. Senior Sister Yi's medicinal pills are poisoned. Then what truly happened with the earlier medicinal pills? All gazes of suspicion now converged upon Ye Chushui. The sect master of Wentian sect, witnessing this, felt a surge of irritation. Ye disciple niece, how do you explain this situation? The sect master gazed at Ye Chushui. She replied, I also do not know what has happened, but my medicinal pills are certainly without flaw. Yi Chuxie remained stubbornly confident in herself, despite the undeniable truth laid bare before their eyes. How could she still claim there was no issue? The second elder coldly stated, "Must we wait for disciples to perish? Only then will you admit your medicinal pills are problematic." I did not. Yi Chuxie's face flushed with anger. I followed the pill formula precisely during refinement. There could be absolutely no error. There must be some misunderstanding here. Sect Master, this disciple's medicinal pills absolutely cannot be problematic. I implore the Sect Master to investigate thoroughly. Ye disciple niece, it is not that this Sect Master distrusts you, but your medicinal pills truly contain poison. The Sect Master furrowed his brow. Of course, this was not your intention, but disciples have now been poisoned. You should cooperate and swiftly devise an antidote. Indeed, ye disciple niece, tell me the pill formula first, so I can discern where the problem lies. Lan Luo's sole focus was on saving lives. This pill formula is a common formula for the spirit-gathering pill, and it truly contains no flaws. This is indeed strange. At that very moment, Gu Qingyan arrived with his followers. Chu Shui's medicinal pills could not possibly have a problem. Upon his appearance, Gu Qingyan immediately came to her defense. Senior brother Lan, even you stated the pill formula has no issue. Therefore, the problem surely does not lie with Chu Shui. Yi Chuxie's master's eyes gleamed brightly. Do not worry, your master is here. After Gu Qingyan's comforting words, Baiyang also stepped forward. Martial Uncle Lan, if junior sister Yi's pill formula is flawless, then perhaps the issue lies elsewhere? And Z, who stood nearby, suddenly bellowed, "It must have been Li Ruo, it had to be her." He rushed to Yi Chuxie's side. Yesterday I instructed Li Ruo to bring the Heavenly Mountain Spiritual Spring to you. You were present at that time. Yi Chuxie, stunned by this revelation, shook her head in confusion. During the pill refinement process, I did step out briefly. When I returned, I indeed saw the Heavenly Mountain Spiritual Spring, and I thought you had brought it for me. At that time, I was only gone for less than a quarter of an hour. Furthermore, there were no outsiders on the peak, so I did not activate the restrictive barrier. As these words were uttered, all present immediately grasped the implication. Are you certain, junior sister? Gu Qingyan, his expression filled with doubt, bowed his head to reconfirm. I am certain that when I returned, the Heavenly Mountain Spiritual Spring was indeed present in the room. Ye Chuxie's lips pressed tightly together. Could Song Wanning truly be so malicious? It must be Li Ruo. And Zhe, consumed by fury, leaped to his feet. He firmly believed Li Ruo had acted under their master's instruction to intentionally harm Senior Sister Yi. Or perhaps Li Ruo had meant to poison Senior Sister Yi herself, but the medicinal pill had unexpectedly been consumed by others. After all, someone like their master could never have anticipated Senior Sister Yi's immense generosity in sharing the medicinal pills with other disciples. What? It couldn't have been Ancestor Song. Would Ancestor Song truly stoop to such a deed? Why wouldn't she? For if Ye Chuxie were to become a Grandmaster Alchemist, Ancestor Song's own status would be the first to be threatened. The more the disciples pondered, the more convinced they became that Song Wanning was the true mastermind. Hearing this, Baiyang frowned and cast a displeased glance at Anzi. Our master is still in seclusion. How could this possibly involve her? Do not speak nonsense. His proactive defense of Song Wanning caused Yi Chuxie's heart to sink. He has changed, she mused. To discern right from wrong, we need only summon junior sister Li Ruo and question her, thus preventing any wrongful accusation. Yi Chuxie endeavored to appear magnanimous. Gu Qingyan, his heart softening, immediately dispatched someone to summon Li Ruo. Li Ruo was merely a junior disciple at the 7th stage of Qi refinement, and Song Wanning was currently in secluded cultivation. Are you not simply bullying her? The second elder's disdain for Gu Qingyan only grew with each glance. Furthermore, how would she even know how to administer poison? I fear someone has erred themselves, yet seeks to cast blame upon another. His sarcastic gaze swept over Yushu. Yi Chuxie abruptly clenched her fists. Gu Qingyan's expression darkened, his eyes turning cold as he looked over. The sect master, finding himself with a slight headache at the sight, quickly placated the second elder and Gu Qingyan. Soon after, Li Ruo was led into the hall. The young girl appeared bewildered, her hair disheveled, her hands still stained with dirt. The moment she stepped inside, Gu Qingyan immediately began to menace her. Li Ruo knelt, declaring, "Disciple Li Ruo pays respects to the sect master and to all the esteemed elders." Li Ruo knelt upon the ground, bewildered. She raised her head, only to see Baiyang coldly turn away, while third senior brother Anze glared at her with menacing fury. Li Ruo, when you brought the Heavenly Mountain Spirit Spring yesterday, did you perhaps add something to the alchemy furnace? Before the sect master could even speak, Enzi leaped forward, directly accusing Li Ruo. What? Li Ruo, upon hearing this, was stunned into silence. Are you still pretending? Enzi sneered. If you didn't add something to Senior Sister Yi's alchemy furnace yesterday, then how did the medicinal pills become poisoned? Confess honestly now, was this at our master's instruction? Speak quickly, or for harming fellow disciples you shall face expulsion from the sect. Poisoned medicinal pills, plotting to harm fellow disciples, these were the accusations. Li Ruo was dumbfounded. These people actually believed she had administered the poison, even implicating their master. Li Ruo's expression changed, and she immediately retorted, I did not. Yesterday, I heard your instructions to bring the Heavenly Mountain Spirit Spring. When I arrived at the alchemy room and found no one, I simply left the Spirit Spring and departed. Throughout the entire process, I never even opened the alchemy furnace. How could I possibly have administered poison? Furthermore, our master is still in secluded cultivation. How dare you frame her? She looked defiantly at Anzi. You claim you did not open the alchemy furnace? Then why do these medicinal pills contain poison? And Z sneered coldly. With your meager talent, how could you become our master's true disciple? Who knows what dark pact you forged with her? You cannot deny this truth. With that, he delivered another forceful kick towards Li Ruo, striking her heavily in the chest. Li Ruo's face immediately blanched. Third senior brother, how could you suspect me so? Disappointment colored Li Ruo's already pallid features. For half a year, if you commanded me to go east, I dared not venture west. You bade me hunt in the back mountain, cook your meals, deliver your parcels across the land, and even clean your chambers. To cultivate the herbs and tend to the spirit fields, I have done it all. Because you are my senior brother. Li Ruo desperately suppressed the tears welling in her eyes. If you despise me, so be it, but you cannot falsely accuse me, much less malign our revered master. Our master is a beacon of righteousness. She has never instructed me to harm a soul. By what right do you so wantonly slander her? At this very moment, Li Ruo's heart burned with an intense hatred for Enze. Our master raised you from childhood, yet you treat her with such disdain, all for the sake of a mere woman. Do you not fear divine retribution? Her frail frame straightened. Speak those words again. And Z's expression darkened ominously, and murderous intent instantly locked onto Li Ruo. He raised his massive hand, preparing to deliver a crushing slap to the young girl. Just as his hand was about to descend, Baiyang finally intervened, halting Enze. Senior brother, why do you obstruct me? Let us investigate the truth thoroughly before judgment is passed. Baiyang cast an emotionless glance at Li Ruo. Senior brother, do you, like third senior brother, also believe I am responsible? Li Ruo seemed to grasp a fleeting sliver of hope. This matter truly has nothing to do with me. I did not administer any poison, nor did Master ever instruct me to. I did nothing. Truly, I am innocent. Baiyang turned his gaze back to Li Ruo, yet no flicker of empathy stirred within his heart. This matter, of course, does not concern our master, but whether you bear suspicion can only be determined through proper interrogation. From the very beginning, Baiyang had always resented Li Ruo's presence, and now he desired to indulge his selfishness just this once. Senior brother, Li Ruo stumbled backward, collapsing heavily to the ground. The last glimmer of light in her eyes had been extinguished. Not a single soul believed the young girl. Baiyang, you are fellow disciples from the same lineage. The second elder could no longer bear witness. I see you are all being misled by certain individuals. Li Ruo did enter the alchemy chamber, but who can prove she introduced the poison into the alchemy furnace? Master, what the second elder says is true. Perhaps the fault lies with me alone. Senior brothers, do not trouble Li Ruo further. I shall bear the burden of this incident alone. However the sect chooses to punish me, this disciple is willing to accept it all. Yi Chuxiu, sensing the deteriorating situation, immediately employed a tactic of feigned retreat to advance her agenda. And indeed, the moment these words left her lips, everyone immediately rallied to her side. Senior Sister Yi is truly magnanimous, even willing to accept punishment on behalf of Li Ruo. Li Ruo is truly despicable. I say she should be expelled from the sect. Even an emperor who breaks the law faces the same fate as a commoner. We cannot show her special treatment simply because she is the disciple of Grandmaster Song. Precisely, she must be dealt with severely. The surrounding disciples, initially fervent, fell into an agitated silence. The sectmaster bellowed, silencing the assembly. He then fixed his gaze upon Li Ruo, his eyes devoid of warmth. Junior brother Gu, regarding this matter, allow this disciple to accept the punishment on master's behalf. Yet Shua interjected, preempting him while subtly tugging at Gu Qingyan's sleeve. Unacceptable. Gu Qingyan immediately refused. It is not your fault. Why should you bear this responsibility? He strode directly before Li Ruo, his oppressive aura bearing down. Li Ruo, gasping for breath, recounted the entire incident. Else do not blame this lord for my mercilessness. I did not. It wasn't me. Li Ruo struggled to shake her head, denying it. If you will not confess even on the brink of death, then perhaps death is too light a punishment. A chilling killing intent flickered in Gu Qingyan's eyes. As he raised his hand, intending to strike Li Ruo's crown, the very heavens twisted. Dark clouds converged, and an overwhelming killing intent descended, suffocating all present. A colossal sword, tens of thousands of feet long, cleaved down from the sky, its boundless killing aura imprisoning everyone. A thunderous explosion echoed, followed by a blinding flash of golden light. Ye Chu Shui, Baiyang, and Anze crumpled to the ground, their bodies drenched in blood. Gu Qingyan's cultivation robes were shredded, his dark hair disheveled, and the distinct mark of a sword appeared upon him. All were aghast. A frigid voice pierced the silence. While this venerable one was in seclusion, you dared to bully my disciple? Is this the conduct befitting our Wenian sect? Integrated into 64. Song Wanning, the source of the voice, descended from afar. Li Ruo, her eyes red with humiliation, cried out, "Master," and rushed towards her. Song Wanning gently stroked Li Ruo's head, murmuring, "Do not fear. With your master here, no one shall bully you," shielding the young girl behind her. Gu Qingyan sank to one knee, a mouthful blood spewing forth before him. Junior Sister Song, how could you strike so viciously? Gu Qingyan is your fellow disciple. The sect master was so enraged he felt as if he would spit blood. If I had truly struck him with full force, Gu Qingyan's brains would be splattered already. Song Wanning casually brushed the dust from her robes. Just moments ago, he sought to soul search my young disciple, yet I saw no reprimand from the sect master then. Such blatant favoritism from the sect master truly wounds one's heart. If not for your sneak attack, how could my master have possibly lost? Ye Chu struggled to sit up, fresh blood smearing her face. You truly call that a sneak attack? Song Wanning scoffed. Do you genuinely believe it was a sneak attack? It is simply because you are too weak. I openly and righteously drew my sword. He was simply too slow to react. If you doubt it, just ask him yourself. Yi Chushui looked toward Gu Qingyan, but Gu Qingyan's gaze was fixed solely on Song Wanning. You have already achieved a breakthrough to the late-stage Nascent Soul realm, he uttered, his voice filled with shock. Indeed. Thanks to your blessing, Song Wanning replied. After you annulled our engagement, I experienced profound enlightenment. And before I knew it, I had a breakthrough. Song Wanning crossed her arms across her chest, a cryptic smile playing on her lips. Gu Qingyan's pupils constricted and veins pulsed visibly on his clenched fists. Junior sister Song, you have achieved another breakthrough? The sect master and the assembled elders finally took notice, their surprise tinged with a palpable unease. Oh, just a fortunate breakthrough, nothing more, she casually remarked. Her serene gaze briefly met the sect master's as a new scheme began to form in her mind. The sect master visibly flinched. Junior sister Song, your breakthrough is naturally a joyous occasion, the sect master began, recovering his composure. However, junior brother Gu is a fellow disciple, and these junior nephews are utterly innocent.
You should not have struck them with such ferocity. Now, quickly, retrieve some medicinal pills for them.
He continued, his tone turning authoritative. This entire affair was initially Li Ruo's fault. You cannot show such blatant favoritism simply because she is your disciple. Your actions only harm her, and furthermore, they will cause others to mistakenly believe you are behind all her instigations. Even your own reputation will suffer. Indeed, junior sister Song, your actions are a blatant violation of the sect's regulations. Logically, you should be punished for them. The seventh elder immediately interjected, as Nascent Soul true monarchs, we must set an example. We absolutely cannot rely on our cultivation to bully fellow disciples. Do you not agree? Junior sister Song, we are doing this for your own good. The two elders continued to barrage her with accusations, one after another, their words infuriating Song Wanning to her core. The sect master and seventh elder are truly fascinating, Song Wanning drawled, her tone dripping with sarcasm. When Gu Qingyan attempted to soul search my disciple, was that not bullying a fellow disciple? And Li Ruo, though she may have erred first, stubbornly refused to admit her mistakes, even when threatened with death. Junior brother Gu was left with no other choice but to resort to such a method. The sect leader let out a cold snort. Junior sister Song, do not utter such nonsense. I spoke, my gaze chilling. Dare I ask, sect leader, how did you determine Li Ruo's guilt and verify the witnesses and physical evidence? Where are your proofs? There are none. You merely convict Li Ruo based on your own conjectures. The sect leader of Wenjai is utterly incapable of discerning right from wrong. I believe it is time for you to step down from this position as sect leader. Song Wanning. Murderous intent erupted in the sect leader's heart. Are you questioning this sect leader? Indeed, this sovereign is questioning you. I will not yield an inch. A person who is both deaf and blind with partiality in their heart is utterly unworthy to lead a sect. The sect leader glared in fury. I merely let out a sneer. Sect leader and seventh elder constantly accuse me of favoritism towards my disciples. Are you not doing the same? If you truly desire fairness, then allow me to soul search Yi Chushu. What say you? Absolutely not. Several voices rang out in unison. The sect leader, Gu Qingyan, Baiyang, and Anza all refused in unison. Master. Junior sister Yi did nothing wrong. You cannot soul search her. Baiyang struggled to his feet, shielding Yi Chushui. Yes, master, it's clearly Li Ruo's fault. Soul-searching Yi Chushui is wrong. Enze lay on the ground, howling. I gazed at Gu Qingyan with a mocking expression. Gu Qingyan felt a pang of guilt. I merely intended to frighten her a little. Was it truly that serious? Then I shall also merely frighten her a little. I shrugged and walked towards Yi Chushui. Stop. The others immediately moved as if facing a great enemy, blocking Yi Chushui. A sense of happiness welled up in Yi Chushui's heart. She gazed at me provocatively. I curled my lips into a sneer. In the very next second, I swept my hand, sending those blocking her flying. I appeared beside Yi Chushui. In her terrified eyes, a massive hand descended. Don't. Everyone surged forward in panic. Yi Chushui's pupils trembled with fright. In her desperation, she could only cry out to Gu Qingyan for help. Several attacks rained down simultaneously, yet I did not even spare them a glance. From my sea of consciousness, a small golden sword flew out. The golden sword vibrated faintly, transforming into hundreds of longswords, enveloping both Yi Chushu and me. All attacks were immediately repelled. The massive hand descended. Yi Chushu, in despair, closed her eyes. Gu Qingyan and the others charged forward, gritting their teeth and disregarding all else. Yet, in the very next second, my hand gently settled on top of Yi Chushui's head, softly caressing her. Yi Chushu suddenly opened her eyes wide, her entire body trembling uncontrollably. She looked up at me. I smiled gently at her. Yi Chushu was so terrified she began to retch. Gu Qingyan and the others were all sent flying by the small golden sword. He, unable to contend with even a tiny sword spirit, felt utterly absurd. Seeing that Yi Chushu was unharmed, Baiyang and Anzi collapsed, seemingly exhausted. The sect leader and the others were so frightened their faces turned pale. Yi Chushu was still retching uncontrollably. My smile grew ever more gentle. I slowly sat down and once again placed my hand on her head. Yi Chushu immediately froze, her hair standing on end. I merely said I would scare you a little. Why are you so tense? Although the aura was clearly warm, Yi Chushu felt only an icy chill permeate her entire body. I suddenly burst out laughing, slowly standing up. So it turns out even you know fear. I retrieved my golden azure sword and swiftly moved to Li Ruo's side. Gu Qingyan and his companions then rushed frantically to Yu Chusho's side. Song Wanning, have you not caused enough strife? The sect master bore witness to this dramatic disturbance. Sect master, why the urgency? I was merely jesting with Yu Chushue, nothing more. I swept my long hair aside, my cold gaze fixing upon the sect master. You? Song Wanning, you are going too far. The sect master gnashed his teeth in fury. You remain a disciple of my Wentian sect. If you harm a fellow disciple, you must accept punishment. Oh, how truly mighty the sect master is. The corner of my lips curled into a subtle smirk. They took advantage of my seclusion to bully my disciple. This master's actions were both justified and reasonable. What crime have I committed? On the contrary, you consistently show favoritism to Gu Qingyan. One unaware might even mistake you for his paramour. Alas, it is only a pity that the one Gu Qingyan truly favors is Yi Chushue. The sect master was utterly infuriated, nearly stumbling. Can such a twisted logic truly exist? Such reasoning, it exists? Hearing this, Ye Chusho's face turned deathly pale. Both shocked and enraged, she lifted her head to glare at me. Oh, that's right. This master had long anticipated that you, sect master, would favor Gu Qingyan and Yi Chushue. Therefore, I specifically invited the old ancestor out of seclusion. I sincerely hope that when you stand before the old ancestor shortly, sect master, you will remain just as unyielding. I calmly adjusted my robes. What did you say? The old ancestor is about to emerge from seclusion? Song Wanning. This is merely a trivial matter. Why would you summon the old ancestor out of seclusion for it? The sect master showed a trace of panic. From afar, old ancestor Lulani descended. Greetings, old ancestor. Everyone present bowed and offered their respects in unison. Old ancestor Lulani, a late god transformation stage cultivator of the Wentian sect, motioned, dispense with the formalities. Lulani, her expression aloof, raised her hand. Girl, tell me what exactly has transpired here. She seemed intent on providing me with her full backing. Old ancestor, this matter is as follows. The sect master took a step forward, intending to explain. But Lulani's gaze, sharp as a blade, swept over him and the sect master, vexed, swallowed his words. It was only then that I stepped forward. This disciple had just emerged from seclusion to find Gu Qingyan attempting to soul-search my little disciple here. The reason given was that my disciple had poisoned the medicinal pills of his cherished disciple. Yet they possessed neither material evidence nor witnesses. Relying solely on conjecture, they wished to soul-search and condemn my disciple. The sect master, unable to discern right from wrong, failed to uphold justice. He even cast a cold, indifferent gaze towards Gu Qingyan. Xingyan, is what Wanning speaks of true? Do you still recall that she was once your fiancé? Gu Qingyan pressed his lips together. Reporting martial aunt, Song Wanning and I have long since annulled our engagement. What? Lulani turned her head in surprise, gazing at me. I nodded to her. Martial aunt Gu Qingyan has fallen for his own disciple. Such a man I, Song Wanning, would never deign to even glance upon. Previously, this disciple misjudged his character. Upon discovering the truth, I immediately proposed severing the engagement. Now a clear boundary has long been drawn between him and me. Not the slightest bit of presumptuousness remained. Upon hearing this, Lulani was instantly enraged, her mighty pressure directly bearing down upon Gu Qingyan. With a soft thud, his knees buckled, forcing him to his bended knees. You dare to commit such an immoral act, poisoning your own disciple? Yichushu's face turned pale and she hastily knelt down as well. Ancestral Elder, it is not so. Please do not listen solely to Song Wanning's words. My master-disciple relationship is pure. There is absolutely nothing else between us. It was clearly her own conduct that led Master to annul the engagement with her. This matter is clearly Song Wanning's malicious attempt to have a disciple poison another. I implore Ancestral Elder to mete out justice fairly. Do not disappoint your disciples. Lulani's countenance darkened, and she directly swung her hand, delivering a resounding slap. Ye Chushe was sent flying by the blow, half her face rapidly swelling. She clutched her cheek in utter shock. Gu Qingyan's heart pounded with terror, yet he remained utterly paralyzed. Gu Qingyan, is this the kind of excellent disciple you cultivate? How dare she disregard hierarchy and speak directly to an elder? This venerable one shall discipline her on your behalf. Do you have any objections? This disciple has no objections. Gu Qingyan swallowed his fury. As for you, I shall settle accounts with you later regarding your improper feelings for a disciple. For now, immediately investigate the truth behind this poisoning incident for this venerable one. Lulani stepped forward and sat down beside a stone table. With this venerable one present, no one shall be wrongly accused. Yes, this disciple will immediately seek to uncover the truth. The sect master forced a smile. Sect master, this disciple merely brought items from the Spirit Spring Mountain. I never administered any poison. Li Ruo straightened her back. This disciple is willing to swear a heart demon oath. Both declared their willingness to swear such an oath. Could it be that this matter truly has nothing to do with Li Ruo? A heart demon oath is not to be taken lightly or sworn falsely. Everyone's subtle gazes now fell upon Yi Chushue. Yi Chushue's expression tensed. This disciple also dares to swear a heart demon oath. I absolutely did not administer poison, nor did I ever scheme against others. Both of them swore a heart demon oath. Could it truly be? Could neither of them be the culprit? Everyone was left dumbfounded. And Z clutched his chest in pain, wanting to rush forward and argue, but he was held back tightly by Bai Yang. Senior brother, it was clearly Li Ruo. She's just faking it. Why are you stopping me? I want to expose her true colors. Bai Yang's eyes were profound. The Ancestral Elder will handle this matter herself. He understands the Ancestral Elder too well. The Ancestral Elder is extremely enraged. The ancestral elder is clearly biased towards the sect master. How can justice truly be served? And Z glared at me angrily. Bai Yong pressed his lips together, saying nothing. Seeing the situation reach an impasse, I stepped forward and sat down beside Lu Lanyi. I rested a hand on my chin. This venerable one has another question. How can one guarantee that the poison was not created by Ye Chushui during the pill refining process itself? A subtle, profound glint flashed in the corner of my lips. Ye Chushui's heart pounded. Impossible. Every step of my pill refining strictly followed the inherited traditions of the Medicine King sect. How could it possibly produce toxins? This disciple knows that Martial Uncle Song once visited the Medicine King sect's ruins and ultimately returned in failure. It's only natural for resentment to linger. But the Medicine King sect was a peak sect of ancient times. Their pill formulas absolutely cannot have any issues. Lan Luo just stated that the pill formula indeed had no problems. The sect master was also defending her by my side. Oh, I propped my chin, a flicker of mockery in my eyes. This venerable one has long said that the sect master is blind, unfit to lead a sect. With that, I softly sighed and shook my head. Sect Master Gu Qingyan angrily gnashed his teeth. Did this sect master utter a single wrong word? Lan Luo merely stated that the pill formula had no issues, but did she truly claim there were no issues with her pill refining process? The Medicine King sect's inheritance surely bears no flaws, so why would I recline so leisurely? I observed that Yi Chusho could truly no longer tolerate the situation. She proactively proposed, if there are truly issues with this disciple's pill refining process, then this disciple is willing to face punishment at the Shifengdong. But if this disciple can prove there are no issues with the pill refining, what then does Martial Uncle intend? Her gaze fixated directly upon me. Gu Qingyan furrowed her brow. Master, please trust your disciple. This disciple will, she declared, brimming with self-confidence. Gu Qingyan chose to place her trust in her. The interaction between master and disciple did not escape my notice. I asked, my voice laced with hidden meaning, what do you desire? Martial Uncle Song must apologize to me and my master as well as to senior brother Bai and Anze. Ye Chushu immediately continued, very well. Without the slightest hesitation, I replied, this sovereign has never been an unreasonable or tyrannical person, wouldn't you agree? I lightly chuckled, covering my mouth. Ye Chusho suddenly felt a prickling sensation on her scalp. She calmed herself, produced her pill-refining tools, and began the process before all eyes. Lan Luo, you must keep your eyes wide open and observe carefully. This will also allow us to witness the might of the Medicine King sect's inheritance. I called out to Lan Luo with a smile. Lan Luo's expression stiffened. Senior Sister Yi is about to refine pills before everyone. We too can seize this opportunity to broaden our horizons, the disciples whispered amongst themselves, their voices filled with reverence. As time slowly passed, Ye Chushui's pill refining gradually settled into its rhythm. I had to admit, she truly possessed extraordinary talent in the path of pill refining. But what did that truly matter? As the pill refining reached the crucial condensation stage, Lan Luo nodded confidently, but upon closer inspection, her heart was shaken. It's wrong, it's chaotic, everything is in disarray. Lan Luo reacted swiftly, urgently interjecting to stop her. The fusion step is wrong, the process is incorrect. Anxiously, she stepped forward directly. Your sequence for fusion is completely flawed. The Tianshan Shuelian and Qi Jianhua are both warm in nature, but they cannot be fused together first. They must be individually merged with other medicinal ingredients, and only then blended together. This is crucial to reduce the pill's toxicity. Doing it your way will only exponentially increase the pill's toxicity. Impossible, the inheritance dictates this very step. Ye Chusho, without a moment's thought, immediately retorted, the inheritance of the Medicine King sect differs from ordinary pill refining methods, and that is perfectly normal. But you cannot claim my method is wrong. Lan Luo's expression instantly became exceedingly grim. I couldn't help but let out a short laugh. You see? You offer kindness, yet it is not appreciated. Lan Luo's face darkened. Your sequence was inherently flawed. What does that have to do with inheritance? Refining pills using your method? No wonder it yields poison. So it turns out Senior Sister Yi's refining process truly did have flaws. Is this true or false? Impossible. The majority of the disciples still leaned towards Yi Chushu's side. Lan Luo was so enraged her face turned ashen. Martial Sister Song, tell me, is her process truly wrong? She couldn't help but ask me. Everyone's gazes turned to me as I leisurely leaned back against the stone chair. Of course, she has issues. I said long ago that her pill refining process was flawed, leading to severe pill toxicity, and she even wrongly accused Li Ruo. Impossible. Yi Chushu immediately cut me off. You merely wish to clear Li Ruo's name. You are deliberately slandering me. My medicinal pills absolutely have no problems. Gu Qingyan too could no longer remain silent and spoke up. I trust Chushe. Let her first finish refining the elixir, and then we shall speak of other matters. Whether it is poisonous or not, we shall know once it is tested. Yi Chushe's eyes gleamed. We shall know once it is tested. This does not bode well, I stated, crossing one leg over the other. Even the Fadi are living beings. Why should these innocent creatures become mere test subjects? Martial Nisi constantly preaches that all living beings are equal, yet she herself possesses such a callous heart. Perhaps it would be more equitable, I suggested, to have Martial Nisi test the concoction upon herself. A trace of provocation curved my lips. Impossible, Gu Qingyan declared, his refusal absolute. Whatever elixir is refined, I shall consume it myself. Such was his absolute trust in Yi Chushu. Upon my own lips, the smile faltered and a single eyebrow subtly arched. Very well. There is truly no better solution. Yi Chushui wavered for a moment, yet her conviction that she could not possibly err quickly solidified. She then assured Gu Qingyan, "Master, please rest assured. Your disciple will undoubtedly succeed in refining this elixir." "Very well, your master trusts you." Gu Qingyan gazed deeply into her eyes, a silent communication passing between them. Witnessing this, Lu Lanyi's countenance darkened considerably. Ye Chusho, her resolve rekindled, resumed the arduous process of elixir refinement. Lanluo meanwhile dismissed the unfolding chaos with a wave of disinterest. Only Li Ro approached my side, gently tugging at the hem of my robe. "Master, do you possess a method to save him?" My gaze fell upon Wu Dan, unconscious and still. "He shall be well," I responded, "but letting him lie there for a time will serve as a valuable lesson." I cast a cold, dismissive glance at the fallen Wu Dan. Li Ro's anxieties immediately subsided. With soft chime, the lid of the pill furnace ascended into the air, and a potent aroma of medicinal herbs wafted forth. The elixir was complete. "So swift," exclaimed the disciples, each straining on tiptoes for a better view. Ye Chusho caught the furnace lid and peered within, exhaling softly in satisfaction. "4 fifth-grade spirit gathering elixirs of medium quality," she declared, unable to suppress a triumphant smirk. The sect master's eyes gleamed with faint approval, while the disciples collectively gasped, their breath catching in their throats. Only Lan Luo shut his eyes, unwilling to bear witness to the spectacle. "The elixir is complete, Gu Qingyan. Do you dare to consume it?" I subtly straightened my posture, my luminous eyes now glinting with a spark of anticipation. Lu Lanyi, keen-eyed, had already perceived the subtle shift in my demeanor. Gu Qingyan, though a persistent unease gnawed at him, found himself at a point of no return. He could not and would not falter. He strode to Ye Chushue's side, taking one of the elixirs from her outstretched palm. Ye Chushue inexplicably felt a sudden surge of tension herself. Baiyang and Anze, drawn by the burgeoning suspense, also pressed closer. Gu Qingyan, meeting the expectant gazes of all present, raised the elixir to his lips and swallowed it without hesitation. His spiritual aura slowly but surely stabilized. "Do you see now? Do you understand? Did I not tell you that Senior Martial Sister Yi's elixir would be flawless? Senior Martial Sister Yi is truly formidable. She has used her undeniable skill to thoroughly humble them. With Senior Martial Sister Yi's unparalleled talent in pill refinement, to declare her the foremost alchemist in the cultivation world, surely none would object. None whatsoever, no objections." The disciples erupted into a fervent clamor of excitement. Even the sect master's visage flushed with satisfaction as he cast a triumphant glance my way, as if an ancient humiliation had finally been avenged. "Master, how do you find yourself feeling?" Ye Chushue's eyes, shimmering with hopeful anticipation, fixated upon Gu Qingyan. Gu Qingyan, with a gentle shake of his head, prepared to speak. But as he did, the spiritual energy within his very core erupted into chaotic frenzy. His reply to Ye Chushue was not words, but a torrent of fresh, warm blood, which he violently expelled, splattering across her stunned face. Gu Qingyan crumpled to the ground before her, utterly defeated. "Junior Martial Brother Gu!" cried the sect master, his voice laced with terror. The surrounding elders, fear etched upon their faces, scrambled forward. "Master!" Yushu shrieked belatedly, snapping back to reality. She instantly collapsed to her knees, desperately cradling Gu Qingyan's failing form in her arms. "Master! Master, master, please awaken! Master, do not frighten your disciple so." Though tears flowed, they met no response. A murmur swept through the crowd, their expressions twisting dramatically. Then, the shocking truth dawned. The medicinal pills truly contained poison. If the elixirs were poisoned, then wasn't Wu Dan truly harmed by Yi Chush? Could the medicinal pills from before also have been problematic? Damn it all, I just consumed one. If she knows nothing of pill refinement, what grandmaster is she pretending to be? Medicinal pills she refined, yet they are poisoned. If this kills us, can she truly bear the responsibility? How terrifying. Thankfully, I did not manage to acquire one. The tide of opinion shifted with terrifying speed. "Lan Luo, quickly come and examine this." The sect master's heart burned with anxiety. Lan Luo, speechless, rose and parted the surging crowd. I told him the pills were poisoned, yet he insisted on consuming them. Now look what happened. They are poisoned. In any case, I cannot cure this poison. You all must find your own solutions. Do you truly possess no remedy? The sect master was so enraged he felt as if he might vomit blood. None. Lan Luo shook his head, then turned and walked away. The sect master was left utterly speechless. "Master, please do not frighten this disciple." This time Ye Chushue was utterly distraught. "Master, it is all my fault." She could not help but burst into tears. "I should have tested the elixir myself. After all, I am but a lowly life. I should not have implicated you. Old ancestor, I beg you, save my master." Lu Lanyi merely furrowed her brow, stating coldly, "I know nothing of the Tao of pills." "Martial Uncle Lan, please, save my master." Ye Chushe turned, desperately pleading with Lan Luo. "It is all my fault. I should have heeded your advice. Please, save my master." Lan Luo's expression turned frigid as he mercilessly refused. "This poison is intricate and malevolent. Forgive me, but I am powerless. Before a remedy can be found, perhaps you might ask Junior Martial Sister Song." In her heart, Ye Chu knew precisely who she should appeal to for aid, yet she found herself unable to. Baiyang, who stood nearby, seemed to intuit her unspoken feelings. He stepped forward before me, respectfully pleading, "Master, please lend your aid to save Senior Martial Uncle Gu." And Z also hastily approached, speaking with unconcealed dissatisfaction. "Master, if you had not suggested Senior Martial Uncle Gu consume that elixir, he would not have been poisoned. You must quickly detoxify him." The sect master, his face now grim, turned to Junior Martial Sister Song. Regardless, you and Junior Martial Brother Gu are fellow disciples. You cannot simply stand by and watch him die without rendering aid. Such a scene I had witnessed countless times before. I let out a cold chuckle, my gaze settling indifferently upon Nze. Some individuals, it seems, are nothing more than ungrateful white-eyed wolves, no matter how much nurture they receive. I curled my lip in disdain, unleashing the full oppressive force of my aura upon Nze. Nze's knees buckled, sending him crashing to the ground in a complete prostration. He immediately began to shriek, "Master, what are you doing? Release this disciple at once." I merely spoke from the heart. By what right do you suppress me? By what right? My gaze turned glacial. Lazily, I lifted my foot and pressed it down upon Nze's head. His face was pressed against the cold earth, his eyes now overflowing with humiliation and stunned disbelief. "Master, what are you doing?" Bai Yong cried out in alarm. As he moved to intervene, I calmly raised my eyes to meet his gaze. "If you still wish to be a disciple of this sovereign, then obediently stand aside. But if you desire to follow his example, then kneel beside him and endure your punishment together." "Junior Sister Song, what precisely are you doing? He is your own disciple, is he not?" "The sect master merely believes I have gone too far." "And what of it? I, this sovereign, discipline my own disciple. Does the sect master truly wish to interfere in such matters?" I let out a cold sneer, an eyebrow raised. He is about to be free. Perhaps I should simply gift him to the sect master? After all, I have observed your eagerness to speak on his behalf. Upon hearing these words, the sect master's brow furrowed in anger. What is the meaning of these audacious words? Lulani immediately turned her gaze. I merely smiled, offering no reply, my head bowed as I gazed upon Nze, utterly immobile, pinned beneath my foot. Nze, as a disciple of I, Song Wanning, not only failed to cherish his fellow sect brethren, but instead led an effort to maliciously harm a junior sister. Such an act is utterly unrighteous. For years, having accepted my grace and patronage, he repeatedly sheltered others while daring to revile his own master. Such ingratitude is truly unfilial. Such an unrighteous and unfilial wretch from this very day is hereby officially expelled from our sect by I, this sovereign. I, Song Wanning, shall no longer acknowledge this disciple from this moment forth. My stern voice, sharp as a blade, immediately plunged the surroundings into a silence so profound that one could have heard a pin drop. Nze himself was the most utterly astonished. He struggled to lift his head, his voice filled with disbelief. "Master, what did you just say? You wish to expel me from the sect?" His heart was instantly seized by panic. "Indeed," I affirmed, slowly lifting my foot from his prone form. My voice, cold and devoid of warmth, continued. "From this day forward, you, I, Song Wanning, and Yun Xiao Peak shall share no connection whatsoever. Fend for yourself as best you can." "No, this cannot be." Nze instinctively reached out, desperate to grasp my robes, but his hand merely clutched at empty air. "Master, no. I am your disciple. I have been a part of your lineage for nearly 2 decades. "I know, Master, you must surely be jesting." Even Bai Yang, his fellow disciple, began to panic. "Master, though Nze bears fault, his transgression does not warrant such a severe punishment. I beg you, retract your command. In the future, I shall personally ensure Nze is disciplined with far greater rigor." "Master, that is quite enough," I interjected, my patience finally worn thin. "I have no desire to hear your meaningless pleas." Had I, this sovereign, not intervened, Li Ruo would have long since suffered irreparable harm at the hands of her senior brother. Her once bright future would have been utterly extinguished, leaving her with no hope, no tomorrow. And you, the senior-most disciple. Yet you ceaselessly claim his transgression does not warrant such judgment. I cast a frigid glance upon him. "If you believe I, this sovereign, act unjustly, then you may depart with him. I shall not hinder your departure in the slightest." Master Baiyang choked, utterly speechless. The sect master's voice, though strained, returned. "Junior Sister Song, this matter holds grave importance. Do not make such an absurd decision in a moment of anger, for you shall surely regret it later." The sect master was clearly struggling to suppress his mounting fury. Nze is indeed at fault, but as a master one should rigorously discipline, not summarily expel him from the sect and cast him aside without a second thought. Nze, as if finding a sudden lifeline, hastily chimed in. "Yes, master, this truly is my fault. I shall amend my ways. Regret now comes far too late." My gaze darkened, a look of profound revulsion sweeping over Nze. In his previous life he had often sneered, "To have a master such as you is a true disgrace. The closer the bond, the deeper the wound. You have utterly disappointed me beyond measure. I, this sovereign, possess no such disciple as you." With a swift wave of my hand, I sent Nze flying outwards, my eyes burning with an icy ruthlessness. "Junior Uncle Song, I understand you bear resentment towards me, but you cannot treat Junior Brother An in such a manner." Yi Chusho, who had endured in silence, finally could no longer bear it, stepping forward with a heart full of indignation. She clutched Gu Qingyan tightly, her gaze upon me brimming with accusation and bitter resentment. "If you harbor resentment, then direct it all upon me. This matter has no bearing on Junior Brother An. Do not implicate the innocent." Nze's heart, originally pale with despair, suddenly found a pillar of support in this moment. I cast a glance at Nze, and seeing his pathetic demeanor, my disdain for him deepened. "It is not impossible for me to revoke this decision. You merely need to kneel and kowtow 3 times before this master. Perhaps then, in my good mood, I might reconsider. Considering your feelings for each other are so profound, surely you wouldn't bear to see him expelled from the sect, would you?" I smiled cryptically. Upon hearing this, Ye Chushue's expression shifted, her face flushing with anger. Baiyang, too, furrowed his brow tightly. Before either could react, NZ shot to his feet, roaring furiously, "You go too far. Is it not simply expulsion from the sect? Do you truly believe I cannot survive after leaving Yunxiao Peak? With my innate talent, even without you, countless others would clamor to take me as their disciple. Master, you may humiliate me as you wish, but you shall not insult senior sister Yi. She will surely make me regret this." Excellent. That is precisely the declaration I was waiting for from him. I folded my arms and scrutinized A from head to toe. Medicinal pills you've already consumed, this master will not dwell on. However, everything you wear must be removed. The spatial ring on your hand was bestowed by this master when you first entered the sect. The heavenly silkworm immortal robe on your person, a mid-grade defensive spiritual artifact, was gifted by this master 10 years ago. The pair of cloud-chasing boots on your feet, a high-grade flying magical artifact, was bestowed by this master 7 years ago. The jade coronet in your hair, a mid-grade defensive spiritual artifact, was a gift from this master just last year. From head to toe, every single item was a gift from this master. Not to mention the countless medicinal pills consumed over the years. You eat my resources, use my treasures, and yet you dare to harbor such rebellious intent. Since you possess such spirit, now return everything. I listed out all the equipment on Anzi's person. And Z had not expected me to be so calculating and was instantly both furious and flustered. Return them then. Do you truly think anyone covets these paltry items? He roared, his neck veins bulging, and furiously began to strip off his attire. In but a few swift motions, he was left only in a white undergarment. His hair disheveled, he threw all the items down before me. Unperturbed, I glanced towards a quadruped beast diligently working on the peak. With a light raise of my hand, all the discarded items on the ground drifted down before it. These items seem quite suitable for you. A gift, then. Seeing this, NZ completely collapsed. In that instant, my face darkened. I swung my hand, delivering a resounding slap. As if still unsatisfied, I followed with several more slaps in rapid succession. Elder Muwuzun, this master is a senior within the sect. Therefore, I shall teach him a lesson. And Z was thrown into a corner, and no one dared to step forward to aid him. The scene fell into an eerie silence. The sect master, who had repeatedly restrained himself, could finally bear it no longer. He stepped forward and spoke. "Junior Sister Song, what precisely do you intend to do? We may not be able to control you, but for the sake of our fellow disciple, Junior Brother Gu, who is poisoned, the antidote I truly possess." Hearing this, I smiled faintly and slowly produced a medicinal pill. This pill is named the 100 Poisons Pill. It can resolve most known poisons. I had intentionally named it the 100 Poisons Pill, precisely to infuriate Yi Chushui. As expected, upon hearing its name, Ye Chushui completely stiffened. "Quickly, give it to Junior Brother Gu." The sect master was overjoyed, but I feigned a difficult expression, furrowing my brow, a faint, almost imperceptible smile playing on the corners of my lips. There is only this single medicinal pill. I wonder if I should give it to that innocent disciple or to Gu Qingyan. Naturally, it must be given to Junior Brother Gu. The sect master replied without a moment's thought. But as soon as these words were uttered, the expressions of the surrounding disciples instantly soured. Having spoken, the sect master immediately realized his blunder. He coughed lightly, filled with remorse, and began to search for an excuse. My intention was that Junior Brother Gu's condition appears to be far more severe. Wait for Junior Sister Song to refine the next medicinal pill, then give it to that disciple. The materials required for the 100 Poisons pill were exceedingly rare and costly. Refining another one would first require gathering all the ingredients, a process that would take at least a month. I shook my head, sighing deeply. Then what if that young disciple cannot hold on until then? The sect master's heart sank as he instantly understood my unspoken intention. I had deliberately orchestrated this situation. Lan Luo, Junior Sister Song, says she cannot refine the medicinal pill for now. Do you have any other solutions? Suppressing his anger, the sect master turned his gaze to Lan Luo. However, this time, Lan Luo merely shook his head coldly. If even Junior Sister Song was powerless, then I too was utterly helpless, particularly after Lan Luo's refusal. The sect master was almost choked with rage. It was at this moment that I subtly parted my lips. Ye Chushu, since this entire affair stems from you, then let you decide who this medicinal pill belongs to. My words, without a doubt, thrust Yi Chushu directly into the eye of the storm. Everyone's gaze fell upon her, their hearts heavy with concern for Gu Qingyan's poisoning. Upon hearing this, Yi Chushui's heart sank instantly. She suddenly lifted her head to glare at me, her inner rage and hatred barely concealed. My action was clearly a deliberate trap set for her. As her face darkened in wordless fury, a subtle curve formed on my lips. What is the matter? Is Junior Niece Yi finding this situation rather difficult? If I were you, I would certainly not hesitate to choose to save that innocent disciple. After all, he is the most innocent party in this matter, yet you seem quite conflicted. It seems the lofty pronouncements you often make are nothing but empty words, utterly untrustworthy. Her master's injuries were growing more severe. Yi Chushu gnashed her teeth, her heart filled with profound indignation, yet she had no other choice. She had to ensure her master's safety. Gathering all her courage, she proclaimed loudly, "Martial Uncle Song, please give the medicinal pill to my master. As for that other disciple, this disciple will find a way to compensate him. I absolutely guarantee no harm will befall him." The other disciples immediately erupted in murmurs. Their eyes clearly revealed boundless disappointment. Facing those unfriendly stares, Ye Chushui pressed her lips tightly together, becoming even more resolute in her choice. Such profound devotion between master and disciple indeed. I suddenly clapped my hands, my face expressing profound emotion. Gu Qingyan knelt and begged for the medicine for you, and now you abandon a fellow sect member for Gu Qingyan. Truly, it is incredibly touching. I spoke with mocking sarcasm, tilting my head to look at the medicinal pill in my hand. It is just a pity that if that other disciple does not consume a medicinal pill, he will be utterly beyond saving. Gu Qingyan, however, can still hold on for a while. Therefore, he will simply have to endure this minor disadvantage. Finishing my words, I subtly flicked my wrist. The medicinal pill in my hand flew directly into the mouth of the unconscious Wu Dan, swift and precise. The medicinal pills are all gone. Ye Chushu stood stunned, her face first showing utter disbelief, then twisting into a grotesque grimace. Martial Uncle Song, what are you doing? She had chosen her master, so by what right should I give the medicinal pill to another? I calmly rose to my feet, adjusted my robes, and spoke softly. There was no other way. All are disciples of the Wen Tianzong and should be treated equally. I could not simply stand by and watch death claim one without offering aid. Oh right, in a few days there will be an auction in Tianlai City. I hear a Tianyuan Yangxin Dan will be put up for bidding then. You might try your luck there. Who knows, perhaps Gu Qingyan's poison might find its cure. I could no longer suppress the smile playing on my lips, winking at Ye Chushue. The architect of one's own demise often feels the keenest sting. Grand Ancestor Song is truly fair. Indeed, Wu Dan was on the verge of death. How could he not be given the pill? Senior Sister Yi is truly too disappointing. This poison was originally caused by her, yet she still intended to abandon another. How incredibly selfish. The greater her past renown, the more devastating her current fall from grace. Such venomous words continuously pierced her ears. Yachushua bit her lower lip, a mix of indignation and disappointment swirling within her. Seeing the medicinal pill already claimed, the sect master felt a surge of fury. However, if the auction truly held the heavenly origin soul-nurturing pill, it could still resolve their desperate plight. He turned to me again, seeking confirmation. Can Junior Brother Gu's poison truly hold out until the auction? Naturally, I replied. You gravely underestimate Gu Qingyan. I cast a meaningful glance towards Gu Qingyan. Then it is well. The sect master, hearing this, breathed a sigh of relief. Niece disciple Yi, take him back first and ensure he rests properly. In a few days at the auction, you must acquire the medicinal pill. If you lack sufficient spirit stones, the sect will provide assistance. Yes, many thanks, sect master. Yi Chusho, her heart filled with gratitude, gently lifted Gu Qingyan and began to rise. Just as she was about to depart, I spoke up, calling her back. Niece disciple Yi, have you perhaps forgotten something? The medicinal pill you refined was poisonous, causing innocent disciples and Gu Qingyan himself to be afflicted. Yet you remain unpunished. As these words left my lips, the memories of all present were instantly rekindled. Junior Sister Song, do not push your luck, the sect master interjected. Junior Brother Gu is currently poisoned and requires niece disciple Yi's immediate care. The sect master impatiently furrowed his brow. The sect master speaks truly. I nodded in agreement. Indeed, Gu Qingyan needs her now. So let us wait for him to awaken, and then she can face her punishment. In any case, she should not dream of escaping her just retribution. Surely the sect master would not wish to be accused of partiality and cover-ups, would he? That would surely disappoint everyone. I suddenly smiled mischievously, then settled onto Lu Lanyi's lap beside me. Old ancestor, I mused, I find the Shifeng cave quite suitable. Lu Lanyi, her heart softening, gently stroked my head. This matter was indeed caused by Yushu, and she truly deserves punishment. However, considering it was unintentional, we shall punish her by sending her to Shifeng cave for 1 year of self-reflection. Sect master, what are your thoughts? Her gentle gaze fell upon the sect master, who immediately trembled, then respectfully responded. All shall follow the old ancestor's arrangements. Thus, this matter is concluded. Everyone, you may disperse. Lu Lanyi nodded slightly, satisfied. Taking my hand, she stood. Come, she said. Do not let these ignorant fools spoil our mood. Lu Lanyi patted my hand reassuringly, then led Li Ru and me away. The sect master watched the old ancestor depart, then gazed at the chaos around him, utterly speechless. Gu Qingyan unconscious, and Zhe weakened Yachushu unstable, all were gifts bestowed by my hand. On Lanluo Peak, Wu Dan slowly awoke, his usual vitality returning. Indeed, it had to be Ancestral Master Song who took action, for the poison was immediately dispelled. Of course it is. Unlike some who possess unrefined alchemy skills, yet stubbornly refuse to admit their mistakes, almost causing others' deaths. Disciples in small groups began to chatter and gossip. Yi Chushui, her body weakened and humiliation suppressed, supported the stumbling Gu Qingyan as they slowly made their way back. Baiyang intended to offer aid, but he also had to attend to Anzi. Senior brother, Enza grasped Baiyang's hand, a glint of hatred flashing in his eyes. She actually expelled me from our master's lineage. Baiyang was stunned. I apologize. Earlier I could not stop, master, he said. But rest assured, from now on I will protect you and ensure you suffer no further injustice. And Z, deeply moved, nodded repeatedly. On Yunxiao Peak, Lu Lanyi sent Li Ro away, then pulled my hand, seating us both beneath an ancient tree. Did Gu Qingyan bully you? She asked softly. I told you long ago he is not worthy of you. Martial uncle, I sighed, this disciple was mistaken. I lay upon Lu Lanyi's lap, intimately snuggling close. Before I had simply misjudged people. From this moment forth, such mistakes would cease. If I were to say that this disciple and Gu Qingyan are irreconcilable enemies, would Martial Aunt blame me? My hands involuntarily clenched. Lu Lanyi's hand, which had been gently stroking my hair, suddenly paused as if she had sensed my unease. She let out a soft sigh. You must have an unavoidable reason for acting in such a way. Your martial aunt believes in you, she said, her gaze filled with tenderness. If you harbor any concerns or if there are deeds you cannot but undertake, then allow me to clear all obstacles on your behalf. A single crystal tear rolled down Martial Ant's cheek. I slowly opened my eyes. I swore I would absolutely never allow Martial Ant to face such peril again. These debts I would settle them, one by one. Is this not young Master An's from our own clan? Why has he finally deigned to return to the An family today? And Shan blocked NZ at the entrance, with several clan disciples gloating behind him. Move aside. NZ coldly roared, attempting to push them away. Yet those individuals merely blocked his path, then dragged him to a corner and savagely beat him. NZ was brutally thrashed, his face swollen beyond recognition, like a pig's head. You are all courting death. Half lying, half sitting in the corner, a murderous aura emanated from his entire being. Oh, still so arrogant? Still courting death? And Shan sneered, then stepped forward and delivered another kick. Do you still imagine yourself to be some grand figure? Without Song Zhenjun's protection, what are you but dirt? Now that you've offended Song Zhenjun, perhaps you should consider how to survive this ordeal. And Z was so enraged he nearly coughed up blood. You will all regret this. Just you wait. He staggered to his feet, his eyes glinting with malice as he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He limped into the An family residence. Along the way, he was met with pointing fingers and whispers. He sought out his former Swarf brothers, hoping to borrow spirit stones. But these good brothers of old turned their backs on him mercilessly, not only refusing his request but also mocking him relentlessly. What do any of you even know? Senior Sister Yi is 100 times better than Song Wanning. As NZ roared in furious indignation, he overheard whispers that his parents had been reassigned to a branch family in Nanhai City. What did you say? Our clan head simply no longer wishes for your parents to idly gorge themselves. For years, they have secretly reaped no small benefits. The clan head not pursuing retribution against them is already a great benevolence. If you dare stir up any trouble, your entire family will face consequences. I wouldn't even spare a glance for your plight, as you seem to have someone protecting you, don't you? Ye Shusho's protection, isn't that right? The others burst into raucous laughter. Defeated and humiliated, NZ dejectedly returned to the Wentian sect, where he was met with whispers and pointing fingers everywhere he went. Arriving outside Yi Chushuo's chamber, he found her looking weary and filled with remorse for being unable to help him. Ye Chushue offered a few words of comfort, then entrusted Gu Qingyan to his care before preparing to depart for Tianlai City. No sooner had they left the Wentian sect, Bai Yong appeared. Ye Chushue gave him a silent glance, implicitly agreeing to let him accompany her. The two traveled the entire journey in silence. Within Tianlai City's renowned divine travel auction house, I sat in the highest position, a vial of potent medicinal pills placed before me. Master, are you certain you wish to put this medicinal pill up for auction? The auction manager looked at the medicinal pill with a hint of regret. Sell it? Why would I not sell it? I gently stroked a lock of hair, handing the vial to the shopkeeper. For this auction, I will have Ayue handle it. Ayue, I'm afraid he is not qualified enough. Hearing this, the shopkeeper grew even more suspicious. Just do as I say. I waved my hand, impatiently dismissing him. The shopkeeper, left with no choice, took the vial and departed. I walked to the window, leaning against the railing as the figures of Ye Chushue and Bai Yong entered my sight. During my previous seclusion, after comprehending the mortal slaying sword, the small golden sword had awakened its spiritual intelligence. Its power surged, even aiding me in a breakthrough during my awakening, allowing me to smoothly advance into the Moyang Immortal Monarch's legacy. A mere glimpse was enough. Sister, sister! Within my sea of consciousness, the small golden sword joyfully echoed. Is that Ayue, the young master of the demonic clan you spoke of, sister? Mo Yuan, the small golden sword, excitedly flitted about in my sea of consciousness. I withdrew my gaze, calmly walked to the table, and poured myself a cup of hot tea. Indeed. Who would have thought that the young master of the demonic clan, once driven to desperation by your father, would conceal himself within my humble auction house? I curved my lips in a smile that was not quite a smile. This time, let your emotions deepen a little more. The auction commenced precisely as planned. The auction hall was packed with cultivators. Ye Chushou and Bai Yong held true disciple tokens of the Wentian sect. They easily entered a private room on the third floor of the auction house. No sooner had the two of them sat down than a clamor erupted from below. It's the people of the Yun family from Xiangyun City. Isn't that the young master of Xiangyun City leading them? Yun Jinyue is stunningly beautiful. Everyone in the grand hall craned their necks, eager to see. Curiosity piqued, Bai Yong and Yichushu also looked down. A figure in a celestial blue gown entered their view. The woman, of unparalleled beauty, was none other than the young master of Xiangyun City. It was rumored that a few days prior, the city lord of Xiangyun City had encountered trouble in Myriad Evil's Valley, suffering damage to his dantian and falling into a severe comatose state. Now that Yunjin Yue was here, could it be for the heavenly origin nurturing pill? The cultivators in the grand hall whispered amongst themselves. This group hadn't even bothered to conceal their identities, seemingly determined to acquire the heavenly origin nurturing pill at all costs. Baiyang's heart sank slightly. He cast a worried glance at Yi Chushue. Ye Chushou's complexion was somewhat pale. Her master had been completely implicated by her, thus falling victim to the poison. No matter the cost, she had to acquire this medicinal pill. As various powers arrived one after another, I sat in my private room on the topmost floor, observing Ah Yue, who stood before me with his head bowed. No, it should be Mo Yuan. Mo Yuan possessed a disfigured appearance, with half of his face covered in dark, swirling patterns. For this auction, perform exceptionally well. If you perform well, this monarch can grant you promotion and a raise. If not, this humble one will certainly perform well, not daring to disappoint master. Mo Yuan bowed even lower. Begone, I dismissed him. Leaning back in my chair, I closed my eyes to rest my spirit. As the atmosphere in the hall grew heated, under the gaze of 10,000 eyes, Mo Yuan stepped onto the high platform. Welcome, fellow cultivators who have journeyed far to attend the Divine Path auction house. I hope all of you today can acquire precious treasures and return joyfully. He delivered a few simple opening remarks, then commenced the introduction of the auction items. Soon enough, the Heavenly Origin Nurturing Pill was finally brought forth. Mo Yuan's gaze instantly shifted. His hand clutching the gavel gradually tightened. The Heavenly Origin Nurturing Pill could of course also resolve the poison afflicting him. However, he did not possess such immense wealth. Mo Yuan struggled to suppress the envy in his heart. No sooner had the medicinal pill's name been announced than someone immediately placed a bid. 100,000 mid-grade spirit stones. The one who placed the bid with an aura of absolute determination was the young city lord of Shangyun City. 110,000. Yi Chushui, without the slightest hesitation, signaled her bid from within her room, raising the price to 120,000 without a second thought. Yun Jinyu never expected anyone to dare contend with her. Her gaze darkened, a glint of killing intent flashed in her eyes. Go and investigate for me, find out who is in that room. 130,000. Yi Chushu refused to yield, raising the bid again to 200,000. Yun Jinyu raised the price once more, her voice growing increasingly cold. 300,000. Hearing the underlying meaning, Ye Chushui also grew enraged, and in a single breath she raised her bid to 300,000. Who would have thought that in the very next second, Yun Jinyu bid 400,000, enraging Ye Chushui to the point where she pressed her lips together tightly. Unable to suppress her complaints, she muttered, "If Martial Uncle Song hadn't used up that Heavenly Origin heart-nourishing pill, we wouldn't be suffering this humiliation here." Hearing this, Baiyang's expression subtly darkened. Recalling his own theft of the medicinal pill, he quietly clenched his fists and said nothing more. Yi Chushu, after her frantic bidding, endured and endured, yet still couldn't help but voice the suspicion in her heart. "Senior brother Bai, why have you changed? Clearly before, you also disliked Martial Uncle Song's actions. Yet now, why do you always stand by him?" But before Baiyang could answer, Yun Jinyu had already placed another bid. Yi Chushu frantically followed suit, and very quickly the price had soared to 500,000 mid-grade spirit stones, causing the entire hall to erupt in an uproar. In her private room, the attendant bowed and approached Yun Jinyue's side. Reporting, young master, in that room are two true disciples of the Wentian sect. Yun Jinyue raised an eyebrow, and the attendant immediately explained. This lowly one originally couldn't ascertain their identities. It was only when I returned and saw two auction house staff members secretly discussing them that I learned their true status. So, that's how it is. Yun Jinyue sneered and slowly ceased to bid. If they want it so badly, then let them have it. The young lord of our city is still awaiting that life-saving medicinal pill. The attendant was astonished. Yun Jinyue merely let out a cold laugh, ordering to guard all the exits, especially the path leading back to the Wentian sect. Understood. The attendant immediately understood and quickly retreated. 500,000 spirit stones going once. 500,000 spirit stones going twice. 500,000 spirit stones going thrice. Sold, Mo Yuan declared, sealing the deal. His hand trembled slightly. Gazing at the medicinal pill about to be taken away, his heart constricted, and he immediately called out to the attendant. "This medicinal pill is precious. I will personally deliver it." He took the jade tray and personally carried it to the private room on the second floor. In the private room, Ye Chushe was both excited and anxious, awaiting the medicinal pill. Mo Yuan knocked, then entered, carrying the jade tray. He quickly glanced up at the two individuals before hastily lowering his gaze. He had already memorized their faces. He respectfully offered the jade tray. Ye Chushe, without a hint of suspicion, happily accepted the medicinal pill and examined it briefly, then placed a spatial ring upon it. The two quickly completed the transaction. Mo Yuan then retreated, carrying the jade tray. Baiyang couldn't help but give him another look. He had always felt there was something peculiar about this person. The auction quickly continued. Mo Yuan's heart was still pounding rapidly. He tried to calm himself down before beginning to introduce the next item. The next item was a pearl from the western Shin Sea. It contained Tao rhythms, mysterious and unfathomable, awaiting its destined owner. The red cloth was lifted, revealing a pearl mottled with black and white. This item was consigned by a fellow Taoist, and the starting bid is 100,000 mid-grade spirit stones. Very quickly, someone from a private room placed a bid. Yichushu stared intently at the pearl, her heart pounding wildly. A potent pull emanated from the orb as though it were beckoning to her. This treasure was destined to be hers, for she was its fated owner. Yichusha's eyes gleamed with fervent excitement, yet that joy was swiftly extinguished. The price of the orb escalated dramatically, swiftly surpassing 300,000 mid-grade spirit stones. For her current standing, such a sum was astronomical. "No, this orb must belong to me. Senior brother Bai, do you possess any spirit stones? Might you lend them to your junior sister? Upon our return, I vow to repay you in full." Yichushu gazed at Baiyang with fervent desperation. Upon hearing her plea, Baiyang's brow furrowed, and he cast a swift glance at his spatial ring. "I only possess a paltry sum, only a paltry sum." Yichushu froze, an expression of utter disbelief distorting her features. Does not martial Uncle Song frequently bestow spirit stones upon you? Ye Chusho's tone bordered on an accusation towards Bai Yang. The blatant suspicion in her eyes caused Bai Yang to stand dumbfounded. My master has not granted me spirit stones for over half a year now. This meager sum is all I have painstakingly accumulated myself. How could I part with it? Yi Shusho's heart trembled. I've always felt that martial Uncle Song has been acting strangely lately, his demeanor changing too drastically. Could it be because I secretly stole those medicinal pills last time, making master disappointed, coupled with the scandal I caused? Bai Yang attempted to explain, is that truly so? Yi Chushu ceased her questioning, her attention now fully captivated by the orb, whose price had soared to an exorbitant 410,000. Her eyes were bloodshot, clutching her palms into tight fists. It is all Song Wanning's doing. Were it not for her, I would not have been forced to exhaust all my spirit stones to procure the heavenly origin nurturing heart pill. I pressed the concealed button within the private chamber. 500,000. The bid soared directly to 500,000 spirit stones. A profound silence gradually descended upon the private chambers. The treasurer, standing beside me, spoke. This humble one had specifically sought out the owner of this orb, intending to purchase it directly. However, they steadfastly refused, insisting it be put up for auction. I listened, a faint smile playing on my lips. Auctions, I mused, often yield a far greater bounty. The original owner naturally desired more. The true reason, however, was a secret known only to me. This very orb was originally prepared for Yu Shushue. Alas, this time she would not be able to claim it. 500,000 for the third and final time. Sold. Sound of a gavel striking. Moyan cast a fleeting glance towards the private chamber on the highest floor, her gaze unfathomably deep. With the auction's conclusion, the teleportation array was activated. I carefully stored the orb, then instructed the treasurer to activate the teleportation array for our departure. Indeed, the true spectacle had only just begun. Yichushu and Baiyang departed in a desperate rush. Yichushu exclaimed, "Let us return to the Wenqian sect first. With this medicinal pill, Master will undoubtedly awaken at once." Yichushu clutched her spatial ring tightly, her features etched with profound self-reproach. Had it not been for saving me previously, Master would not have suffered defeat at the hands of martial Uncle Song. Baiyang mumbled, yet I cannot shake the feeling that something is amiss. His voice was laced with an undeniable trace of suspicion. Could it be that the people of Yunshang City are planning to ambush us? We must return quickly. Ye Chusho, her heart sinking, took the narrow path. The moment they reached the bend, several figures, long waiting, appeared before them. A communication talisman instantly shot out. This is bad. A powerful gust of wind assaulted them. Baiyang turned to defend but was repeatedly forced back. Their opponents were core formation cultivators. With just a simple move, the two young disciples were immediately at a disadvantage, their escape route blocked, surrounded by their attackers. Who are you people? Are you from Yunxiang City? Chushua's mind raced. Bai Yang transmitted a message to her junior sister Yi. I recall you possess an yin-yang talisman. Can you send a message back to the sect? That's right, I almost forgot. Yet Chushu hastily searched her spatial ring, imbuing the talisman with her spiritual energy, describing the dire situation and urging NZ to find help. The yin-yang talisman burned away within her spatial ring. She inwardly prayed for the sect's reinforcements to arrive swiftly. Meanwhile, back at Wentian sect, NZ had just been called away momentarily. Atop Mo Yan's person, the yin-yang talisman flared brightly, then burned to ashes, scattering into the air. Ye Chushu's voice echoed through it, but no one was there to hear. And Z returned, muttering curses under his breath, a bunch of wretched connivers. Just you wait. He noticed the pile of ashes on the ground and frowned. What is this? After staring at it for a long moment, unable to discern its meaning, he simply dismissed it. The steward reported to me, his face as dark as the bottom of a pot. Master, he began, as you predicted, Aya has indeed secretly followed them. This servant's negligence allowed it, the steward confessed. But if he truly wishes to go, then we shall not hinder him. I smiled faintly. Who knows, perhaps he will bring us an unexpected surprise. Ye Chushui and Bai Yang are the protagonists, always turning misfortune into fortune, so I allowed Mo Yan to play the part of that small sparrow. No matter the outcome, he would surely cause them more trouble, slowly, painstakingly eroding their karmic luck. Yes, master. Everything shall be arranged as you command, the steward replied, cheerfully bowing in full submission. Along the narrow path, Yun Jinyu appeared, leading a contingent of her own. It is you, after all. Yi Chushue's heart sank. Her ominous premonition had become a grim reality. She clutched the ring on her finger. It seems we are all intelligent individuals here. Then hand over the medicinal pill. Yun Jinyu casually tossed out a spatial pouch. Inside are 300,000 mid-grade spirit stones. To purchase your Tianyuan nourishing heart pill, she declared. Do not even think of refusing. Ye Chushue's expression turned grim. Yun Jinyu scoffed, then chuckled in irritation. If you were not core disciples of the Wentian sect, these 300,000 spirit stones would not even be offered to you. I do not need your spirit stones, and this medicinal pill I cannot sell to you. Ye Chushu felt an intense hatred welling up. First Song Wanning and now Yun Jinyu, it is always the same. At this very moment, I was comfortably perched atop a tree, watching the drama unfold below. Baiyang grasped Ye Chushu's hand. This is our Wentian sect's territory, he asserted. Even if you were to seize the medicinal pill, you would not be able to leave with it. He narrowed his eyes slightly. Yunxiang City, though not directly under the jurisdiction of Wentian sect, is not far from us. If we were truly to come to blows, Yunjiang City might not find itself at an advantage. Yun Jinyu frowned, inwardly annoyed. Surely both of you are aware that my esteemed father suffered severe injuries. He now awaits the Tianyuan nourishing heart pill to save his very life. He rubbed the jade ring on his hand. If both of you would agree to directly sell the medicinal pill to us, then our Yunjiang City will forever be indebted to both young masters Yun. It is not that we are unwilling to relinquish them, but rather, true monarch Gu Qingyan, true monarch Gu is awaiting these medicinal pills to detoxify himself. Please forgive us, but we cannot willingly surrender the elixirs. As Baiyang revealed true monarch Gu Qingyan's identity, Ye Chushe also straightened her back, standing tall. Indeed, my master is true monarch Gu Qingyan, and the person beside me is Baiyang, the head disciple of true monarch Song Wanning. Baiyang. If you release us, we will return and ask Junior Marshal Uncle Song to refine a different elixir for you. The expected wariness, however, did not appear. Instead, Yun Jinyu merely burst into laughter. So you are that third party, are you? I heard true monarch Gu broke off his engagement with true monarch Song because of his affection for his disciple. I once thought that third party would be some formidable figure. But today, upon meeting you, it seems you are nothing more than this. Her scrutinizing gaze swept over Baiyang once more. To be able to seduce even the disciple of true monarch Song, it seems you possess some skill in charming men. Silence, do not speak such nonsense. Yi Chushu immediately felt a pang of guilt, her face flushing crimson as she glared in anger, her heart filled with immense panic. Give this slut a good lesson. I guarantee that even if true monarch Song were to find out, she would only praise us for a job well done. Yun Jinyu's expression darkened considerably. She waved her hand at her subordinates, adding, especially those who bite the hand that feeds them. This young master detests such people the most. The siege began. As time passed, the two cultivators were covered in wounds, yet no one from their sect arrived. This is not good, Baiyang transmitted to Ye Chushui. The sect must not have received our message. Baiyang transmitted a message to Yi Chushui. While Yi Chushui was momentarily distracted, a spear pierced her shoulder, tearing away a large chunk of flesh. What should we do then? I have a way, Baiyang replied. Later you must go first. Do not concern yourself with me. Baiyang took out a 1,000-mile teleportation talisman. This talisman's flawed, she admitted. I cannot be certain exactly how far it can teleport you. Ye Chushu immediately protested. No, you must go yourself. Baiyang insisted. I will hold them back. You go first and then immediately contact the sect's members to rescue me. I am true monarch Song Wanning's disciple. They would not dare kill me. If we delay any longer, neither of us will be able to escape. Yi Chushu wavered. She took the talisman and declared, Do not worry, I will immediately call for reinforcements to save you. Be careful. A flash of light and Ye Chushui vanished. At that very moment, an attack landed squarely on Baiyang. Baiyang coughed up blood and flew backward. Yun Jinyue's expression changed. Trying to escape, are we? Men. Pursue her. The Golden Core cultivators immediately gave chase. Haha, what profound camaraderie. Yun Jinyu laughed in exasperation. Are you not afraid that she, having left, will abandon you? Junior Marshal Sister Yi would never. Baiyang wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. Now that Junior Marshal Sister Yi has departed, soon members of the Wentian sect will arrive to rescue me. I advise you to release me at once. Yun Jinyue's face grew sinister, her eyes gleaming with killing intent. A few minutes later, the Golden Core cultivator returned empty-handed. Yun Jinyue's last sliver of hope shattered. Kill her. Beat her to death for me. The attacks rained down in unison, and fresh blood continuously spilled. Baiyang collapsed to her knees, unable to rise, her body covered in countless wounds. I sat atop a tree branch, savoring a spirit fruit, my heart filled with an inexplicable ease. The harder he was beaten, the more contented I felt. Within my inner sea, the small golden sword excitedly trembled. Sister, do you think Baiyang will be beaten to death? I subtly curled my lips. Of course not. If truly cornered, Baiyang would unleash his full power. Moreover, the heavenly Tao itself would not permit his demise. Yet, seeing him beaten to the brink of death, I slowly rose. Sister, what are you planning to do? Why, I'm going to save my good disciple, of course. I smiled gently, but the mirth never reached my eyes. What? You still wish to save him? Why? If he was destined not to perish, then why not exploit the situation to my advantage? I cast a glance at the figure sprawled upon the ground. To torment a person's body was one thing, but to torment their heart, that was the most profound form of torture. Below, Yunjin drew his long sword and lunged towards Baiyang. Baiyang closed his eyes, ready to activate his last protective talisman, when suddenly I appeared, shielding him. All his worries and fears vanished in that instant. Tears welled in Baiyang's reddened eyes, a hot stream flowing down his face. Master! Sprawled on the ground, his eyes held a reverence of which he was entirely unaware. With a sense of peace, he fainted. I coldly cast one last glance at him, then turned towards Yun Jinyue's group, unleashing my full oppressive aura. The cultivators from Yun Xiangxiang's faction were pressed so low they could not straighten their backs. They trembled uncontrollably. True Monarch Song, please allow me to explain. Yun Jinyue's voice was laced with terror. I merely wished to purchase a heavenly origin nurturing heart pill from them. My esteemed father lies grievously wounded and unconscious. I was left with no choice but to resort to such measures. Well done. I subtly moved my lips, then waved a hand, cutting him short. Yun Jinyue was stunned. I produced a jade vial and tossed it to him. Within you will find a heavenly origin nurturing heart pill. Convey my regards to City Lord Yun on my behalf. In my previous life, I considered myself aloof and righteous. and thus offended many. Looking back, it was truly foolish. I should have forged more alliances instead. What? Yun Jinyue, bewildered, took the vial and opened it. Indeed, it contained a high-grade heavenly origin nurturing heart pill. He finally reacted, profusely expressing his gratitude as he respectfully presented a spatial ring. Many thanks to True Monarch Song for letting bygones be bygones. This great benevolence our Yun Xiangcheng will forever remember. Yun Jinyue was so moved that his eyes reddened. He had thought himself trapped in a dead end, only to unexpectedly find a glimmer of hope. The spatial ring flew into my hand, containing a considerable number of spirit stones. I was quite satisfied. Taking the unconscious Bai Yang, I departed on my magical artifact. Meanwhile, Yi Chushu plummeted from a mountain crevice, landing with such force that her vision spun. Where am I? That 1,000-mile teleportation talisman was defective. She hurriedly produced a sound transmission talisman, addressing Yun Xiangcheng. I remember your faces. Once my master awakens, I shall surely make you pay. The sound transmission talisman had barely flown a few meters when it was shot down. Who, from within the bushes, Moyan stepped forth. Is that you? Why are you here? Ye Chushu clutched her spatial ring tightly. Hand over the elixirs, and I will spare your life. Moyan's expression was sinister, his demonic aura swirling around him. You are a demonic cultivator? How dare the divine roaming auction house harbor a demonic cultivator? You talk too much. A bloodthirsty glint flashed in Moyan's eyes. If you insist on courting death rather than accepting my generosity, then I shall no longer hold back. In just a few moves, Yi Chushu was cornered, with no path of retreat. She could only detonate her artifact, the resulting explosion sending both of them flying. Ye Chushu coughed up blood and collapsed, while Mo Yan also fell gravely wounded. He struggled to his feet, drew his Li Chongshang spear, and slowly advanced. With a fierce glint in her eyes, Ye Chushu pulled out a pile of talismans and her remaining artifacts. Die. The successive explosions leveled the entire valley, leaving both heavily injured and unconscious. I sat upon my artifact, casually scratching my ear. Such a fragrant scent, time to descend. I approached Yi Chushu, gazing at her slender neck, a strong urge to constrict it. Suppressing my hatred, I knelt down and forcibly removed her spatial ring. Her two wrists were snapped. I stood up and delivered a few more powerful kicks. In any case, she would blame it all on Mo Yan, and a measure of the resentment in my heart was finally released. I then turned to Mo Yan. I conjured a dark pouch, enveloped him within it, and brought him back to my artifact. In this life, can you still serve as her loyal dog? I then piloted my flying artifact away. Aboard the flying artifact, Bai Yang slowly opened his eyes, staring dazedly at my retreating back. Little did he know that I, who had once shielded an entire sky for him, was gradually scorned by him. It was only recently that he realized his grave error. Recalling the image of me shielding him, his expression softened. Master, Bai Yang called out. I turned, not missing the affection in his eyes. I merely uttered a cold hum and turned away. To truly torment, one must not only afflict the body, but also the spirit. Seeing my cold expression, Long Bai Yang felt a pang of unease, yet he knew he still held a place in my heart. That was enough. He closed his eyes, thinking of Yi Chushu. He wondered how she fared now, if she would send someone to rescue him. Though worried, he dared not ask in my presence. The artifact arrived at the gates of the Heaven Inquiry sect. Descend, I commanded coldly. Bai Yang fell from the artifact, crying out in pain as a bottle of medicinal pills dropped into his lap. He looked up, only to see the fading silhouette of the figure on the artifact swiftly departing. He clutched the bottle tightly, his bloodied face unable to suppress a smile. His master still cared for him. I carried the pouch to a cave, released Mo Yan, and removed the mask from his face. What a pity, his face was already ruined by toxins. I took out a medicinal pill and forced it into his mouth. This was no antidote, but a fatal poison infused with my own essence blood. His cultivation would now be entirely under my control. In my past life, my master forbade me from refining poisons. Though I heeded him, my end was utterly tragic. Upon my reincarnation, I immediately delved into the path of poison arts. Compared to saving lives, I prefer taking them, especially witnessing my enemies beg for mercy in despair, only to perish. Suppressing a surge of malevolence, I drew forth a dagger. Its cold blade traced a path down his face, continuing between his legs. I chuckled with morbid interest. With a subtle gesture of my hand, the unconscious Moyan suddenly convulsed, writhing in unimaginable pain. I telekinetically flung the severed object out of the cave. The monstrous beast waiting outside swallowed it in a single gulp. In disgust, I shattered the dagger. Having lost too much blood, Moyan succumbed to unconsciousness once more. I gazed upon my handiwork. In your previous life, you allowed the entire demon race to become Yi Chushue's support. Now, I have personally severed that possibility. I hope you will not disappoint me. Stepping out of the cave, I raised my head to the sunlight. How beautiful. Back at the Wentian sect, a voice rang out. What did you say? Disciple Yi has gone missing with the medicinal pills. Upon hearing Bai Yang's words, the sect master's face turned ashen. Yes, the situation was urgent at the time, so this disciple told her to go on ahead. Who would have thought she'd now be unreachable? Did junior sister Yi send out a distress signal to the sect along the way? The sect master shook his head. Never. The sect had yet to receive any distress signal. Both their hearts sank heavily. I will immediately dispatch search parties. You return and tend to your injuries first. Injured, Bai Yang returned to his dwelling. Enzi was startled by the severity of his wounds. When questioned about the matter of the spirit tree leaves, Enzi suddenly recalled the pile of ash. Both individuals were aware of the full sequence of events, yet their silence might have caused them to miss crucial details. I must also go find senior sister Yi. Nothing must happen to her. Unable to wait, and Z rushed out. Baiyang glanced at the unconscious Gu Qingyan, his brow furrowed. He wondered when his troubles had begun to stack one after another, as if his fortune had utterly vanished. Gu Qingyan was poisoned to her core organs, Ye Chushui's old wounds had not healed, and Baiyang himself was severely injured. Only now did he truly realize my importance. Previously, whenever they were injured, I was there to protect them. I had provided top-tier medicinal pills, but now that I had withdrawn my care, they continuously fell into predicaments. Baiyang clutched the medicinal pill bottle I had given him. His resolve to reconcile with me grew even firmer. Several days later, I returned to the Song clan. My father, Song Qingyun, was overjoyed. He hastily led me into his study. Wanning, as you predicted, there truly is a spirit vein there. Furthermore, it's a high-grade spirit vein. Look, these are the spirit stones mined from that spirit vein. A supreme-grade spirit stone, radiating a brilliant golden light, appeared before my eyes. So it was a metal attribute spirit vein. I calmly accepted the spirit stone, my gaze holding a hint of coldness. In my previous life, this spirit vein was seized by Ye Chushui and taken into her possession. Now it belongs to the Song clan. I cautioned my father the matter of this spirit vein must be handled with extreme care. We cannot allow other forces to discover it. Song Qingyun chuckled upon hearing this. Rest assured, those mining the spirit stones are all trustworthy individuals. Very good then, we must now accelerate the mining process. I narrowed my eyes. After the mining is done, father, you must also be prepared to spend spirit stones. Urge the clan's descendants to cultivate diligently. The Song clan has grown powerful, and many already eye us with envy. A great clan war is inevitable. I understand. Song Qingyun's expression turned cold. Recently, I have re-established contact with a few old friends. I hope they can be of use when the time comes. Relying solely on our Song clan to fight alone will not be enough. I nodded. My father had his own arrangements. My task was to elevate my cultivation and protect the Song clan. Returning to my courtyard, I activated the restrictive array. The pearl I had acquired at the auction lay silently awaiting. In its previous life, it had belonged to Yi Chushu. I carefully took out the bead, pricked my finger, and dripped blood onto it. The blood slid down the bead's smooth surface, splattering onto the ground, drop by drop. An uncontrollable killing intent surged within me, only to be forcibly suppressed. You refuse to acknowledge me as your master? I let out a chilling laugh and once again squeezed blood onto it. Yet the bead still refused, miraculously shaking off the traces of blood. Ha, a humorless laugh escaped me. As expected, no one but the destined female lead could truly utilize it. If I kept it, sooner or later it would surely return to Ye Chushu. I could not tolerate this, especially after it had cost me so many spirit stones. If you insist on being disobedient, then allow me to properly discipline you. What truly constitutes obedience? I bound the bead and subjected it to my alchemic flame. The domineering flames raged fiercely, yet the bead, roasted within, remained as unyielding as ever. I cared not whether it would be effective. I simply focused the alchemic flame directly upon it, burning relentlessly. I possessed infinite patience. If it truly remained stubborn and refused to yield, I would not hesitate to destroy it. If I cannot possess it, then let it be annihilated. I settled in, enjoying the spectacle. At the same moment, Ye Chushui was discovered by searching disciples. Carried back to the sect, and Zhou Baiyang found Ye Chushui hovering between life and death. Terrified, they immediately summoned the sect master. The sect master then called for Lan Ye. Upon seeing the two unconscious master and disciple, Lan Yu clicked his tongue in displeasure. He casually examined their injuries, then perfunctorily produced a single medicinal pill. Alright, he'll wake up soon enough. This is all I can do. For anything else, they'll have to figure it out themselves. After all, junior sister Yi is proficient in the Tao of alchemy, something none of us can compare to. Junior brother Lan, why the veiled words? The sect master impatiently interjected. Hearing this, Lan Yue merely cast a glance at him, waved his hand dismissively, and departed. So sister Yi, senior sister Yi, are you feeling better? As Nzi watched by her bedside, Ye Chushui slowly regained consciousness, only to immediately spit out several mouthfuls of fresh blood. Medicinal pills. Still spitting blood, she frantically searched for her spatial ring, only to discover with horror that it was gone. My ring? It's disappeared. What? The spatial ring, it's gone? Everyone present was aghast. Impossible. My ring, my medicinal pills, they were all inside. Yi Chushu desperately tried to get out of bed. It was the people from Yaoxing Shenqing sect. It was them. That person was a demonic cultivator. The Yaoxing Shenqing sect is harboring a demonic cultivator. Sect master, you must help us. Demonic cultivator? Baiyang exclaimed in shock. What demonic cultivator? The Yaoxing Shenqing sect has a demonic cultivator? Indeed, it was the very master of ceremonies. He is a demonic cultivator. Yi Chushu nodded forcefully. No sooner had I departed than he appeared, attempting to snatch my medicinal pills. It must be him. He is surely the one who stole my spatial ring. Come, we shall go to the Divine Medicine Pavilion. How dare they shelter a demonic cultivator? I shall see how they attempt to explain themselves. The sect master's heart seethed with fury. He immediately summoned two elders and, taking Yi Chushu and her companions, set off for the Divine Medicine Pavilion. Within the clandestine black market district, clad in a full black robe, concealing myself from head to toe, I made my way to the main establishment. A figure stepped forward to greet me. Esteemed fellow Taoist, do you seek to sell or procure items today? I wish to sell. My voice, kept deliberately low, resonated. The item I possess is far from ordinary. I wish to conduct this transaction directly with your proprietress. Our esteemed proprietress is not one whom just anyone may encounter. I trust this fellow Taoist understands. The shop assistant's demeanor was unyielding. If you refuse my audience, so be it, I stated coolly. However, I fear your establishment may prove incapable of handling the true worth of this treasure, I stated calmly. The shop assistant hesitated for a moment. Fellow Taoist, please wait here. This humble one shall report immediately. Before long, the shop assistant emerged, bowing respectfully to escort me. The mistress invites you within, he announced. A faint smile touched my lips as I followed him into the secret chamber. From the enveloping shadows, a figure emerged, and a soft, melodic laugh echoed through the room. Fellow Taoist, your audacity is quite remarkable. A captivating figure materialized before me, a vision of peerless beauty that could shake the very heavens. It seemed the true master of this black market was an unparalleled beauty, radiating an aura of elegance and power. Ha ha ha, so the fellow Taoist is a young lady after all, she purred playfully. With a confident stride, she pressed close, her slender hands tracing a path from my shoulders, then boldly descending further. I firmly seized her restless hand, a faint chuckle escaping my lips. Withdraw your soul manipulation art, I commanded. It is utterly useless against this sovereign, I declared. The black market proprietress's captivating smile momentarily faltered before deepening with renewed intrigue. She traced the back of my hand with a lingering touch, then reluctantly withdrew. So it is a Nascent Soul true monarch I have the honor of meeting, she mused. Forgive this one's grave disrespect, my apologies. Now tell me, what transaction do you wish to conduct with this one? The black market proprietress walked to the seat opposite mine and settled down, a subtle hint of grievance coloring her expression. Ignoring her subtle display, I directly retrieved the spatial ring and placed it upon the table. A spatial ring? The black market proprietress's brow furrowed. The previous owner of this ring holds no insignificant background. Yet in truth, they are but a mere foundation establishment cultivator. However, this individual is no ordinary foundation establishment cultivator. They are a darling of the heavenly Tao, blessed with extraordinary destiny and immense fortune. I idly turned the ring in my fingers, knowing the proprietress would surely grasp my intent. Whether one is truly a darling of the heavenly Tao is not something a mere assertion from a fellow Taoist can definitively prove. After a period of subtle probing and negotiation, the final price was at last determined. I offered a slight concession and in turn put forth a specific request of my own. This sovereign is not lacking in wealth, but I have no desire for this individual to enjoy a peaceful existence. Therefore, I wish to propose a certain condition to the proprietress. Should the proprietress agree, I shall concede an additional 2 parts of the profit. Such a fortuitous arrangement exists, she mused, a glint in her eye. The true monarch is indeed most generous. I leaned closer, whispering softly into her ear for a prolonged moment. Our gazes then met, and a knowing smile flickered across both our faces. Rest assured, this matter is as good as done. And should you acquire any further treasures in the future, do not forget this one. The proprietress in black placed her hand upon mine, casting a seductive glance. I merely sneered, pushing her hand away. With the spirit stones now in hand, I immediately rushed to the divine medicine hall. Its entrance was bustling with people, murmuring in commotion. Inside, the sect master of the Wentian sect led an imposing group encircling the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper, however, remained composed, neither arrogant nor servile. Sect master, he stated calmly, our medicine hall would never stoop to concealing a demonic cultivator. It is clear your medicine hall is concealing a demonic cultivator, a voice interjected. You revealed our customer's information, which led to me being pursued by him and my spatial ring and medicinal pills being stolen. Yushushu clutched her chest, her face contorted with indignation. And now you still wish to feign ignorance, as if nothing has occurred? This is truly an insult beyond measure. Sectmaster, they are simply making baseless excuses. The evidence is their very own auctioneer. That's right, hand him over. You cover him up, yet still claim he is not a demonic cultivator. And Z, standing nearby, angrily stomped his foot in agreement. The shopkeeper rolled his eyes, utterly speechless at their accusations. Then the sectmaster spoke. Shopkeeper, it's not that our Wentian sect wishes to be overbearing, but the discovery of a demonic cultivator is a grave matter indeed. The sectmaster maintained a faint smile, yet his words were laced with palpable menace. If your esteemed medicine hall can hand over the demonic cultivator, this matter can still be easily resolved. But if you do not, I fear the suspicions surrounding your medicine hall will never be cleared. Wouldn't you agree? The shopkeeper's face instantly darkened. It was at this critical moment that I finally stepped inside. The instant I made my appearance, the expressions of everyone present shifted, their brows unconsciously furrowing. Only Baiyang's face lit up with a flash of joy. Junior Sister Song, why have you come? The sect master asked, his tone less than welcoming. Ignoring his sour tone, I replied, this medicine hall is an enterprise under the name of my Song clan. Hearing it was slandered for concealing a demonic cultivator, this one naturally had to come and investigate. I directly laid out the context of my visit and my authority. Ye Chuxia was stunned into silence, but then a dawning comprehension crossed her face. It's you, she shrieked, pointing an enraged finger at me. It's you, isn't it? You deliberately orchestrated this. The demonic cultivator, you deliberately arranged for him to appear, didn't you? You simply refused to save our master. You deliberately played us for fools, didn't you? Song Wanning, how could you be so despicable? She practically roared these accusations, her voice laced with venom. It was precisely then that a sudden realization struck her as she comprehended the profound shift in our respective statuses. The instant her words faded, I raised my hand and delivered a resounding slap. Already weakened, she was sent flying across the room. Perfected, Lord Song, and Z sputtered, "On what grounds do you strike people? Is it merely because Senior Sister Yi spoke the truth?" And Z's eyes blazed with fury, and even the sect master, enraged, began to rebuke my excessive actions. "You are truly ridiculous," I declared, cutting him off. Yi Chuxue slandered me without a shred of evidence, and even dared to hurl insults at this one. Disrespecting a superior, is that not worthy of a beating? I gazed at my hand. My striking her was already a lenient gesture. In the past, only her death would have appeased my wrath. "Sect master, wouldn't you agree?" I challenged him. Ye Chushua's veins throbbed, threatening to burst from sheer indignation. The sect master, trying to mediate, spoke. Senior Sister Yi was merely too worried about Junior Brother Gu's safety, hence her emotions were somewhat agitated. Junior Sister Song need not stoop to her level. The sect master discreetly winked at Yi Chushu a silent instruction. However, regarding this grave matter of concealing a demonic cultivator, Junior Sister Song, you must provide an explanation. Furthermore, Senior Sister Yi's spatial ring was stolen, and her medicinal pills are gone. Your medicine hall must provide an explanation for this as well. That's right, Sect Master, my spatial ring is also gone. Ye Chusho's eyes reddened with grievance, secretly accusing me. She almost forgot, only by appearing weak could she garner sympathy. Song Zhenjun, quickly hand over the demonic cultivator from your medicinal hall. And Z roared, but from outside another voice interjected. Tasek, the Song clan's property dares to conceal a demonic cultivator? Could it be that the Song clan has some shady dealings with the demonic race? The voice seemed gentle, yet it carried deep malice. I looked up to see an elder of the Lin clan. It was Lin Wushuang. His face was filled with mockery, his eyes brimming with ill intent. The Lin and Song clans had been at odds for many years. In my previous life, when the Song clan was massacred, the Lin clan was certainly not absent. A flash of killing intent sparked within me, then vanished. Seeing this face, I was once again reminded of that bloody scene. The shopkeeper cleared his throat, and my reason returned. Ye Chusho speaks carelessly, lacking wisdom. But could it be that Lin Jinjin is also the same? He even dares to pin such a heinous crime on my Song clan. I let out a mocking laugh. Though I know your Lin clan lost a business dispute to my Song clan just a few days ago, there's no need to use public affairs to settle private grudges in such a manner. Truth and falsehood are often intertwined. Anyone can spout such words. Lin Wushuang's expression grew slightly cold. Right and wrong, black and white, can only be distinguished once Song Zhenjun hands over the person. As he drew closer, his expression grew even more unsightly. This damnable Song Wanning has actually advanced to the late Nascent Soul stage. Hatred churned fiercely within him. With so many backing her, Ye Chusho's confidence soared and a sinister glint flashed in her eyes. Narrator thought, Song Wanning, this fool, by admitting the medicinal hall is Song clan property now, will not only harm herself, but will also drag the entire Song clan down with her. That's right, quickly hand over the person. Hand them over. The surrounding crowd, too, joined in the clamor. Seeing me cornered to such an extent, Bai Yang, who had remained silent, finally could no longer bear it and stepped forward. One side was his beloved, the other his master. He was in an utterly difficult position, yet recalling my previous care for him, he chose to speak a word of fairness. This matter certainly has nothing to do with Master. Not long ago in Yunxiang City, it was Master who personally stepped forward to save me. Junior Sister Yi, after you escaped, Master was always with me. You cannot make such accusations. Even if there truly is a demonic cultivator, it certainly has no connection to her. He seemed to have expended immense effort, not even daring to meet Yi Chushue's gaze. Bai Yang's internal struggle. Master no longer trusts me, I cannot remain indifferent. The moment Bai Yang uttered these words, and Zhe and Ye Chushue's expressions dramatically shifted. Senior brother, how could you speak up for her? And Z felt utterly betrayed. I am not speaking up for Master, I am merely stating the truth. Bai Yang straightened his back. Ye Chushue's face froze in stunned disbelief, staring at him with eyes full of disappointment. An indescribable pain and disillusionment surged within her heart. She would absolutely not show weakness before me, especially not with Bai Yang defending me. I subtly raised an eyebrow, a hint of mockery in my gaze. Such spinelessness was truly contemptible, yet it also indicated that my plan was progressing. Those who were united as one in my previous life were now slowly being divided. Fine. You are, after all, Song Wanning's disciple. Of course you would speak in her defense. Lin Wushuang snorted coldly. Quickly hand over the person, or we will personally demand them from the Song clan. That's right. Hand them over now. Once more, the crowd erupted in shouts. I suddenly burst into laughter. You all are truly amusing, showing such keen interest in a mere attendant of our medicine hall. If you wish to see, then behold, bring forth the individual lest these people continue to bite wildly like mad dogs. The shopkeeper retreated, and swiftly the person was brought forward. Yichusho, her heart filled with delight, pointed at the figure. It is he. He is the one who stole a spatial ring. He is a demonic cultivator, isn't he? The sect master immediately probed with his divine sense. Lin Wushuang also could not wait to investigate. Yichusho, her face radiant with joy, cast some glance at me. Now, with both the witness and evidence present, let's see how she will argue her way out of this. However, in the very next instant, the sect master glared at her, his expression displeased. Are you certain this person is a demonic cultivator? Yes, I am certain. At that time, he truly used demonic energy. Yu Chushio nodded repeatedly. Yet a sudden unease stirred within her heart. What is it? Have you discerned anything? I idly filed my nails, a mocking smile playing at the corner of my lips. This sovereign has long stated that there are no demonic cultivators within the medicine hall. Yet, you stubbornly believed her one-sided claims. I shook my head. Indeed, fools remain plentiful. Song Wanning and Lin Wushuang, unable to grasp the situation, were so enraged their faces flushed crimson. What is it? Did this sovereign speak falsely? I scoffed. Yi Chushua's master holds a grudge against this sovereign, which is why she deliberately slandered and framed this sovereign. And yet a fool like you loves to meddle in affairs. Are you satisfied now? The people at the entrance wore expressions of shame, unable to retort. Song Wanning. You go too far. Lin Wushuang, seething with anger, could only flick his sleeve and depart. With an indifferent expression, I glanced at the sect master, then aimed my barb at Ye Chushue. Junior Sister Yi, should you not offer us an apology now? I crossed my arms over my chest, my eyes filled with provocation. Yi Chushio closed her eyes, and when she opened them again, her cold demeanor had returned. I merely spoke the truth. What fault lies in that? This person is fundamentally not the one who presided over things earlier. Song Wanning, all of this was arranged by you, was it not? You had already orchestrated everything. Clearly, you possessed the heavenly origin soul-nourishing pill, yet you refused to produce it to save people. You deliberately led us here, deliberately allowing someone to steal my spatial ring. You did this to take revenge on my master and me, did you not? The more she spoke, the more she felt this was the truth, and her eyes grew wide with horror. Senior Brother Bai, look closely. He is undoubtedly a fake, surely sent by Song Wanting to deliberately mislead us. Ye Chuxie turned her head to look at Bai Yang, still wishing to give him another chance. Is that so, Bai Yang? Then you must look closely, for this person is none other than the one you all encountered at the outset. I deliberately addressed Bai Yang with an intimate tone. Yi Chuxie's face alternated between green and white as she stared intently at Bai Yang. Bai Yang frowned in distress upon closer inspection. He had always upheld righteousness and found it difficult to lie. This person was indeed the very host from that day's auction. There could be no mistake. If Junior Sister Yi is still unconvinced, she could seek out other attendees from the auctions to confirm. Shushua's expression hardened. Beyond disappointment, a profound suspicion began to fester. Bai Yang, have you too begun to lose your sense of judgment? She must have deliberately orchestrated this and long since found someone else to impersonate him. My spatial ring must surely be in her possession. I implore Martial Uncle Song to return it to me. Ye Chushio stretched out her hand towards me, her eyes brimming with intense hatred. Sectmaster, consider this. This is a true disciple of our illustrious Wentian sect, yet without any concrete evidence she so brazenly slanders an elder. I feigned an expression of utter bewilderment. Out of consideration for her as a fellow disciple, a junior of mine, I had indulged her on numerous occasions, but it now seemed my leniency had only harmed her. I clutched my forehead in frustration. Stop pretending to be righteous. It is clear that you have stolen my spatial ring. The rage within Yi Chushio could no longer be restrained. Ye Shusha, the smile vanished from my face. In an instant, a chilling aura emanated from me. If you possess evidence, then bring it forth and throw it in my face. But if you have no proof, then seal that foul mouth of yours. Do not compel me to silence you by force. Yi Chushio, intimidated by my formidable aura, recoiled a step. The sect master, observing the escalating situation, was also visibly angered. Yet, remembering Gu Qingyan, who still lay unconscious, he intervened, advising, Junior Sister Song, I understand you still harbor resentment towards Junior Brother Gu, but so much time has passed since then. It is time you let go of your anger. Consider this. Your medicinal pavilion possesses the Heaven Origin Soul Nurturing Pill. Hurry and retrieve it for Junior Brother Gu's use. Further delay, I fear, could irreversibly damage his cultivation foundation. I blinked innocently and replied, but what can be done now? The last soul nurturing pill was already sold to Ye Chushio. Furthermore, it's not that I was unwilling to give it. None of you expressed a desire to purchase it from me. After all, a single medicinal pill from the auction costs hundreds of thousands of mid-grade spirit stones. How could I possibly give it to him for free, could I? It seems I truly was too generous in the past. The Sectmaster's expression darkened. We are all fellow disciples, why must you be so calculative? Furthermore, Junior Brother Gu grew up with you, a childhood companion, and he is your senior brother. How can you speak of money in such a context? You were never this stingy before. Very well, since the Sectmaster has spoken. Then, Sectmaster, why don't you gift me your blood moonblade? We have been fellow disciples for many years. Our bond is deep. Surely you wouldn't speak of money with me, would you? I tilted my head playfully. Why ever not? The Sectmaster, without a moment's hesitation, flatly refused. Sectmaster, do not wield such double standards. When it comes to being generous with others' possessions, you, sir, are unmatched. My patience had finally worn thin. If that is the case, then you yourself should pay for the pill for Gu Qingyan. After all, you are a good sect master who cares for his fellow disciples, while I am merely narrow-minded and selfish, utterly unwilling to part with it. The sect master's fury flared. 300,000 mid-grade spirit stones will suffice. I am only offering this reduced price out of respect for our shared discipleship. Tell me, do you wish to purchase it? I crossed my arms, my expression utterly cold. The sect master was choked into silence for a long moment, yet still could not bring himself to agree. That was hundreds of thousands of mid-grade spirit stones. Yi Chushio had not expected the sect master to fall silent, and her heart sank with profound disappointment. Outsiders are never to be trusted. She pursed her lips, searing this humiliation into her memory. Moments later, her expression shifted, her eyes reddening as she humbly pleaded, "Martial Uncle Song, I know the spatial ring is with you. Could you please return it to me? It was my fault for provoking you, but that spatial ring contains not only my entire family fortune, but also the medicinal pills vital to saving my venerable master's life. I beg you, please return the spatial ring to me." A flicker of calculation passed through Ye Chushua's eyes as she continued pitifully, "I have placed a sensing charm on the spatial ring. I can feel it. It is currently on your person. I implore you, return my spatial ring." Ye Chushe rubbed her hands together in utter humility, her pathetic display immediately stirring a wave of sympathy among the gathered onlookers. After all, Song Zhenjun is a revered Nascent Soul true monarch. For her to brazenly seize a mere disciple's spatial ring is utterly tyrannical. The girl has already pinpointed its location, yet she still refuses to admit her wrongdoing. Fingers began to point and whispers spread through the crowd, all subtly tilting the scales of justice in Yi Chushu's favor. "Martial Sister Song, quickly hand over the spatial ring. We are all fellow disciples. As long as you return it and apologize to Disciple Yi, this matter can be settled." The sect master offered words of earnest persuasion. "Indeed, Martial Sister Song, let us not make this matter unsightly. We are all members of the same sect after all." Two elders echoed their counsel from the side. It seemed everyone was convinced the spatial ring was on my person. I gazed at their suspicious eyes, finding it utterly laughable. It was always the same story. The moment Shoei opened her mouth, everyone would invariably choose to believe her, then turn to condemn me. In my past life, I suffered immense blame for such baseless accusations. This time, I shall ensure their accusations become reality. I let out a weary sigh. "Martial Uncle Yi, how dare you level such false accusations against this sovereign? Though this sovereign may not be a paragon of virtue, I have always distinguished clearly between grievance and favor. If I were truly guilty, I would admit it without hesitation. But you cannot simply hurl such baseless filth upon my name." I lifted my head slightly, my eyes red-rimmed, my resolute expression hinting at the immense injustice I had suffered. Feigning a moment of weakness, I asked, Who among you does not know?" I turned my face away, seemingly retreating into the shadows. "We are fellow disciples, yet you refuse to believe this sovereign? This is truly too disheartening." Venerable Master Bai Yang, witnessing my uncharacteristic vulnerability for the first time, felt his heart clench within his chest. "Martial Sister Yi, could your senses be mistaken? Our master never utters falsehoods. If she were truly responsible, she would have admitted it long ago." Senior brother Bai, Yi Chuxue, wounded by Bai Yang's words yet again, stared at him in astonishment. "My spatial ring is unequivocally on her person. Do not let her deceive you." Ye Chushou, her composure finally shattered, shrieked uncontrollably. But the instant her words died out, I crushed the talisman hidden within my robes. The master of the black market, having received the signal, a faint smile played on his lips, and with a flick of his wrist, he erased the spiritual imprint upon the spatial ring. The very moment that imprint was obliterated, Ye Chusho here convulsed, spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood, her face turning ashen, her spiritual essence utterly depleted. She let out a piercing shriek of my spatial ring, before collapsing into unconsciousness, and Z cried out in alarm. "Senior Sister Yi, what has happened to you?" The sect master and Baiyang hurried to her side, only to discover Ye Chushui's divine soul had suffered a grievous injury. "This is ill tidings. Her divine soul has been gravely wounded, likely due to the obliteration of the divine soul imprint upon the spatial ring." The sect master's expression turned grim. Baiyang's heart sank heavily. He silently clasped Ye Chushui's hand and swiftly placed a medicinal pill into her mouth. "Oh, do you see now? This sovereign has been here all along, every single move under your watchful gaze. How could I possibly have tampered with her spatial ring?" I let out another long sigh. "You readily believe the one-sided accusations of Ye Chushe, yet refuse to place your trust in this sovereign. This is truly heartbreaking. And even you, sect master. This one has long asserted that you are blind and deaf, entirely unfit to preside over a sect. Our Wentian sect, under the guidance of a sect master such as yourself, can only gradually descend into ruin." I feigned an expression of regret and sorrow, yet each word that escaped my lips was sharper than the last. Sect Master Song Wanning's chest heaved with fury, yet this time his own foolishness left him utterly without argument. "Oh, does the sect master and the two elders wish to apologize to me?" I tilted my head, feigning astonishment as I covered my mouth. "After all, your sect master first accused me, Wu Huan, of harboring demonic cultivators, and then of stealing another's treasure, severely tarnishing my reputation. Indeed, an apology is certainly due." A faint smirk played upon my lips. It was, after all, the sect master who first declared that once an apology is offered, we shall consider the matter settled, for we are all but one family. I smiled with innocent guile. The sect master and the two elders, however, were so enraged their faces turned alternating shades of green and white. The crowd of onlookers outside, realizing they had been misled, began to hurl curses. "Infernal wretch. That vile woman dared to deceive us. She even claimed to sense a spatial ring upon true monarch song. It was all but a grand deception." The more the masses pondered, the more their fury swelled. Under their condemning gazes, the sect master found himself in unspeakable torment. He had never imagined that Yi Chusho could be so utterly untrustworthy. "Junior Sister Song, we are all part of the same family. Let us not become a laughingstock for outsiders." "Indeed. Whatever matters, let us discuss them back within the sect. For outsiders to witness such a spectacle is hardly appropriate." The two thick-skinned elders chuckled at me. Their utterly shameless expressions caused me to scoff. I remember well the unforgiving glares you cast upon me just moments ago, I thought. So, when it is your turn to face disgrace, it suddenly becomes unbearable. But when it was mine, was I simply meant to endure it? A great many eyes are upon us, you know. If you fail to offer an apology now, who knows what vile rumors will spread about you later. I am merely doing this for your own good, all three of you. Am I not right? I assumed an air of reason and understanding. I gazed at the three of them with composed indifference. The three of them sensed the veiled threat, their expressions growing even more unsightly. The two elders could only turn their gaze toward the sect master, awaiting his decision. The sect master's face darkened. The very crowd he had deliberately drawn to witness his triumph had, in the end, become the very ropes that bound him and his elders. There was no other way now, he could only apologize. He quickly uttered a phrase, "My apologies, junior sister, we too were deceived and gravely misunderstood you." Witnessing this, the two elders could only hasten their own apologies, though their hearts were filled with bitter reluctance. My expression remained unchanged, but my smile deepened, growing ever more profound. If apologies have truly been made, then so be it. It is merely that next time, Sectmaster, you must discern right from wrong with greater clarity, lest those with ulterior motives exploit the situation. I cast a meaningful glance towards Yu Chusho, who lay unconscious. My mood at long last felt utterly at ease. The Sectmaster's face had turned utterly ashen. Without a single word, he led his group away, his grim, defeated expression truly a sight to behold. Bai Yang also followed suit. He remained concerned for Yu Chushue's injuries. Before departing, he attempted to approach me to request medicinal pills, but my icy gaze forced his retreat. With the spectacle concluded, the crowd quickly dispersed. The steward burst into laughter. Were not these miserable wretches just now cursing our protagonist so vehemently? Yet now they flee faster than anyone? Very well, pay them no mind. They are naught but a troop of clowns. I lazily stretched my neck, then cast a casual glance. Ayue, I had planned this from the very beginning. Deliberately seeking out someone who bore a striking resemblance to Mu Liwan to appear here, it truly had its desired effect. However cunning Yi Chushue may be without concrete evidence, all her efforts are utterly in vain. You handle the matters here. I shall make a trip back to the Song clan. Having given instructions to the steward, I hastily returned to the Song clan. That mysterious orb still awaited me. The sect masters group departed, each individual pale-faced and seething with anger, as they sat upon their flying ship returning to the sect. With the aid of several medicinal pills from Bai Yang, Ye Chushue finally weakly regained consciousness. Her complexion was deathly pale, utterly devoid of color. She lay motionless in Anzi's arms. Even a slight flicker of her eyes sent her head spinning, the pain unbearable. The sect master wished to suppress his indignation, yet his heart remained uneasy. He then addressed Yi Chushue, Junior Marshal Aunt Yi. Your intention to save your esteemed master we all understand, but you cannot speak so recklessly, wantonly slandering others, ultimately causing us all to lose face. The two remaining elders also nodded in agreement. Indeed, just now, because of your actions, we were forced to apologize to Song Wanning. Our old faces have been utterly disgraced. Junior Marshal Aunt Yi, your conduct in this matter was truly unbecoming. Each of them unleashed a torrent of grievances and accusations, without a single thought for her grievous wounds. Yachushue's heart gradually grew cold, her expression growing increasingly frigid. A deep resentment towards their callousness began to fester within her. Was it not simply because her master was gravely ill and incapacitated that they dared to look down upon her? They would surely regret this. Seeing that Yechushue did not respond, the three cultivators lost interest and fell silent. The flying ship grew quiet. Yechushue closed her eyes, her heart utterly weary. Bai Yang's betrayal, her master's coma, her own grievous injuries, and the loss of her spatial ring. Each matter filled her with profound grievance. She opened her eyes, gazing towards Bai Yang, who stood nearby. A sliver of illusory hope still flickered within her. Perhaps Bai Yang could yet believe her. Ye Chushu, suppressing the lingering dizziness, tentatively asked, Bai Yang, do you believe me? All that I said was the truth. Song Wanning is undoubtedly the mastermind behind this. If before it was mere suspicion, now I am utterly certain. Song Wanning deliberately engineered this. She is avenging herself upon me, and I foolishly fell into her trap, sacrificing all of my accumulated treasures in the process. Upon hearing this, Bai Yang knitted his brows and looked down at Yi Chushe with a puzzled expression. The officiant was no demonic cultivator, and your master did not take your spatial ring. Everyone here witnessed it. Why do you insist on slandering others? I know many incidents have occurred recently, and you undoubtedly resent my master, but that is no reason to resort to such despicable methods. Junior Sister Yi, I recall you were not always like this. Since when did Junior Sister Yi become so increasingly unreasonable, her countenance growing fierce, completely devoid of the kindness and magnanimity she once possessed? Bai Yang's words caused Yi Chushue's heart to sink to the depths of despair. Her gaze grew eerily calm. Her initial affection for Bai Yang vanished in that very instant. Bai Yang had been brainwashed by Song Wanning. This fool was utterly unworthy of her affection. I understand now. She coldly closed her eyes. A profound sorrow welled within her, for no one believed her. She was still but a solitary soul. Senior Sister Yi, I believe all that you have said is true. Please do not be sad any longer. And Zhe, perceiving Ye Chusho's endurance and suffering, quickly tightened his embrace around her. I truly believe you. Even as he met Bai Yang's displeased gaze, he remained resolute. Upon hearing this, Ye Chushue's body trembled. A single tear rolled down her cheek. Who would have thought that only NZ would truly believe her? She silently clenched her fists. The hatred towards Song Wanning in her heart grew ever deeper. There would come a day when she would surpass Song Wanning. There would come a day when Song Wanning would kneel and beg her for mercy, and there would come a day when she would make all these people regret their actions. Within the Song clan's inner courtyard, I had just returned home to find that Pearl still bouncing wildly about the house, appearing exceptionally joyful. The pill flame had caused it no harm whatsoever. My footsteps halted, my expression growing profound. Originally, I intended to destroy it if I couldn't acquire it, but it now appears this pearl is a true treasure. I must devise a way to completely conquer it. As I stepped inside, the pearl sensed my arrival and immediately fled to the rafters. Sensing its provocation, the corners of my mouth curved upwards further. My gentle smile caused the pearl to tremble uncontrollably. A chill ran down my spine. Danger was imminent. The mysterious orb immediately sought to flee, but its escape was already too late. Soaring upwards, I swiftly seized the orb within my grasp. No matter how it thrashed and struggled, it could not break free. Gazing intently at the orb held captive in my palm, a method of taming it arose in my mind. Or perhaps brute force was the only answer to suppress its untamed spirit. Then I shall subdue it by force, I resolved, beating it into submission. I brought the orb to the forbidden chamber of the Song clan. This place was utterly isolated from the outside world. As the forbidden chamber opened, an inky blackness consumed the space within, devoid of even a single sliver of light. The massive door slowly creaked shut. I then retrieved the orb. The once pitch-black chamber was instantly engulfed by a dazzling burst of light. As I slightly loosened my grip, the orb seized the chance to break free, soaring out of my hand. It frantically darted around the chamber, desperately searching for an escape route, but found none. My aura underwent a sudden and dramatic transformation. The oppressive presence of a true superior descended upon the space. A gleaming longsword materialized within my grasp. Emitting a chilling sword light, its dense, potent killing intent instantly locked onto the orb. Raising my arm and swinging the blade, my sword Dao intent, like towering, undulating mountains, crashed down upon the orb. No matter how the orb thrashed and surged within, it remained effortlessly confined within my dominion. Within this intent realm, endless killing intent swirled. Hundreds of intersecting sword lights ceaselessly cleaved down upon the orb. I deliberately roused the demonic chi within my very being. A frenzied killing intent surged from the depths of my heart, threatening to consume and overwhelm me entirely. Before my eyes, only a blood-red haze remained, as if I had been transported back to the tragic moment of the Song clan's massacre. I struck out again, fueled by boundless hatred and killing intent, unleashing one relentless sword strike after another, without the slightest hesitation. Within my sea of consciousness, the battle intent of the small golden sword boiled, its killing aura surging with each of my descending strikes. Such an overwhelmingly powerful sword Dao intent caused the orb to finally succumb to panic, as it frenziedly darted and leaped within the intent realm. It desperately sought to evade the countless sword lights, only to discover there was nowhere to flee. Countless blades slashed down upon its form. The orb trembled violently. Unable to resist, it began to fall. Yet even in its descent, it remained unyielding, stubbornly refusing to submit. As long as I refused, it seemed to proclaim no mere human can hope to control me. Unbelieving of its plight, the orb continued to evade, its defiance growing fiercer with each strike. It even deliberately sought to provoke me, intending to drive me to madness, to be utterly consumed by my inner demons. But in the end, it had gravely underestimated my resolve. In that moment, the orb no longer registered in my vision. I had even forgotten my original purpose. Within my sea of consciousness, the ethereal figure of Moyang Xianjin reappeared. His single, heaven-shaking sword strike tore open the very fabric of heaven and earth, a sight that made one's soul tremble. I stood utterly stunned, my mind and spirit profoundly shaken. In that instant, a genuine desire to prostrate myself before such power had actually arisen within my heart. A surge of profound excitement erupted from the very depths of my soul, causing my body to tremble uncontrollably. I yearned to wield such a sword strike. With a flick of my wrist, I raised the long sword high, unleashing a powerful swing forward. The first sword strike carried no ripple, the second's aura was ordinary. The third, however, showed a hint of brilliance. I no longer counted my strikes, for in my mind only that single earth-shattering sword remained. My spirit had long since become wholly immersed in that profound spectacle. The orb, originally steeped in arrogance, suddenly sensed a profound shift, realizing something was terribly amiss. My sword strikes grew increasingly sharp, imbued with a terrifying aura that involuntarily instilled a deep sense of dread within it. No, this cannot be right, it seemed to shriek. The mysterious orb finally truly understood fear. It lunged forward, attempting to confront me directly, hoping to provoke and shatter my intent realm state. Yet it discovered to its horror that it could not even approach. The closer it drew, the more fear welled in its heart. The oppressive aura emanating from the other party made it feel an irresistible urge to surrender. No, absolutely not. This person was fundamentally not the master it desired. The bead began to resist stubbornly, cowering into a corner. However arrogant it had once been, it was now equally bewildered. Within its sea of consciousness, the small golden sword also began to undergo a transformation. Patterns began to emerge upon its form, and it even started to sprout scales. It stared in bewilderment at its own form, sensing that some grand transformation was about to unfold. Moyang Immortal Lord swung a sword, and I followed closely behind. The long sword swung, but though I saw a similar form, where was the spirit truly lacking? I gazed blankly at that figure, as if witnessing a divine being descend. Indeed, Moyang Immortal Lord was a true deity, always bearing an air of disdain for all under heaven. With a thunderous boom, a profound transformation occurred within my sea of consciousness. In an instant, it became a chaotic sword Dao intent realm. The overbearing killing intent morphed into countless blooming, resplendent flowers, beautiful and bursting with vitality. Wild grass grew profusely, great trees rose from the earth, and small animals happily frolicked. It was a scene of peace and prosperity, where everything seemed to have taken a turn for the better. The bead was startled, crying out inwardly, "It's over. This human has actually awakened the true Sword Dao realm. I am truly finished." The bead was terrified, a profound fear rising from the depths of its heart. This person's talent in the Sword Dao was truly frightening. And what was truly strange was that her true Sword Dao realm was not one of killing intent. The bead felt bewildered, yet it knew it no longer had a path of retreat. It helplessly cowered in a corner. As soon as Wanning awoke, she would surely drag it into her true Sword Dao realm and torment it. At that point, it would certainly be unable to resist and could only obediently submit. Within the sea of consciousness, the rumbling continued incessantly, impacting me greatly. At this moment, was I standing amidst the starry sky itself? I casually gazed down upon everything in the lower realms, for before my eyes was a chaotic expanse covering all. I simply raised my hand and casually swung a sword, and all chaos dissipated. Warm sunlight tore through the sky, shining directly down and illuminating me. At this moment, I was like a god gazing down upon all living beings. Under my gaze, all had to submit and kneel. At the same time, a ring of light suddenly erupted from the seclusion chamber, having broken through the restriction, and spread frantically in all directions. With the seclusion chamber as its center, the light ring first spread throughout the Song clan, then, at blinding speed, encompassed the entire city in mere moments. The instant they were enveloped by the light ring, all living beings and objects felt a primal fear rise from the depths of their very souls. Immediately afterward, unable to control themselves, they all knelt with a resounding thud. All cultivators below the Nascent Soul stage had their knees touch the ground. Not a single one was lucky enough to escape. Those above the Nascent Soul stage struggled bitterly to resist, breaking out in cold sweat as they barely managed to keep their footing. The entire city, from top to bottom, was shaken. Even the demon beasts in the high mountains prostrated themselves on the ground, trembling uncontrollably. Everyone looked in terror towards the Song clan, completely unaware of what had truly transpired. Yet, the one responsible for this phenomenon remained completely oblivious. Within her sea of consciousness was a realm of golden light. The small golden sword had vanished, replaced by a golden dragon incessantly soaring, roaring furiously, and ascending continuously like an awe-inspiring emperor looking down upon all living beings. Crack! A small sound echoed within her dantian. Her cultivation flowed like a mighty river, successfully advancing to the peak Nascent Soul stage. The bead's expression instantly fell upon seeing this. This time, I am truly finished. After a few breaths, everything finally returned to tranquility, and my aura retracted. The ring of light also dissipated at this moment, and everyone regained their freedom. Tremblingly, they stood up, their bodies already drenched in cold sweat. In that very moment, everyone had felt a surge of submission. To think they had harbored thoughts of willingly being enslaved, it was truly terrifying. Within the seclusion chamber, I smiled gently and innocently, beckoning to the bead with my finger. The bead's entire body trembled. It gave a shudder, cowering in the corner, then reluctantly flew towards me. Now it no longer had any choice, it could only obediently submit. Finally, the bead obediently settled into my hand, extremely docile, daring not to show the slightest hint of defiance. Unconvinced, I was, however, rather surprised by its sudden docility. I examined it for a moment, never once lowering my guard. With a swift motion, I tossed the spiritual pearl directly into my Sword Dao True realm. The pearl instantly recoiled in panic, but it was already ensnared within. The moment it entered that mystical realm, all its consciousness and resistance were utterly obliterated. Only when a figure appeared before it, reaching out to grasp it, did the pearl instantly develop a profound sense of intimacy, nuzzling against the hand. All traces of resistance completely vanished. My smile wavered slightly. I had anticipated a much harder struggle, expecting a tough bone to gnaw on. This time the contract with the spiritual pearl was formed with unexpected ease. The pearl, with a faint hum, seamlessly drilled into my dantian, settling there in placid obedience. As I focused my divine sense inwards, the pearl radiated pure spiritual chi, its currents relentlessly cleansing and tempering my dantian. Simultaneously, external spiritual energy surged unceasingly into my very being. In an unending cycle, the pearl swiftly assimilated the incoming spiritual energy. Immediately afterwards, this refined energy was then expelled once more, not only purified and refined, but also multiplied several-fold in potency. This astonishing rate of spiritual power absorption was akin to cultivating 3 times faster than any ordinary practitioner. Such was the incredible efficacy of this spiritual pearl. Little wonder that in her past life, Ye Chushui's cultivation speed had progressed by leaps and bounds. But now, this spiritual pearl belonged solely to me. Content, I withdrew my divine sense, retrieved my jade pendant, and unlocked the heavy door of my seclusion chamber, only to find a multitude of figures already assembled outside. "Young mistress," the attendant began, "the clan head bids us respectfully escort you to the Grand Hall. Representatives from the various major powers within the city are currently gathered in the Grand Hall, inquiring about the anomalous phenomenon that just occurred." The steward bowed his head, his face a mask of utmost reverence. "An anomalous phenomenon, you say? Tell me, what exactly transpired?" As I walked, I listened intently as the steward recounted the recent events. Learning that nearly every soul in the city had prostrated themselves on the ground, I felt a flicker of astonishment. It seemed the power of the Moyang Immortal Lord's inheritance was indeed far beyond extraordinary. Within the grand hall of the Song clan, 5 or 6 influential figures had convened. Clan head Song, there is no need to dissemble any longer. Should the Song clan have indeed acquired a divine treasure, we would of course share in your joy. We merely wish for a glimpse to broaden our limited horizons. Why then, Clan Head Song, must you be so secretive? Precisely. We have maintained cordial relations for many years, Clan Head Song. Do you truly doubt the integrity of your esteemed colleagues? Ha ha ha, it must be that Clan Head Song fears we would seize this treasure, hence his reluctance to reveal it, would it not? While these esteemed guests sang praises and cast veiled accusations, Song Qingyun maintained a facade of tranquility, but inwardly he was cursing them furiously. For he himself was utterly clueless as to what had truly transpired. He only knew the incident was largely connected to his precious daughter. He had hoped to dismiss it with a hearty laugh, yet these persistent individuals stubbornly refused to depart. Song Qingyun, inwardly vexed, found his forced smile growing rigid. He desperately yearned for my arrival. The moment I reached the entrance, he swiftly transmitted a spiritual message to me, imploring me to concoct any plausible excuse to defuse the situation. I leisurely stepped into the grand hall. The assembled figures, though outwardly unified in their composure, displayed a myriad of subtle expressions. I hear you are all quite intrigued by the anomalous phenomenon that recently graced our city, speculating as to what divine treasure might have caused such a stir. With an air of placid indifference, I proceeded to the head seat and settled myself. Pavilion Master Wenlai chuckled jovially. Indeed, is that not so? After all, this matter is of considerable importance. We are merely concerned for the Song clan's well-being. If we could but catch a glimpse of this treasure, it would greatly aid us in dispelling any potential misunderstandings outsiders might harbor against your esteemed clan. Would you not agree, young mistress? The head of Tianshan Academy quickly chimed in, nodding his assent. Indeed, we too are deeply concerned for the Song clan. We are all friends here. Surely none would harbor malicious intent, would they not? A flicker of disdain crossed my features as I surveyed their hypocritical facades, finding their posturing utterly absurd. I gave a subtle nod, then tilted my head slightly to address Song Qingyun. Father, I stated. They are all quite eager to learn what divine treasure our Song clan has acquired. Why not simply inform them, lest they endlessly pine away with curiosity? Song Qingyun was momentarily stunned, his expression rapidly shifting. I then continued, feigning an expression of deep anguish. Father, even if you wished to conceal it, you could not. It would be far better to simply reveal everything to them, wouldn't you agree? Line merged with 43 for narrative flow. The other clan heads nodded vigorously in agreement. Precisely. Indeed, indeed. Young Lady Song Jinjun is truly the most understanding. The eyes of all present suddenly gleamed with anticipation. Clan head Song, they pressed, there is no longer any need for secrecy. Quickly present this divine treasure for our viewing pleasure. A palpable anticipation filled the grand hall. Song Qingyun, casting a helpless glare in my direction, finally conceded, Wanning, since everyone is so insistent on seeing it, perhaps you should indeed present it to them. Oh, so the divine treasure resides with young Lady Song Zhenjun herself. No wonder this anomalous event occurred precisely when young Lady Song Zhenjun returned to the Song clan. Perhaps Song Zhenjun has stumbled upon some grand fated opportunity. The gazes of the crowd subtly shifted, scrutinizing her with various intentions. She smiled, casually tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Very well, she declared, I shall reveal it to you all right now. That treasure, she began, is as distant as the horizon itself, yet as close as the bright smile on my own face. Immediately afterward, she pointed a finger at herself. The group was stunned. Song Zhenjun, what is the meaning of this? Where is the treasure? She let out a soft humph, blinking her large innocent eyes as she replied, I am the treasure. Someone directly burst into laughter, mockingly retorting, Song Zhenjun, you are truly a jester. Song Zhenjun, are you toying with us? If you are unwilling to produce it, simply say so. Why must you mock us in such a manner? The others quickly regained their composure, their expressions turning quite displeased. You all speak falsely. This one has never deceived anyone. She smiled leisurely, crossing her legs with unhurried grace. If you do not believe, then this one shall show you how. Those present felt a growing unease within their hearts. The very next second, a ring of light suddenly erupted from her elevated seat, moving with such speed that they couldn't even discern its form. The moment the ring of light expanded, a terrifying surge of power gushed forth, directly enveloping the entire group. Terrors their hearts. The next instant, their bodies uncontrollably plummeted to their knees. Thud. The group knelt uniformly within the grand hall, their minds instantly blank. Witnessing this, Song Qingyun almost burst into laughter. She remained composedly seated in her elevated position, and seeing their predicament, she spoke, See? I told you all earlier, but you simply refused to believe me. To have it come to this is truly regrettable. Though she spoke these words, she showed no intention of retracting her sword Dao true realm. The others struggled to break free from the restraint, sweat beading on their foreheads, yet they could not successfully rise. Everyone's eyes contracted, filled with boundless terror. It turned out this terrifying phenomenon was indeed her doing. Noticing that everyone was on the verge of erupting in fury, she leisurely retracted her sword Dao true realm, a gentle smile still gracing the corners of her lips. The group scrambled to their feet, disheveled and flustered. They wished to voice their reprimands but found no justifiable reason to do so. Finally, Song Qingyun stepped forward to mediate, ordering escort these guests out. Watching their disheveled figures flee, Song Qingyun let out a hearty, satisfied laugh. Our Wanning truly has a way about her. These old geezers deserve to be infuriated to death. Hearing this, she chuckled softly. Who told them to come and displease me, to provoke my ire? If I am not at ease, then none shall be comfortable. Meanwhile, at the Wentian sect, Gu Qingyan had finally awakened. Upon seeing her master awaken, Ye Chushu immediately felt a surge of grievance, bursting into tears and throwing herself into Gu Qingyan's embrace. Master, you have finally awakened. You do not know how much hardship your disciple has endured recently. She clung to Gu Qingyan, relentlessly recounting all she had experienced. Yet Gu Qingyan did not hear a single word, his body stiffening. His heart began to pound faster. This was the first time Shusho had ever voluntarily embraced him. Master, it is truly wonderful that you have awakened. Ye Shuksha's heart, which had been suspended in anxious fear, finally found solace. Oh, and Master, how did you heal yourself? Are there any lingering toxins within you? Releasing Gu Qingyan, she looked up at him with deep concern. Only then did Gu Qingyan fully regain his composure. He calmly stated, a minor trace of pill poison. It merely required a short while to naturally dispel. It has long since been expelled from my body. There is no need for concern. He spoke with a light tone, but Yi Chusha suddenly became agitated. So easily detoxified, is that truly possible? Then why did Uncle Masterland say nothing? Furthermore, Song Wanning claimed that only a Tianyuan nourishing heart pill could cure you, leading me to spend hundreds of thousands of mid-grade spirit stones to bid for one, only for it to be stolen right from under my nose. How dare those despicable individuals? Shushia, what are you speaking of? Gu Qingyan's brow furrowed at her words, and he immediately inquired about the events that had transpired. Yi Chusho, suppressing her simmering rage, recounted the entire ordeal to Gu Qingyan, embellishing the details and further detailing how her storage ring had also been plundered. Yeah,